more and more bowls, dishes, toilets, bathtubs and other things. If they can't all be sold out in one day, a clerk will be needed to look after the store. Fan then went to find Manager Fan and said that he wanted to find a female clerk and asked Manager Fan to keep an eye out for him. He also had some requirements for the female clerk, that she had to be well behaved and lovely, preferably without any family, and also a female cultivator with spiritual roots in the early stage of key training. This makes management easier and there won't be all kinds of messy things at the same time. As a female cultivator in the early stage of key training, she can also have a certain force deterrent effect on the guests. So there is no need for him to be present at everything. Fan looked at the girl in front of him. When he opened his spiritual eyes, he saw that the girl had low-grade spiritual roots and was at the second level of key training. "Look up," Fan said. The girl, who lowered her head, trembled slightly, then raised her head and looked at Fan with some fear. After seeing Fan, there was a hint of astonishment in her beautiful young eyes, and then she quickly lowered her head to look at the tip of her shoes. The girl is 13 years old, with a pretty face, and is obviously a beauty at first glance. The store clerks also have requirements for appearance, and Song Qiaozihi's face meets the standards. "Manager Fan, have you told her about the monthly salary of the low-grade spirit stones?" Fan said. Manager Fan smiled and said, "I said it." Fan nodded, and Manager Fan turned to Song Qiaozihi and said sternly, "Zihi. From today on, you will work in Dao Yuyi's store. You must serve Dao Yuyi well, understand? Be alert and don't make mistakes." "I understand, Uncle Fan." Song Qiaozihi nodded quickly. Manager Fan nodded with satisfaction, then greeted Fan with a smile and left. Fan asked Song Qiaozihi to take a look around the store first and familiarize herself with the environment, and then he took her to see the products in the store and told her where the price of each product was, etc. Chapter 35 Sect Friends. Song Qiaozihi studied very seriously, taking note of the key points that Fan said in her notebook. Fan was very satisfied. When the guests arrived, Fan asked Song Qiaozihi to receive them while he watched from the side. At first Song Qiaozihi was still very reserved. But gradually she relaxed, and the smile on her face became more natural. She even finally opened her face and followed what Fan had taught her when a guest came in. She bent down 45 degrees and shouted with a smile, "Welcome to our moon pavilion." Yangshuan is the name Fan gave to his shop. The word moon in Su Longyi's name is included in it. Seeing that Song Qiaozihi had learned almost everything, Fan handed the shop over to her and went out to buy daily necessities. "I can finally be a hands-off boss." Su Longyu is now almost 4 months pregnant. The babies are getting bigger and bigger, and their nutritional needs are also increasing. Fan always tries his best to buy the best spiritual meat, spiritual fruit and spiritual rice, spiritual vegetables. The spiritual vegetable seeds he bought in the market last time, after planting them and with Su Longyu's careful care, they are now ready to be eaten. Moreover, spiritual vegetables grow very fast, and they will grow again after being cut. They couldn't finish it all, so they fed the rest to the rabbits. After buying the spiritual and meat items, Fan went to Qianji Pavilion again and bought some pills suitable for pregnant women to take to protect the fetus. After leaving Qianji Pavilion, he called Su Longyu to send a message. Similar to modern text messaging, Fan first sent Su Longyu a list of the supplies he had purchased today, and then asked, "Wife, is there anything else you want to buy?" Although he had discussed with Su Longyu the supplies to be purchased today before going out, after buying these things, he still wanted to message her and chat with her, as Su Longyu might suddenly want to buy something else. It's similar to modern couples in love who want to send each other a text message to chat from time to time. "Su Longyu, buy some peppers and pepper seeds. I've been liking spicy food lately." Fan, "Okay. Sour boy, spicy girl, it seems that my wife is pregnant with a baby girl. I am going to have a lovely daughter. Expect." While chatting about daily life, Fan bought various kinds of spiritual peppers and went to the seed shop to buy spiritual pepper seeds. As I walked out of the store, I heard a strange voice. "Fan?" Fan turned his head and saw a figure. The figure first looked at him in shock, then suppressed his joy and ran towards him quickly, and finally punched him on the shoulder excitedly. "Fan, it's really you." Fan looked at the man in front of him, who was not much different from him in age, and pondered for a moment. "Who is this person? Just now I thought I was seeing things, but I didn't expect it was really you. By the way, you've changed so much." The man obviously had a lot to say to Fan, but because they were on the street now, it was inconvenient to ask, so he suppressed his curiosity to avoid bringing disaster to Fan. Looking at the man in front of him, Fan finally found the memory of this man from his original body's memory. This man was the original body's childhood friend. He was chubby since he was young, and the villagers called him Fatty Wang. When the original Body and Fatty Wang were 5 years old, immortals came to the village to test spiritual roots and select immortal seedlings. Fatty Wang had superior spiritual roots and was chosen at once. The original Body missed the selection because he was in the wild in the mountains at that time. It was not until he was 10 years old that Fatty Wang returned to the village once a year. Although Fatty Wang joined the sect, he was very kind to Yifan every time he came back after learning that Yifan also had spiritual roots. He also taught Yifan some basic and common cultivation spells. Because the magic spells within the sect are forbidden to be passed on to outsiders, and there are restrictions, anyone in the sect who wants to pass on these spells to outsiders will immediately be backlashed by the restrictions, and most of them will die on the spot. However, some widely spread basic and common cultivation spells do not have such restrictions. Fatty Wang also took Yifan to his own immortal cultivation sect, Qiuyue Valley, hoping to introduce Yifan into the valley. However, the deacon of Qiuyue Valley saw that Yifan's spiritual roots were only of low grade and rejected him coldly. Fatty Wang told Yifan not to lose heart and gave him various examples of advice for independent practitioners, asking him to practice well when it was time to build his foundation in the future. He would help Yifan prepare the foundation building pills. Fatty Wang is now 16 years old and has reached the 6th level of Qi training, which is considered pretty good in the sect. However, when he saw Yifan, he was greatly surprised, because he discovered that Yifan had also reached the 6th level of Qi training. And he had just met Yifan during the Chinese New Year last year, 9 months ago. At that time, Yifan was only at the 3rd level of Qi training. In just 9 months, Yifan actually broke through 3 levels in a row. He is a cultivator with top-grade spiritual roots, and he is also practicing in a sect, with the support of the sect's spiritual veins and elixir resources. It really shocked him. When he saw Yifan just now, he thought he had recognized the wrong person. But after careful identification, he found that he looked exactly like Yifan. Even the moles on his eyebrows were the same. He then tentatively called out Yifan's name. "I didn't expect Yifan to actually look over here. Friend Wang." Yifan called out with a smile. When Fatty Wang heard this, he immediately looked unhappy. "Are you being so distant with me?" In the past, people always called him Fatty Wang. At first, he joined the sect. When he returned home at the age of 10, Yifan called him Immortal Wang, which made him so angry that he jumped up and down, and sternly warned Yifan that he could only call him Fatty from then on. As a little boy, he was involved in all kinds of intrigues for resources in the sect. The village where he was born became the only pure land in his heart, and his childhood friend Yifan became his only close friend. "Fatty," Yifan shouted. Daddy Wang then happily put his arm around Yifan's shoulders and said with a smile, "That's right. Are you free right now? Let's find a place to chat." Okay. Yifan could see the pure and sincere friendship between Fatty Wang and his original self from the original self's memory. "I found a tavern and chose a low-key private room." After entering the private room, Fatty Wang cast a sound-priming spell, layer upon layer, and only stopped after stacking 5 layers of spells. And he congratulated Yifan. "Yifan, it seems that you have encountered a great opportunity this year and have directly broken through to the 6th level of Qi training." "Yeah," Yifan nodded. Fatty Wang was happy when he learned that Yifan had indeed encountered a great opportunity, and not something else. He did not ask Yifan what great opportunity it was, but began to complain to Yifan about the various things that had happened to him in the sect over the past year. Yifan occasionally said a word or two. Fatty Wang was talking until his mouth was dry and he had to take a few sips of wine from time to time. "I have been stuck at the 6th level of Qi training for 3 years. And recently I haven't shown any signs of breaking through to the late stage of Qi training. I heard that a powerful cave dwelling has appeared here, and the sect happened to have sent inner disciples here, so I followed him here to see if I can encounter any opportunity." Fatty Wang said with some worry but also a little eager to try. Chapter 36 Shocked. "Yifan, is there anything else you don't know? The Qi training period is divided into the early Qi training period, the middle Qi training period, and the late Qi training period. Practitioners at the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd levels of Qi training are considered to be in the early stages of Qi training. The cultivators who are at the 4th, 5th, and 6th levels of Qi training are in the middle stage of Qi training. Practitioners who have reached the 7th, 8th, and 9th levels of Qi training are in the late stage of Qi training. From the 1st level to the 2nd level of Qi training, you generally won't feel any bottleneck. Moreover, the difference between the 1st level and the 3rd level of Qi training is not that big. However, the advancement from the 3rd to the 4th level of Qi training is a small rel advancement, and cultivators who have been promoted to the 4th level of Qi training are much stronger than those in the early stages of Qi training, both in terms of spiritual power and in the techniques that can be practiced. And if the cultivator does not have good fortune, or does not have a strong ability to perceive the world, it is very likely that he will be stuck at the 3rd level of Qi training for his entire life. Similarly, breaking through from the 6th level of Qi training to the 7th level is also a small realm advancement. Many cultivators with poor qualifications, if they are unable to break through on their own at this time, will choose to take the elixir by Ningdan to assist in the breakthrough. Taking elixir to break through seems to have a high probability of breakthrough, but it will lay hidden dangers for future foundation building and greatly increase the difficulty of foundation building. Fatty Wang has a top-grade spiritual root, and it is possible for him to forge a golden elixir at his limit. So he wanted to rely on himself to break through to the later stage of key training. Afterwards, Fatty Wang looked at Yifan and said with a smile, "I didn't expect to meet you here. That's great, I just happened to invite some friends. Do you want to join us and go treasure hunting together?" Speaking of treasure hunting, Yifan thought of Song Qiaozhi who was brought by Manager Fan in the morning. Song Qiaozhi's father died during this treasure hunt in Doneng's cave. As a friend of Manager Fan, he must also be in the late key training stage. Only a few months have passed since this cave of the Great Mansion was publicized, and a cultivator in the late key training stage has died there. It can be seen that it is definitely very dangerous inside. Yifan shook his head and said, "I won't go." Fatty Wang was surprised. "Aren't you here to seek opportunities?" He thought that Yifan came to King Shufang just for the powerful cave this time. "I didn't expect Yifan to have no interest in this." Yifan said, "No, I opened a small shop here to earn some spirit stones. I just recently heard about the powerful cave nearby." After hearing this, Fatty Wang pondered for a while, then nodded and said, "It's better if you don't go, although the chances of getting a treasure hunt this time are great. It's quite dangerous. From what I know, the lower 7 sects have sent inner disciples here, and even the upper 5 sects have outer disciples coming here. Although you have reached the 6th level of key training, you are still a little behind in actual combat and spells. Safety comes first. Although cultivators should fight with people in the heavens, the most important thing is to stay alive. Only when you are alive can you fight. Moreover, he is going to look for opportunities this time. If he finds one, he can share some of it with Yifan. Although they are all cultivators at the 6th level of key training, these disciples of the sect have many methods and backgrounds that cannot be contended by independent cultivators. And the fight for the treasure will definitely be a battle of life and death. It is indeed too dangerous for Yifan." Just at this moment, Fatty Wang's communication talisman vibrated. He took out the communication talisman, then looked up and said to Yifan with a smile, "Yifan, the friend I made an appointment with happens to be in King Shufang at this time. Can I invite him here and we can chat together?" "Yeah." Although Yifan didn't want to take risks in the secret cave, it was also very good to make friends with the people in the sect. It can help him to expand more network channels for Yu Yangshuan. As the flow of people to King Shufang increased dramatically, many medicine and talisman shops opened up, and a price war was raging. Although the 5 magic weapons he made were sold out, he was now making magic weapons at an increasingly faster speed. Those independent cultivators who go to Shui Men Street to buy things may not necessarily have such strong financial resources to make such purchases. It's different for the monks in a sect, as they are much richer than the independent cultivators. After a while, the door of the box rang. Fatty Wang opened the door and a man in elegant robe walked in. The other party was slightly surprised when he saw Yifan, Boss Yi, fellow Taoist Bai Lai. Yifan did not expect that the friend Fatty Wang was talking about was actually Bai Lai Yunlong, who had bought his red flame sword before. "Do you two know each other?" Fatty Wang asked in surprise. Bai Lai Yunlong took out the red flame sword and said to Fatty Wang, "Didn't I tell you in my letter before that I bought a good sword at King Shufang? This sword was sold to me by fellow Taoist Yi." Fatty Wang looked at Yifan in surprise. The words, "Yifan, you can refine weapons," almost came out of his mouth, but he held back. He had only been separated from Yifan for 9 months. So why did he feel like he had missed out on 100 million? Bai Lai Yunlong told him in the letter that he bought a low-grade magic weapon with to attack inscriptions engraved on it at King Shufang. Whether it is for killing monsters or fighting against others, it is extremely useful. Not only does it enhance the attack power, but it also saves spiritual energy. It is better than a mid-grade magic weapon. The only downside is that it's a bit expensive. After reading the letter, he decided to go to King Shufang to exchange it for a magical instrument with an inscription like this. Although the price is a bit higher than that of a mid-grade magic weapon, its practicality is greater than that of a mid-grade magic weapon. So the expensive spiritual stones can be accepted after gritting one's teeth. However, what he didn't expect was that the red flame sword that Bai Lai Yunlong bought was actually bought from Yifan. In other words, Yifan not only knows how to refine a first-level inferior magic weapon, but also can engrave practical attack inscriptions on the magic weapon. This really shocked him. Is this still the Yifan? The casual cultivator he knew who walked out of Shi village? It seems that in these short 9 months, Yifan has obtained a tremendous opportunity. But there were outsiders here at the moment, so it was not convenient for him to ask. In order to avoid bringing disaster to Yifan, even though he had 10,000 questions he wanted to ask Yifan at this time, he still held back. He smiled and said to Yifan boy, I didn't expect that you can finally engrave inscriptions on magic tools. You didn't tell me such good news. Did you want to give me a surprise on purpose? Yifan smiled in his heart when he heard this. Fatty Wang really deserves to have a deep friendship with the original owner. This statement is absolutely flawless. He didn't reveal the fact that he could subtly refine weapons and engrave inscriptions on magical weapons. Moreover, no one had asked him about the opportunity that led to his sudden breakthrough from the 3rd level of key training to the 6th level. I truly consider him a friend. However, after this incident, he had to think carefully. Before he became stronger, he must not let other people who knew his original self know that he was making rapid progress. Otherwise, it will only bring fatal disaster to yourself. After all, anyone with a brain would know that a cultivator with inferior spiritual roots and no experience in refining instruments could suddenly break through to the 6th level of key training in just a few months, and even be able to refine magical instruments and engrave inscriptions on them. This must be a great opportunity. Killing people for treasure is very common in the world of immoral cultivation. Even many seemingly honest and simple-minded cultivators can turn around and become tribulation cultivators as long as the benefits are great enough. Chapter 37. This gossip is so fierce. Because Yifan and Bai Yunlong knew each other, the three of them quickly sat down and chatted while eating and drinking. After 3 rounds of drinks, Bai Yunlong's face turned a little red. He started by showing off his love for his wife, saying that he must achieve something when he came to the cave of the Great Master to search for treasures this time, so that he could build his foundation as soon as possible and marry his fiancée Wang Yun. Finally, he said that Wang Yun had been practicing Qi at the 6th level for many years, and still had difficulty breaking through to the 7th level. He had just called him today and wanted him to help buy a bottle of Baining Dan. Yifan looked at Bai Yunlong. I thought, how big is this kid's ambition? That woman asked him to build his foundation before she would marry him. She had no other thoughts. She still thought Wang Yun loved him. Now they want Bai Yunlong to buy the Baining Dan, which is only worth 10 middle grade spirit stones. The Wang family can't afford this amount of spirit stones. They want Bai Yunlong, their fiancé, to buy it? Combined with the fact that Wang Yun later on, for the sake of the male protagonist, not only did she shamelessly cuckold Bai Yunlong, but she also competed for favor with his daughter and did such shameless things. He dared to conclude that at this moment Wang Yun was completely treating Bai Yunlong as a wallet. This silly boy is enjoying it. Yifan drank a glass of wine. Fatty Wang frowned and said to Bai Yunlong, Dao you Bai, it's not that I don't want to help you, but I'm short of money recently. I can only lend you 100 low-grade spirit stones at most. Bai Yunlong offered a glass of wine to Fatty Wang. Thank you, Taoist brother Bai. Afterwards, Bai Yunlong looked at Yifan and wanted to ask him to borrow some spirit stones many times, but in the end he couldn't bring himself to do it. Yifan certainly understood the meaning in Bai Yunlong's eyes. I sighed inwardly. Why does this cuckold king like Wang Yun so much? Yifan smiled and said, let me tell you an interesting story. There is a street vendor on Shui Men Street. His wife cheated on him. Not only that, do you know what else the adulterer did? Everyone has a strong desire to gossip, especially about things like cuckold or why. Bai Yunlong and Fatty Wang's attention was immediately drawn to it. Fatty Wang asked, what else did you do? Yifan looked at Bai Yunlong, and Bai Yunlong felt uneasy. I was thinking, why is it that every time Yifan looks at me, his eyes are not right? Yifan retracted his gaze and revealed a big news. That adulterer not only seduced the stall owner's wife, but also seduced his 18-year-old daughter. Fatty Wang, oh my god. This adulterer must be beaten to death. He is so shameless that he can do such a shameless thing. Bai Yunlong was also filled with righteous indignation after hearing this. If it were me, I would definitely beat the adulterer to death immediately, and also the stall owner's wife and daughter to death. It's simply disgusting. Yifan looked at Bai Yunlong with a smile. Bai Yunlong felt 1,000 times more frightened. Why does fellow Taoist Yi's smile look so wrong? Yifan retracted his gaze and continued, but the adulterer is younger and stronger than the stall owner. Although they are both in the middle stage of key training, the adulterer has enough trump cards, and the stall owner is no match for the adulterer. Also, you may not know this, but the adulterer has many other women. Moreover, when the stall owner's wife and daughter learned that the matter had been exposed, they teamed up to kill the stall owner who was trying to kill the adulterer. Fatty Wang, Bai Yunlong, Yifan. The most exciting thing is that after the mother and daughter killed the stall owner, they fought to win the favor of the adulterer, and the daughter finally killed her mother. Absolutely amazing. Fatty Wang, SEK. This is simply outrageous. Women are horrible. Fortunately, this fat guy is devoted to Taoism and has no interest in women. Yifan smiled and looked at Bai Yunlong. Bai Yunlong felt 1,000,000 times more fright, and inside he raised his hand and took a few gulps of wine before he could suppress the fear. And he pulled the corners of his mouth and smiled awkwardly and said, Not all women are like that street vendor. Such a thing is simply the most bizarre of the bizarre. It can be called one of the 12 bizarre things in our southern region. Ifan smiled and said, "It's just a joke, brother Bailai, don't take it seriously. The main reason is that the adulterer is young, handsome, rich and lucky, so the wife and daughter of the stall owner were deceived and bewitched. Wang Yun is definitely not such a woman." Bailai Yunlong felt uneasy again. Why do I feel like fellow Taoist Yi is hinting at me? Moreover, why did fellow Taoist Yi's voice become heavier when he said the last sentence? Does he know something? Could it be that Wang Yun cheated on me? Impossible. Bailai Yunlong quickly shook his head. Then stood up and said to Yifan and Fatty Wang, "Friend Taoist Wang, friend Taoist Wang, friend Taoist Yi, I suddenly remembered that I have something important to do. So I'm leaving first." After saying that, Bailai Yunlong left in a hurry. If he stayed here any longer, he was afraid that he would have bad thoughts about Wang Yun and feel guilty about Wang Yun waiting for him for so many years. Wang Yun and I are childhood sweethearts. In order to marry me, she rejected other people's proposals. Moreover, her cultivation is higher than mine, and she has never looked down on me. He even used marriage to encourage me to build my foundation. She loves me deeply. Those Kogathis bitches can't compare to Wang Yun at all. After listening to what fellow Taoist Yi said, I actually thought of Wang Yun. I feel so sorry for Wang Yun. I need to quickly gather enough spirit stones for Wang Yun to buy the Binding Dan. After Bailai Yunlong left, Fatty Wang asked about Yifan's weapon refining. "You are now a first-class intermediate-grade weapon refiner?" Fatty Wang was surprised. "Well, I did encounter a great opportunity. My master is a Jindan cultivator," Yifan revealed. Although Fatty Wang really regarded the original body as a close friend, he was not the original body after all. Who knows, Fatty Wang might discover this in the future. Will Fatty Wang be open with him at that time? Or will he want to kill him and take away his treasure? Nobody knows. In this cruel world of cultivating immortals, it is better not to test people's hearts. Therefore, he didn't want to mention Su Longyu's matter to Fatty Wang for the time being. And he did have an opportunity, so he used the same trick he had used to fool Manager Fan. First, it can let Fatty Wang know that he has indeed obtained a great opportunity and has recognized a Jindan cultivator as his master. Secondly, it can deter Fatty Wang from wanting to kill him and steal his treasure in the future. Fatty Wang was so shocked by these words that he couldn't calm down for a long time. The look he gave Yifan was filled with envy and a flash of jealousy. Finally, after drinking several sips of wine, he calmed down. He looked at Yifan with the same gaze as before. He patted Yifan on the shoulder and said, "Yifan, you are really a late bloomer. I'm so fucking envious. I'm even a little jealous of your good fortune. But your talent for refining weapons is too good. I think your master also noticed this. Some Jindan masters have very strange standards for accepting disciples. You are really lucky to meet one of them." Chapter 38. All-round customized Taoist companion. Su Longyu's thoughts are wrong. He was considered lucky, as his master was just a fake Danzan Ren. Although there is only one word difference between the golden elixir realm and the fake elixir, there is a world of difference between them. A fake Danzan Ren is not a complete Jindan cultivator. His realm is still at the foundation building stage. He will never be able to enter the middle Jindan stage in this life, and will never be able to reach the Yuan Ying stage. As for Jin Danzan Ren, that is the Jindan realm. It is the nascent soul seed, and there is a great hope for advancement to the nascent soul. There is a huge difference between the disciples of the fake Danzan Ren and the disciples of the golden Danzan Ren. Yifan's good luck really made him envious. However, he quickly adjusted his state to return to his previous state with Yifan. The two continued to eat, drink and chat. Seeing that it was getting dark and the moon was rising above the willow trees, Yifan stood up and said goodbye to Fatty Wang. After leaving the tavern, Yifan quietly entered an empty alley, and then used the using people as a tool to refine his body, shrinking and stretching his bones. This was the first time Yifan did this, and it took him a lot of effort. After an incense stick of time, in the dark night, a cold-looking male cultivator in a navy blue robe walked out of the alley and blended into the crowd at night. At this moment, Su Longyu was looking at the moonlight outside. Yifan hasn't come back yet, and her beautiful eyebrows are slightly wrinkled. Suddenly, her communication jade token rang. She took it out and saw that it was not Yifan calling. She felt a little disappointed. Then he answered the video message from Chen Zhuaner. As soon as the message was opened, Chen Zhuaner's even more charming and seductive face appeared in the video. "You, hey, I got something new and interesting and brought it to you. It's just in time to help you out." "Su Longyu?" Chen Zhuaner chuckled, and picked up a lifelike mail doll from the side and showed it to Su Longyu. "Did you see it? It's a dummy. Even though it's not a real person, it's much more useful than a real person. What's more, it can be customized. You can make it any size and length you want. The most important thing is..." "Chen Zhuaner, that's all you told me after you video chatted with me?" Su Longyu's neck turned red. What is this unreliable best IE thinking? The image of Yifan in the mosquito net involuntarily appeared in her mind. Suddenly, her hands involuntarily grasped the bed sheet. Damn it, that poisonous fire has resurfaced again. Ever since the last time I slept with Yifan, the poisonous fire was temporarily suppressed. But in recent days, especially when it was late at night and everyone was asleep, she had been having trouble sleeping. Unexpectedly, after being prompted by Chen Xuaner, the poisonous fire immediately emerged. Oh, you. Don't be embarrassed. I've tried it and it's really useful, so I recommended it to you. Think about it. This is a dummy no matter how you mess with it. No one will know it can not only help you solve your needs, but also won't cause you any trouble. The most important thing is that you can customize the size. You can also choose the style of the face, such as cold, evil, wolfish, gentle, etc. You can experience different styles of Taoist companions. Everyday Taoist companions have Fertito transformations. No. Before Chen Xuaner could finish her words, Su Longyu quickly hung up the phone with trembling hands. Biting her bright red lower lip, she cursed, "You're becoming more and more unreliable. I can't be with this best friend anymore. Isn't it shameful?" That being said, she couldn't stop imagining all kinds of Yifan in her mind. She immediately covered her face. Poisoned. I must be poisoned. She quickly left her boudoir and came to the yard. Looking into the distance, trying to think about other things and distract herself. Why hasn't Yifan come back yet? Nighttime is when the robbery cultivators are rampant. Will he be in danger? The cool male cultivator in navy blue robe flew quickly through the woods of King Shufang. After a short while, he arrived outside the maze where Su Longyu and the others lived. The male protagonist took out the jade token and activated it. The white mist in front of him disappeared as if a mirror had been wiped clean, and the scene in front of him suddenly became clear and open. A faint ripple appeared in the space, creating a hole. A male cultivator walked in with a focused mind. The ripples closed, and the formation continued to operate. As soon as the male cultivator stepped into Su Longyu's territory, a powerful spiritual sense swept over him. The spiritual consciousness first condensed, and then gently withdrew. A male cultivator quickened his pace, and in half a cup of tea, he arrived at the gate of the yard and saw Su Longyu waiting for him in the yard. "You came back so late tonight? Did you have trouble on the way?" Su Longyu asked. The male cultivator shrank and stretched his bones, and after just a few minutes, he turned back into Yifan's appearance. This man turned out to be Yifan, who had changed his appearance before. Yifan walked over with a smile and said, "I met a childhood friend of mine in the evening. We had a drink and chatted, which delayed me a bit. I came back late. Wife. Don't mind." "Yeah," Su Longyu responded softly. "I'm glad you're okay." However, Yifan actually knows how to change his appearance. With her divine sense, she could see through this disguise technique at a glance. But it was still difficult for ordinary key training realm cultivators to discover it. This is another way for Yifan to save his life, which is good. "Have you had dinner?" Yifan walked to Su Longyu and asked softly. "Not yet. I'll serve the food." Every time he went to the market, Yifan would prepare 3 meals a day, and put them in a large iron pot to keep them warm. It seems that Su Longyu wanted to wait for him to come back for dinner, so she didn't eat in advance. Su Longyu looked at Yifan entering the kitchen and immediately thought of the completely transformed him she had just seen. That look was even colder than Yifan's usual appearance. The words Chen Xuaner said suddenly came to my mind. The Taoist companion is different every day. The face and size can be customized. Yifan knows the magic of shrinking bones and stretching bones, so, can he also customize his own length? Thinking of this, her face turned red as if burning, and she quickly looked away and stopped looking at Yifan. Otherwise, she was afraid that she couldn't control herself. While eating dinner, Yifan noticed that Su Longyu glanced at him from time to time. The lights in the yard were dim and the view was not very clear, but Yifan could sense the spring in Su Longyu's eyes as she looked at him. She thought about it. Just what he wanted. It has been 21 days since I started practicing dual cultivation with Su Longyu. It's his turn to work hard. After dinner, Yifan quickly cleaned up the dishes and the table, then went to the bathroom to take a quick shower. Then he entered the room and turned off the lights. He knew that Su Longyu was shy and repressed, and if the lights were turned on, she probably wouldn't come over tonight. Sure enough, not long after the lights in the room went out, there was a slight sound near the window, and then a hint of Su Longyu's unique fragrance wafted in. Under the moonlight, a girl with a flowing fairy dress, skin as white as jade, an otherworldly charm, and a fairy-like coolness, who did not seem like a human woman, pushed aside the mosquito net and entered the tent. Chapter 39. Methods to raise the level of dual cultivation. When Su Longyu hugged Yifan, her hand paused. Yifan turned around and hugged her with his backhand. "Daughter-in-law. Why are you not wearing any clothes? Of course it's to make it easier for you to do whatever you want to me." Su Longyu bit her red lips lightly. The green gauze fluttered lightly, and the tent was warm as a flower. Congratulations to the host for practicing dual cultivation with the bound object. The bound object feels good about this time. So I will reward the host with 2 spiritual root qualification points. System panel. Host, Ifan. Realm, key training level 6. Spiritual roots. For spiritual roots. What spirit root? Low grade 19 100. Water spiritual root, low grade 10 100. Fire spiritual root, low grade 6 100. Earth spirit root, low grade for 100. Allocable spiritual root points 2. Offspring 05 to be determined. Refining attainment, first class intermediate refiner 100 to 987 1,200,000. Inscription attainment. First class mid-level inscription master 29,000, 101 1,200,000. Seeing the data on the system panel, Ifan could only sigh, awesome. The spiritual root qualification points are awarded at once. It seems that when practicing dual cultivation, Su Longya's feelings are very important. It feels ordinary. And I was awarded 1 spiritual root qualification point. I feel unhappy, and even the refining value is deducted. I feel good. But I was awarded the spiritual root qualification points. Next time I go to the market, I must look for some rare books to read, so as to elevate my dual cultivation to a higher level. Ifan allocated both spiritual root points to the wood spiritual root. But spirit root, low grade 21 100. The spiritual roots will break through to the next level in no time. 7 days later. Ifan came to the market. As soon as he arrived at the shop, Song Qiaozichai came to greet him and told him that a distinguished guest came to see him and had been arranged to meet him in the tea room in the backyard. It's the green fairy from Lingbao Pavilion. Song Qiaozichai said in a low voice. Okay, I got it. Ifan asked Song Qiaozichai to get busy and walked into the backyard. The green fairy of Lingbao Pavilion. He learned from manager Fan that the young master of Lingbao Pavilion was a woman, respected as the green fairy, and was especially valued by the pavilion master of Lingbao Pavilion. The pavilion master of Lingbao Pavilion is a fake Dan Zhen Ren. The green fairy is the granddaughter among his many descendants because of her superior spiritual roots. She is especially favored by this fake Dan Zhen Ren. He invested a lot of resources in her, and at the age of 20, she has already reached the 9th level of key training. There is hope for building a foundation. When you walk into the tea room in the backyard, you will see a graceful woman standing beside the tea table, watching the lively fish swimming in the pond. The woman sensed someone coming in, turned around and looked at Ifan, who walked in. Ifan felt that after meeting Su Longyu, no other woman was worth his attention. However, it must be said that the appearance of this green fairy is only slightly inferior to Su Longyu. If Su Longyu gets full marks, the green fairy can get 9.5 points. The green fairy has a slender neck and a graceful body. Like a lotus emerging from water, she is extremely beautiful. She stands beside the pool, her green robe fluttering in the wind, as if she is about to fly away with the wind. She is a genius of nature, unrivaled in worldly matters. With skin as white as ice and bones as beautiful as jade, and her entire appearance is almost flawless. I wonder why the green fairy came to see me, Ifan said straight to the point. Fairy Jade Green said calmly, some time ago, when she from our Lingbao Pavilion offended fellow Taoist Yi, I have now expelled him from Lingbao Pavilion. Oh, Ifan pulled over a chair and sat down. He didn't think that the young master of Lingbao Pavilion would really expel Wen Shi, who was in the middle stage of key training, from Lingbao Pavilion just because of Wen Shi's attitude towards him. There must be a reason that he doesn't know. Fellow Taoist Yi, our Lingbao Pavilion is very interested in your refining items. Please tell us your conditions first. We may be able to meet your needs. Ifan, sorry. I'm really not interested in joining your Lingbao Pavilion. I just want to keep a low profile and run a small business to support my family. A green fairy waved her delicate jade hand, and a communication talisman appeared in her hand. Fellow Taoist Yi, this is my communication method. If you have new ideas in the future, you can contact me. The door of our Lingbao Pavilion is always open to you. After leaving the communication talisman, the green fairy said goodbye and left. Ifan looked at the communication talisman and frowned slightly. Su Longyu is now more than 4 months pregnant, and there are only more than 5 months left before giving birth. During these 5 months, he doesn't want to cause any trouble. It seems that I have to stay away from showing up during this period of time. After thinking it over, Ifan put away the communication talisman and called Song Qiaozichai. He told her that from now on, his weekly purchasing tasks would be handed over to her. Through the communication talisman, he told Song Qiaozichai what he was going to purchase. After Song Qiaozichai purchased the things, she placed them in another room in the yard. Song Qiaozichai doesn't need to worry about anything else. The wing room is restricted and only he and Song Qiaozichai can enter. At that time, he would change his appearance every week and come to take away the weekly purchases, account books, spirit stones, as well as bowls. plates, magic tools and other things left for sale. After instructing Song Qiao Ziyi Chai, he went to find Manager Fan and asked him to introduce another clerk. But the same requirements as Song Qiao Ziyi Chai, well-behaved and obedient, a monk, and no family. This will make it convenient for me to help Song Qiao Ziyi Chai share the store work in the future. Manager Fan actually has quite a few girls like this, because recently more and more cultivators have gone to the Great Powers Cave to search for treasures, especially those cultivators who feel they have no hope of advancing or are nearing the end of their lifespan, and are even more prepared to go to the Great Powers Cave to give it a try. If we fight this, there will be many casualties, leaving behind many orphans and widows. Manager Fan introduced a girl named Yunyun. He is at the 3rd level of key training, has low-grade spiritual roots, and is only 18 years old. When Yi Fan saw Yunyun, there was still sadness on Yunyun's face due to the death of her relatives. She spoke little and her eyes were dull and unfocused. Yi Fan frowned slightly. He was recruiting shop assistants, and they needed to have a smile on their faces. It wouldn't do to have a sad look on their faces. After all, when customers come in to consume, we must not only serve them well but also make them feel physically and mentally happy. Yi Fan shook his head at Manager Fan. Manager Fan said to Yi Fan, "Fellow Taoist Yi, let me talk to the little girl." After that, Manager Fan took Yunyun to the courtyard and said to her, "Yunyun, I know you are heartbroken after losing your father, but you must cheer up and live on. Don't look down on me because I'm just a clerk here, or because I'm just a mid-stage keep reigning weapon refiner, but, I tell you, I have a bright future ahead of me. You still have a chance to work for fellow Taoists, Yi's Yul Yangzhuan now and the future. When Yul Yangzhuan becomes bigger and stronger, you won't be qualified to come in as a non-staff member. Don't waste this great opportunity. Furthermore, fellow Taoist Yi is a clean man and will not bully you. He also offers a high salary. Where can you find such a good job now? If your father and I weren't close friends, I wouldn't have given you such a good job. Think about it carefully." After some persuasion from Manager Fan brought Yunyun to see Yi Fan again. This time, Yunyun's bitter face finally returned to its normal expression, looking a bit like a cool female saleswoman. Yi Fan thought about it and left Yunyun behind. Sometimes when a store takes a high-end approach, the sales clerks do need to act a little cool and aloof to stimulate consumers to spend money on shopping. This is one of the marketing terms of luxury stores. Chapter 40, Locking the Dragon and Preserving Semen. After taking care of things in the store, Yi Fan went to the street stall plaza to buy some books that would improve the level of dual cultivation. I happened to see Chen Jing setting up a stall. This time, the stall Chen Jing rented was twice as big as the previous one, and there were various kinds of books on it. Many monks were choosing books in front of his stall, and Chen Jing couldn't stop smiling. "Fellow Taoist Yi." Chen Jing had just sold a book and put away the spirit stones when he saw Yi Fan coming. He greeted him with a smile. He learned it from other stall owners that Yi Fan had become very successful recently and had opened his own shop. His business was so hot that everyone was jealous. There were even a few who wanted to cause trouble, but when they heard that Yi Fan had Manager Fan backing him up, they all backed down. "Fellow Taoist Chen, business is good today," Yi Fan said with a smile. "I can barely make a living. I can't even compare with your shop business, fellow Taoist Yi," Chen Jing said modestly. He felt that he had really misjudged him before. He never realized that Yi Fan had so much potential. He had only been away for a month, and he was completely different when he came back. "Fortunately, I had a good relationship with Yi Fan before. Fellow Taoist Yi, are there any books you want to buy? I have many purchasing channels here," Chen Jing said with a smile. Yi Fan glanced at the books on Chen Jing's stall. Most of them were basic introductory books on various cultivation methods, as well as some maps and guides of Qiwa Yushan's cave abode. Pretty good at following the trend in business. He sent a message to Chen Jing, "Are there any books on sex?" Chen Jing's eyes lit up. And he sent a voice message to Yi Fan, "There are several. It depends on what fellow Taoist Yi wants. If fellow Taoist Yi wants offspring, he can buy Locking the Dragon to secure the essence. As cultivators, the higher our realm is, the harder it is to have offspring. However, as long as fellow Taoist Yi uses this, Locking the Dragon to secure the essence, and his realm is not higher than foundation building, I guarantee that fellow Taoist Yi will have 2 children in 3 years. Yi Fan didn't say anything. Chen Jing was very good at observing people's expression. She continued to transmit his voice with a smile, and said with a look of understanding, "If fellow Taoist Yi wants to practice dual cultivation, you can buy Dragon Playing with Pearls. It can not only improve the effect of dual cultivation but also enhance the interest between you and your husband. Yi Fan, recommend more books like Dragon Playing with Pearls." After a stick of incense, Yi Fan left Chen Jing's stall with satisfaction. Chen Jing looked at Yi Fan's departing back, his face full of envy. He knew that Manager Fan had introduced 2 beautiful girls to Yi Fan's shop, and they were both female cultivators. TSK. Yifan's good fortune really makes him envious. After Yifan purchased today's supplies, he received a message from Fang Hua, saying that he had something good to discuss. Fang Hua suggested meeting at the Mijiu Ozianlu in King Shu Fang. Yifan thought about it and agreed. Mijiu Ozianlu is similar to Miaoyan Fang, but also different. It is similar to a modern bar or pub. Miaoyan Fang is a place where men can indulge in pleasure, and it is a brothel in the world of immortals. The fairies in the Honeyfruit Fairy House are good at music, singing and dancing, and they only sell their skills and not their bodies. Music, singing and dancing are also among the 100 arts of cultivating immortals. Some melodies can cultivate one's sentiments, and even cleanse one's soul and break through the barriers. Moreover, women who practice music, singing and dancing usually have extraordinary temperament and outstanding appearance, and their style is completely different from Miaoyan Fang. The price of going to Mijiu Ozianlu is not cheaper than going to Miaoyan Fang. The entrance fee is 10 low-grade spirit stones. Fang Hua was willing to spend money to invite him to the Mijiu Ozianlu to discuss things this time, so he went to take a look first. The Honeyfruit Fairy Tower is one of the most luxurious buildings in King Shu Fang. It is similar to a modern club and is decorated in the utmost luxury. The outside is antique, with lanterns hanging high. The 6-story building is shrouded in fairy mist, and a few cranes fly by from time to time, giving a feeling of ascending to heaven. There was a faint fragrance floating in the building, and the sound of a musical instrument drifting out. When it comes to enjoying life, immortal cultivators are no less capable than ordinary people. When Yifan arrived here, Fang Hua was already waiting at the door. Friend Fang, when did your taste become so refined and elegant? He did not forget that Fang Hua was a frequent visitor to Miaoyan Fang before. Fang Hua smiled and said, the fairies in Miaoyan Fang are good, but my body can't handle it. Honeyfruit Fairy House is better. Come on, I'll take you out for some fun today, it's my treat. As he spoke, Fang Hua handed 20 low-grade spirit stones to the Mamazan at the door. The Mamazan politely and smilingly welcomed Yifan and Fang Hua in. It's completely different from the worldly atmosphere of Miaoyan Fang. As soon as you enter the building, you will see a veiled fairy plucking the strings of a zither on the stage in the center of the spacious lobby, and the sound of the zither is pouring out from here. The decoration style of the entire building is unique and elegant. Whether it is the fairy playing the piano on the stage or the woman serving tea and water in the audience, they all have a fresh air. There is not a trace of rouge or powder, or any hint of charm or enchantment. Feeling very comfortable. Owing up to a private room on the second floor, Mijiu Ozianlu had installed sound-proofing covers in the room for the privacy of the customers. After entering the room, Fang Hua manually installed 3 more sound-proofing covers. And he lowered his voice and said to Yifan, fellow Taoist Yi, have you heard about the recent events in the cave of the great master Qiu Ayushan? Yifan took a sip of tea. It is a spiritual tea, not an ordinary tea in the secular world. The tea soup is sweetened of good quality. No wonder the entry fees are so expensive. Fang Hua, the great power cave is too dangerous. Many monks went there and suffered countless casualties. As far as I know, 3 people died. Yifan. And then? Fang Hua was willing to invite me here to drink tea and listen to music today. It must be that he didn't just want to chat with me. Fang Hua glanced outside and said in a low voice, I found a good place. Oh, Fang Hua, I discovered it by accident. There is a restriction near the Great Power Cave. If you open it, you can see a Black Wind Canyon. There are good things in the Black Wind Canyon. There are all kinds of breakthrough elixirs, such as the green condensing pill, top-grade magic tools, top-grade tailsystems, top-grade secret techniques, hundreds of years old nether grass, earth core lotus, etc. Speaking of this, Fang Hua's breathing became a little hotter and his eyes became a little more anxious. But there is a cold black wind blowing in the Black Wind Canyon all year round. I dare not go in alone. I can only watch those good things in the canyon and cannot take them out. So, after knowing that fellow Taoist Yi has broken through to the 6th level of key training, I want to go treasure hunting with fellow Taoist Yi. I didn't tell anyone else, not even Lu Changhe. The treasures in there are limited. The more people know about it, the less treasures they will get. Besides, we have to get in quickly, otherwise. There are many people going to the Great Power Cave to search for treasures, including monks from the sect. If they discover the restriction and the Black Wind Canyon, we will be in trouble. Chapter 41 Master, don't run away. Yifan pondered for a moment and rejected Fang Hua's invitation. Let's not talk about whether Fang Hua's sudden and seemingly pie-in-the-sky benefit is real. For example, but the development of the Great Cave. More and more cultivators are coming to Qingshu Fang, and the number of tribulation cultivators is also increasing. There are even quite a few robbery cultivators who specialize in killing their familiars. This kind of killing is similar to taking people to Myanmar to cut kidneys in modern times. Lure a familiar monk to a place, then join forces with other monks to kill the familiar monk, and then divide the spoils. Let's not talk about these things, let's just say that his current goal is to take good care of the pregnant Su Longyu, appear in front of people as little as possible, keep a low profile, and reduce his presence. As for those risky things, he definitely won't do them. However, he did remember the place, Black Wind Canyon. Because the second level of body refining, using humans as tools, requires a special place to assist in body refining. Among them, there is the use of special wind. I don't know if this cold and evil black wind can do it. Fang Hua was stunned. Fellow Taoist Yi, you really aren't going. You won't go even if this gray thing falls from the sky? Fellow Taoist Fang, I have a wife and children at home and I don't want to take any risks, you see. The Great Cave Mansion has been on the market for so long, but I have never been there once. I don't have any pursuit of martial arts and immortality. I just want to earn some hard-earned money and have a warm bed for my wife and children, Yi Fan said. Ew, Fang Hua's expression changed slightly, and he gritted his teeth in the end. He could only force a smile. Since that's the case, I can't force you, then please don't spread what I said today. Fellow Taoist Yi. Of course, Yi Fan said. Moreover, Fang Hua only talked about the restrictions found in the Cave of the Great Power, and found a Black Wind Canyon in the restrictions, but he did not say how far the restrictions were from the Cave of the Great Power, or its specific location. I guess Fang Hua had already thought about this. Without talking about the matter, Yi Fan drank a few sips of tea and found an excuse to leave. Fang Hua didn't leave, and it seemed that he wanted to invite other people to discuss this matter together. Black Wind Canyon. After Su Longyu gives birth to the baby, we will go and check if there is such a place nearby. In the evening, Yi Fan finished his business in the shop, changed his appearance in the side room, and escaped from Yu Yangzhuan. What I was thinking was that I bought a few good books today, and after I get home, I will try them out with Su Longyu tonight. However, not long after leaving King Shufang, a beam of light flashed across the sky, followed by two more beams of light. The ferocious voice of a male cultivator could be heard in my ears. Green Fairy, you can't escape today. You dare to hurt my flying eagle, so you will die. Master, don't run. Why are you running? Weren't you very arrogant before? Wasn't it because of Yi Fan that you wanted to teach me a lesson? Why are you running now? I still want to listen to Master's teachings. Hearing the voice, Yi Fan immediately saw the third beam of light following the previous one, and it was when she. The first ray of light is the Green Fairy. When she joins others in hunting down the Green Fairy. A Green Fairy who had reached the great perfection of the late stage of key training, was being chased and killed. It was absolutely impossible for when she, who was only in the middle stage of key training. To do this, it must be that the male cultivator in black robe who followed when she had profound skills. Yi Fan immediately turned around, slapped a speed-up talisman on his body, and ran in the opposite direction of the three of them. I don't want to have any karma with them. However, what he didn't expect was that before he ran far, a flying sword cut through the void and fell from the sky. He immediately took a few steps back, and the flying sword stuck deep into the mud. Then, a beautiful green figure fell from the sky in front of him. The clothes on the chest were pierced, and there were two deep bloody marks on the fair and crystal skin. The Green Fairy looked completely pale and her breath was gone. Yi Fan thought, damn, how could he fall right in front of me? I ran so far. But they still fight here. Did the Green Fairy see me at that time? Running towards me on purpose. Damn it. His eyes fell on the intersection of the two wounds on the Green Fairy's chest. How deep, housekeeper? Who are you? At this time, when she and the man in black robe landed on the ground, and when she asked coldly, when she looked at Yi Fan and felt that Yi Fan was somewhat familiar. He was sure that he had never seen the male cultivator in front of him, but the spiritual aura of the male cultivator made him feel familiar. The black-robed man said coldly and disdainfully, he is a mid-stage key training cultivator. Kill him. Yes, when she accepted the order. He immediately held the sword and killed Yi Fan. When she was very arrogant at this time, because the Green Fairy was dead, and he had accomplished a great feat this time. Looking for death. Yi Fan shouted, stepped on the cloud boots, and with his wind speed talisman still in effect, he moved at an extremely fast speed, leaving only a trail of afterimage in the air. Body training is most suitable for close combat. Before, when she touched Yi Fan, he just felt a pain in his neck. The head was cut off by the Dayan Wuji sword in Yi Fan's hand, and the body was separated. When she's head rolled to the ground, but he was not completely dead yet and still had a breath. He widened his eyes in shock. He looked at his headless body in disbelief. At this moment, he finally remembered why the male cultivator in front of him gave him a familiar feeling. Yi Fan. The male cultivator in front of him is Yi Fan. Although changing one's appearance can change a person's face, if one carefully senses the aura of a cultivator's soul, one can find that it is the same person. Or powerful monks can even recognize the other person's true appearance just by opening their spiritual eyes. He couldn't figure it out until his death. Yi Fan was obviously only a cultivator at the 6th level of key training. At the same level as himself, how could Yi Fan kill him in just one move? I'm not willing to accept this. He still had many spells, talismans, and magical instruments that he hadn't used yet, and he died just like that. He couldn't accept that. I am so unwilling. Even if you are unwilling, you have to close your eyes and die when you hear it. The man in black robe standing aside looked at Yifan with a slightly frown. This man is quite capable. He was originally planning to give a few more stabs to the dead green fairy on the ground, but he didn't expect when she to be so weak and was killed instantly by Yifan, so he would kill Yifan first. However, he did not take Yifan, who was only in the middle stage of key training, seriously. The green flame was casually shot out. Even if it is just a flame casually released by a cultivator who is half a step away from building the foundation, it can easily kill a cultivator in the middle stage of key training. Yifan activated a top-grade Vara talisman, and immediately a light golden bell ripple enveloped him. Bang! The green flame exploded and hit the golden bell. The runes on the golden bell dimmed and showed signs of cracking. It barely lasted 3 breaths before the rune completely collapsed. However, the power of the flame was also weakened by the runes, and the moment the runes collapsed, Yifan had already moved to another position, so the flame did not hit him. The black-robed male cultivator was slightly surprised. He didn't expect Yifan to actually dodge it. Although it was just a casual attack, it was the fire magic he practiced after he reached the half-step foundation building stage, and ordinary high-grade defensive talismans could not resist it. It seems that the talisman in Yifan's hand is not an ordinary top-grade Vara talisman. I met a rich man. Make a profit for free. Chapter 40. To you, actually have a talisman. Yifan suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood, then he staggered, and finally spat out another mouthful of blood, and then he fell to the ground with a plop. Fellow Taoist, it's not necessary. The voice of the green fairy came into Yifan's mind. Yifan didn't reply. In my heart, I thought, as expected, damn, he is so scheming, pretending to be dead. Just now, when he dodged the black-robed male cultivator's fire magic, he sensed a breath of life from the green fairy, but that breath was fleeting. He guessed that the green fairy was pretending to be dead. Okay, I'll pretend to be dead and let him bear the damage, then we'll have a competition. Unexpectedly, just as he pretended to be injured and fell to the ground, the green fairy could not help but send a message to him. Yifan. When it comes to acting, who is he afraid of? Don't think of asking him to be a thug and attract fire. Green fairy. Friend Yi, this man is one of the notorious 3 evils, the black evil. If I die, he will kill you too. Why don't we join forces and we will definitely be able to escape? Yifan still didn't respond. Wouldn't it be nice if he could let the green fairy and the black-robed male cultivator fight to the death and then come and take advantage of the situation? Green fairy, friend Yi, as long as I can escape from danger today, I will owe you a favor. How about that? Master Jiadan loves his granddaughter the most. Yifan, you go first. Green fairy, okay, I hope fellow Taoist Yi can help me later. The black-robed male cultivator had a high level of cultivation, even though the green fairy had concealed her message to Yifan by using special objects to cover up her aura. She was still discovered by the black-robed male cultivator. Green fairy, you are not dead. The man in black robe immediately turned around and cast a spell towards the green fairy lying on the ground. In his eyes, Yifan was a fish that could be killed at any time. Kill the green fairy first, then talk. The green fairy jumped up and quickly cast a rain curtain talisman. Suddenly, the spell cast by the man in black robe was blocked by the rain curtain talisman. At the same time, the green fairy summoned a small silver sword, which transformed into a huge sword in the void and attacked the man in black robe. A man in black robe raised a shield to block the silver sword. At the same time, he pinched the magic spell with his right hand, and the surrounding space was filled with spiritual power fluctuations. In the center of his dry palm, a spitterbear-like black net suddenly appeared, and the black net gradually expanded. It expanded to a height of 2 meters, wrapped in a black cyclone, and swooped down towards the green fairy. Age technique, the black-robed man shouted. The green fairy quickly summoned a fan-shaped defensive weapon, but the black cyclone was corrosive and began to corrode the fan-shaped weapon as soon as it hit it. Green fairy, be buried with my flying eagle. The man in black robe laughed. Seeing that the defensive weapon was about to be breached, the green fairy's expression changed slightly. Yifan, who was lying on the ground, received the message from the green fairy. Fellow Taoist Yi, you can take action now. At this time, the black-robed man and the green fairy were each controlling 2 top-grade magical weapons. As a cultivator who has reached the great perfection in the late stage of refining instruments, controlling 2 high-grade magical instruments at the same time will consume a huge amount of mana. The limit is to control 3 high-grade magical instruments at the same time. Yifan did not respond to the green fairy. The green fairy's face became paler and paler, and she seemed to be unable to resist. The black-robed male cultivator's face became more smug. The green fairy spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood. The fan-shaped magic weapon in her hand was completely corroded, and she was trapped in the black net. The corrosive black energy from the black net immediately attacked her body, her face turned blue, and she fainted. At this moment, suddenly white fog appeared in the forest. The black-robed male cultivator suddenly felt something was wrong. It's a psychedelic charm. He was just about to cast a spell to escape the illusion created by the psychedelic charm, when suddenly, an extremely tiny sound pierced the void. And 8 needles as long as chopsticks but much thinner than chopsticks shot towards the black-robed male cultivator. The black-robed male cultivator changed his body shape and avoided the 8 needles. But the next moment, his pupils widened and he looked down at his shoulder. There was an imperceptible needle inserted there. When he saw the runes engraved on the tail of the needle, he suddenly became furious and turned to look at Yifan, who had stood up at some point not far away. You killed my brother. His brother is Dashan. The 8 clever needle is a set of secret magic devices of Dashan. Not only that, there are rare runes engraved on Dashan's ink ruler, and now, he actually saw this rune on Yifan's 8 clever needle. He had previously investigated the cause of Dashan's death, but had not found out who killed Dashan. Now it seems that Dashan actually died at the hands of Yifan. Even the rare runes were learned by Yifan. Thinking of this, the black-robed male cultivator had a ferocious expression on his face and made an ancient hand gesture. Suddenly, the black lines on the palm of his hand quickly crawled up his arm and onto his face. His entire body was covered in black spells at the same time. He burned all the energy and blood in his body and sacrificed an ink-colored ruler. This ruler is even bigger than Dashan's. It is the same as Dashan's ink-colored ruler, only in size. Everything else is the same. Even the inscriptions engraved on it are exactly the same. You go and bury my brother. The black-robed male cultivator spat a mouthful of blood onto the black ink ruler and attacked Yifan. He was ready to kill Yifan with one strike. A strong murderous aura swept over, and the sky darkened. Yifan waved his hand and summoned the Zuantian shield, forming an ochre-colored light shield that enveloped Yifan and blocked the black-robed male cultivator's attack with the ink ruler. Bang! The magic power of multimagnetic power of Shuantian shield collided violently, producing a dazzling white light that impacted the sky. Hiss, a sharp sound like fingernails scraping against steel was heard. You really have a treasure. No wonder my brother, who was at the 7th level of key training, was killed by a cultivator like you who was only at the middle stage of key training. Now all your treasures belong to me, the black-robed male cultivator shouted angrily. Yifan smiled coldly. Really? Since I can kill your brother, I can also kill you. As he spoke, Yifan ate half a rejuvenation pill, and then drank a drop of spiritual liquid to replenish his spiritual power. Then he took out the talisman that Sulong Yu gave him. Under the guidance of magic power, the talisman glowed with golden light. The talisman was activated, and suddenly, a sound of ice phoenix was heard, and a sword made entirely of ice crystals flew out from the talisman, carrying unparalleled pressure, and attacked the black-robed male cultivator. When the black-robed male cultivator saw this, his expression changed drastically. There was fear in his voice. You actually have a talisman. He secretly felt that something was wrong, and quickly took out a flying shuttle and tried to escape. However, he still underestimated the power of the talisman. The moment he stepped onto the shuttle, the Bin Yuan sword pierced through his neck, turned a circle, and returned to Yifan's hand. In the setting sun, the black-robed man's head fell from his body to the ground, with the broken ends neatly separated. It can be seen how sharp the small sword that Fubao sacrificed is. The black-robed male cultivator is dead. After killing the black-robed male cultivator, Yifan immediately drank another sip of spiritual liquid to restore his spiritual strength. Then he looked solemnly at the green fairy covered by the black net. Chapter 43. Is the Empress jealous? The black-robed male cultivator was dead, and the magic power on the black net disappeared in an instant. The green fairy coughed violently twice, then slowly opened her eyes, untied the black net, spit out 2 mouthfuls of blood, then stood up holding her waist and looked at Yifan. The two people's eyes met in the air. A calcium carbide spark. Fellow Taoist Yi. What a great method, you actually killed Hie. But I fainted just now, so I didn't see fellow Taoist Yi killing the evil. Which is a bit regrettable. Fellow Taoist Yi, I have just sent a signal. The people from Lingbao Pavilion will probably be here soon. Fellow Taoist Yi, I have an unwelcome request. When the people from Lingbao Pavilion arrive here later, can you let me say that I was the one who killed Hie? Fellow Taoist Yi can make any requests, and I will try my best to satisfy them. To be honest, although I am the young master of Lingbao Pavilion, there are still many people in the family who have objections to me. Once they know that I killed the notorious Black Evil, one of the 3 evils, they can accumulate a lot of reputation for me in the family and consolidate my position as the young master. Yifan was just thinking about whether to kill the green fairy. After all, he had just used the trump card that Su Longyu gave him. Whether it is the Zuanti and shield or the talisman, they are treasures that can make cultivators crazy. Even the Ling Bao Pavilion, which has the fake Dan Zhenren in charge, would be envious of this. After all, even a fake Dan Zhenren would be tempted by the second-grade top-grade magic weapons and talismans refined by the Golden Elixir Master. Not to mention the Green Fairy, who is only half a step away from building her foundation. But what the Green Fairy said at this moment. First, it shows that her people will be here soon. If he killed the Green Fairy at this time, he would most likely be discovered by the people in Ling Bao Pavilion. After all, this Green Fairy is not as simple as she seems. She often fakes her death or fainting. She is also the most beloved granddaughter of a fake Dan Zhenren who knows how many cards she has in her hand. Killing her might even be more difficult than killing the black-robed male cultivator. If someone from Ling Bao Pavilion was really dragged here by then, it would be extremely disadvantageous to him. Now he just wants to live a low-key life here. The focus is not on killing people and stealing treasures, but on taking care of Su Longyu. Especially at this time, Su Longyu's strength has dropped to the first level of key training, not the real golden core realm. He can't get into trouble. Secondly, the Green Fairy was very smart and pointed out that she did not see the scene where he attacked and killed Hie. In other words, she said that she did not see the Zuanti and shield and the talisman he used. And she also asked him to give the reputation of killing Hie to her. She was telling him that even though she wasn't really fainted just now and saw him use the Zuanti and shield and the talisman, she wouldn't say it. Moreover, in order to prevent him from being targeted, she deliberately took the responsibility of killing the evildoer into her own hands. The Green Fairy is half a step away from building a foundation. If a person who is half a step away from building a foundation kills the evil person who is half a step away from building a foundation, no one else will have the same idea as him. However, if he, a man in the middle stage of key training, killed Hie, who was half a step away from foundation building, and the news got out, it would definitely cause an uproar, and many tribulation cultivators would attack him. After pondering for a moment, Yifan made his choice. He said to the Green Fairy calmly, "You can kill the black evil, but you have to give him something of equal value in exchange. How about this?" The Green Fairy took out a basketball-sized white egg. It contains a second-level white jade centipede cub. I just got it not long ago and haven't started to tame it, yet this egg is a first-level, top-grade magic weapon to nourish the white jade centipede cub. As she spoke, the Green Fairy took out another ancient book and said, "This is the book on taming this cub and how to feed it. I wonder if fellow Taoist is satisfied with this deal." At this moment, not far from Yifan, a stunning figure was rushing towards him. Suddenly, the stunning figure stopped. It was Su Longyu, who sensed that Yifan was in danger. Among the talismans that Su Longyu gave to Yifan, there was a message talisman. There are two communication talismans, a yin and yang one, although they cannot transmit information. In times of crisis, the yin one will sense the danger and activate itself to inform the person holding the yang one that the other person is in danger. Just now when Yifan was fighting with the black-robed male cultivator who had exploded, the yin sense token in his Qian-kun bag sensed a powerful danger and immediately activated itself, sending a signal to Su Longyu. Su Longyu immediately used her spiritual sense to determine Yifan's location, rushed over. At this moment, she was standing on a towering ancient tree, looking at Yifan not far away, and the Green Fairy who was talking to Yifan. The Green Fairy handed Yifan an egg. Then Yifan hesitated for a moment and finally took the egg. The Green Fairy coughed violently again and fell towards Yifan. Yifan held the Green Fairy's waist and the Green Fairy's waist, and the Green Fairy leaned on Yifan's chest. From her perspective, the two of them were leaning against each other. Seeing this scene, for some reason, Su Longyu felt a tightness in her chest, and a chill instantly spread from her heart to her limbs. After she was sure that Yifan was not in danger, she no longer wanted to see the two of them leaning on each other, so she turned around and left. Yifan helped the Green Fairy to stay upright, then took 2 steps back, distanced himself from the Green Fairy, and said calmly, "As for the evil business, the deal is done, I'm leaving." When he left Yuliangshuan, he sent a message to Su Longyu, saying that he had set up for home and would be back soon. Now that he has wasted a lot of time here, he is worried that Su Longyu will worry about him. He has to go back quickly. "Friend Yi, I still owe you a favor. If you have any problems in the future, you can come to me. Also, fellow Taoist Yi, I now solemnly invite you to serve as the chief weapon refiner of our Ling Bao Pavilion. Are you willing?" "I don't want to," Yifan said, slapped a speed-up talisman on his body, and fled quickly. Now that he has a valuable treasure on him, and the Green Fairy knows about it, he will go to her Ling Bao Pavilion to be a weapon refiner. It's not his style to let himself be slaughtered. Moreover, the Green Fairy, as the young master of Ling Bao Pavilion, was surrounded and killed by one of the 3 evils outside King Shu Fang. And when she also betrayed her, There are so many intrigues and deceptions among the immortal cultivation families here, and he doesn't want to get involved in this muddy water. Yifan quickly entered the maze. And quickly changed his appearance, used the cleansing spell on his body to wash his whole body, and changed into an elegant robe after making sure that Su Longyu would not notice anything wrong. He quickly returned home. After entering the yard and looking around, Yifan did not see Su Longyu. "Wife, I'm back," Yifan shouted with a smile. No response. He came to Su Longyu's boudoir, where the light was on, and knocked on the door. "Wife." "Yeah." The voice was cold, even colder than when they first met. Yifan was stunned when he heard the voice. Is Su Longyu angry? Otherwise, these days, his relationship with Su Longyu has become much more harmonious, although the tone she uses when speaking to him is not extremely gentle. It is not cold either. He came back late and she was angry. This shouldn't be the case. He had come home late before, and Su Longyu was not angry at all. Instead, she was very concerned about him. What happened today? Suddenly he thought of something. Chapter 44. Capturing the Empress's heart. The last time he was robbed and killed by brother Baodashan and others, Su Longyu knew about it. Did Su Longyu know about it this time as well? But her reaction this time was different from last time. Could it be because she saw the scene where the green fairy fell into his arms? Then, she was jealous? Thinking that this was really possible, Yifan suddenly felt enlightened. Inexplicably, he actually felt a vague sense of superiority and complacency in his heart. I actually made the future empress jealous. Who can have this kind of cards? Although he had slept with Su Longyu several times before and had practiced dual cultivation with her, he knew that it was because Su Longyu's body was poisoned and she needed him as the antidote. He didn't know whether Su Longyu had that kind of feelings for him. But now, Su Longyu started to feel jealous. I'm one big step closer to winning the heart of the future empress. Cool. Knock knock. Yifan knocked on the door again. Now that I understand that Su Longyu is jealous, it will be easy to deal with. Wife. Yifan's voice was filled with a hint of pain. Yes. Yifan gasped, his face showing a look of pain. Have you had dinner? Yifan asked painfully. No response. Yifan continued, then. I will go back to my room. After saying that, Yifan spat out a mouthful of blood. Then he quickly wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. When he was about to use the cleaning spell to clean the blood he vomited on the ground, Su Longyu's door opened. Su Longyu's gaze fell on the pool of blood on the ground and she frowned slightly. Why did you suddenly come out? I'm fine, Yifan said, and quickly used the cleaning spell to clean the blood on the ground. Then turned around and walked towards his room. He struggled to take 2 or 3 steps, then he staggered and was about to fall. Su Longyu supported him. Yifan leaned on Su Longyu's shoulder, looking as if he wanted to stand up. I can do it. No need to support me, I'm really fine. As he spoke, he forced a weak smile towards Su Longyu. You're so stubborn, Su Longyu frowned. Took Yifan to his room. After helping Yifan to the bed, he was about to pour some water for Yifan to drink when he turned around. He saw Yifan, who had taken off his shirt and was sitting weakly on the bed. There were 3 wounds on Yifan's chest, with bright red blood on them. If you look closely, you can see that the blood is very fresh. Like a new wound, and the wound is not deep. Just sit there and don't move. I'll apply medicine for you. Su Longyu didn't think much about it. He took out the medicine bottle from the storage bag, came to Yifan, sat next to him and applied medicine to his wound. When Yifan lowered his head, he could see Su Longyu's beautiful face close to him. Su Longyu's facial features are really beautiful. The more you look at her, the more beautiful she becomes. She is very delicate, and her skin is so smooth and white as milk. She is truly recognized as the most beautiful woman in the 2-dimensional world. Yifan took a breath of cold air. Does it hurt? I'll be gentler. As she spoke, Su Longyu applied the medicine to Yifan more gently. A medicine in the world of immortal cultivation is very good, and since this was an injury Yifan had caused deliberately, the wound healed as soon as the medicine was applied. Su Longyu was slightly stunned by what she saw, then she thought of something and looked up at Yifan. You lied to me. Su Longyu was so in love that she didn't realize there was any fraud, but when she saw the wound healed immediately, she regained her sanity even though she was in love. He suddenly realized that he had been deceived by Yifan. Yifan took the opportunity to put his arms around Su Longyu's waist, and with the force of his arms, he brought her onto his legs. He smiled and said, Wife, I didn't lie to you. It's just that I've been afraid of pain since I was a child. Even the slightest injury makes me afraid of pain. Don't be angry, there's nothing between me and that green fairy. She might have wanted to pretend to be weak to test whether I would take the opportunity to kill her. I helped her up. There was really nothing going on between her and me. You are the only one in my heart. Come on, give me a kiss. As he spoke, Yifan lowered his head to kiss Su Longyu, but Su Longyu's hand blocked his lips. Who is angry? Su Longyu said. Although his tone was not like usual, it was not as cold as just now. In fact, if you listen carefully, you can even hear a little bit of cockathiousness mixed in. Coupled with her unique goddess-like voice, it sounds particularly beautiful. Yifan didn't kiss her face, but kissed her palm directly. Then he watched her hand take away as if escaping. He smiled softly and said, "Okay, my wife is not angry. She's just jealous." Su Longyu wanted to get up and leave. But Yifan pulled her down, hugged her again, put his chin on her shoulder, and said, I'm not jealous. You haven't had dinner yet? Come on. Let's go have dinner together. Su Longyu's face looked a little awkward. I'm not hungry. Speaking of eating. Her beautiful eyebrows wrinkled slightly. She got up late in the morning, and when she got up, Yifan had already gone out. While she was eating breakfast, she suddenly started vomiting. From morning to night, I vomit whatever I eat. Even the bitter bile is about to be vomited out. After some research, I found out that it was morning sickness. She ate something spicy and sour as per the book, but it still couldn't stop the morning sickness. And eat something with me, Yifan said softly. Yifan brought the food to the main room. In the summer, they had dinner in the yard, which was cool now that it was autumn. It was a bit chilly outside at night, so Yifan had moved the dining table into the main room. Su Longyu had just sat down when the smell of food wafted over. She suddenly covered her mouth, stood up and went back to her boudoir. Yifan chased after her and wanted to see what was going on, but Su Longyu closed the door. And Su Longyu's suppressed voice was heard. It is detected that the bound object has morning sickness, and the host is rewarded with comprehensive knowledge of pregnant mother care. Host, please receive. Then a large amount of care knowledge about pregnant women and during different stages of pregnancy flooded into Yifan's mind. 10 seconds later, Yifan opened his eyes, turned around and went to the kitchen. He had activated the cooking god skills before, and now activated the knowledge of caring for pregnant women. He knew that Su Longyu was starting to have morning sickness. It was estimated that she hadn't eaten anything the whole day. That won't work. He had to cook a new dinner that would relieve morning sickness. Fortunately, he originally planned to stay at home for half a month this time, so the ingredients he bought were richer than before, including shredded potatoes, yams, peas, pumpkins, etc., which are suitable for pregnant women during morning sickness. After Su Longyu vomited, her face turned pale. When she was pregnant before, she started to have human needs, but she didn't think much of it. But now this morning sickness is really making her uncomfortable. Especially when vomiting is severe. I feel like vomiting everything out of my chest. Fortunately, the 5 little ones were relatively well behaved today and did not move around otherwise. With the morning sickness and the fetal movements of the 5 little ones making trouble in heaven, she would probably have died. Chapter 45, the Empress praising Yifan in front of her best friend. Just at this moment, Chen Zhuaner's message came. Su Longyu received the message. Chen Zhuaner looked at Su Longyu's pale face and the message and immediately asked angrily, You, did Yifan bully you? No, I had morning sickness, Su Longyu said. Morning sickness? What is that? Chen Zhuaner didn't understand at all. He quickly took a pregnancy manual next to him, flipped through it quickly, and then said, Oh, morning sickness, you have morning sickness, so you must be very uncomfortable, right? It just so happened that I participated in the auction in Qinglong Immortal City today and won everything you needed. I also bought some elixirs to protect the pregnancy and will send them to you together. Where are you now? Let me take care of you. Yifan is a man. How can he take care of a woman? Su Longyu looked towards the kitchen and heard the sound of a spatula frying food. She knew that Yifan had gone to cook again. Hearing Chen Zhuaner scolding Yifan, her beautiful eyebrows slightly frowned and she couldn't help but say, he can cook. It's delicious. Feeling that the previous sentence was not enough to show Yifan's excellence, he added another sentence. Chen Zhuaner scratched her ears and looked at Su Longyu in disbelief. You, what are you talking about? I think I heard it wrongly. She actually heard her best friend praising Yifan, who had average talent, for his delicious cooking. Su Longyu came back to her senses, changed the subject and said, What rare inscription did you take? Oh, these. As she spoke, Chen Zhuaner put the 3 rare inscriptions she had taken photos of into the video and showed them to Su Longyu. She read the inscriptions as if they were reading a heavenly book, and after hearing the host of the auction introduce that these 3 inscriptions were rare, she participated in the bidding. There was a small incident during the auction. Among them, a young refiner from Qionji sect, who was in the top 100 on the young refiner ranking list, sent her a message. He told her not to bid against him anymore, saying that she couldn't understand the inscriptions and it would be a waste to bid it back, so it would be better to let him bid for it and let these 3 rare inscriptions shine in the world of immortal cultivation in the future. But she was so angry that she raised the price by 100 medium-grade spirit stones on the spot and continued bidding. What she was thinking at the time was, I don't know how to carve inscriptions, but my best friend is learning. When she learns it, she will shock the Qionji sect to death. Thinking of this, she said to Sulongyu with hope. You, after I give you these 3 inscription books, you must study hard and strive to master these 3 inscriptions in the future, then help me engrave them on my magic weapon. No, engrave them on my he address this way, when I walk outside. Everyone will know that I, Chen Xuaner, not only took pictures of these 3 inscription books, but also have the magic weapon engraved with these 3 inscriptions. Chen Xuaner is a typical second-generation immortal. She has no interest in practicing magic. She is keen on new things in the world of immortal cultivation every day and likes to read various storybooks. So if you carve the inscription into the magic weapon, you have to take out the magic weapon and show it off when you chat with others. Wouldn't that be too deliberate to show off? The most pretentious way was to carve the inscription on the headdress, and she would wear it every day when going out. Yes, by then I will have to hang out in front of the Qionjimen mountain gate for a few more days. Shock them to death. The more she thought about it, a hotter Chen Xuaner's eyes became. I can't wait to go to Qionjimen and show off to get slapped in the face. She was so focused on this that she forgot about what she and Sulongyu were talking about before the subject was changed. Seeing that Chen Xuaner's attention had been diverted by her, Sulongyu chatted with Chen Xuaner about the inscriptions for a while, and then said, "Go to the east of Kunzu Mountain Range and wait for me. Kunzu Mountains is half a month away from Qinglong Ferry City by flying boat. It takes 5 days to reach King Shufang. The distance is neither far nor near." Because of Chen Xuaner's preconceived bad impression of Yifan, she didn't want Chen Xuaner to meet Yifan, for fear that Chen Xuaner would harm Yifan. Great, Chen Xuaner was particularly happy that she would be able to see Sulongyu soon, and immediately began to show Sulongyu some baby clothes that she had bought recently. All kinds of cute praise. She bought small clothes for both baby boys and baby girls. I didn't know baby clothes were so cute before, but after I bought them, I realized that I couldn't put down every piece. A baby you give birth to, you will definitely be very, very cute. In just over 5 months, they will be born. I am really looking forward to it. Sulongyu lowered her head and raised her hand to touch her bulging belly. She was also looking forward to the 5 little ones. Although morning sickness is indeed very uncomfortable, occasionally feeling their fetal movements and even interacting with them makes her feel surrounded by happiness. Hearing the sound of the spatula frying in the kitchen stop, she said to Chen Xuaner, "It's late, I need to rest. We'll talk next time." "Okay, I'll go see what to eat during morning sickness, and then I'll buy it for you so you don't suffer," Chen Xuaner said. Not long after hanging up the message, Yifan came into the main room carrying for prepared dishes. Take away all the dishes that were cooked previously, so that Sulongyu won't feel like vomiting after smelling them. "Wife," Yifan knocked on Sulongyu's door. Sulongyu looked at him. Seeing that Sulongyu's face was a little pale, he walked over to Stress Lai and said softly, "Have you been vomiting all day? Have you eaten nothing? I made 4 dishes for you that can relieve morning sickness. Come out and try them." Sulongyu originally wanted to refuse because she didn't want to eat and then vomit, but when she saw Yifan's gentle eyes, she nodded. When she came into the main room, she saw 3 dishes and a soup on the table, all of which made her hungry at first sight. "This is sour shredded potato. It's made with aged vinaigrette. It's a little sour and can whet your appetite," Yifan introduced. Shredded potatoes are also rich in vitamin B6, which has an antiemetic effect, and are also rich in starch, which can provide energy to the pregnant mother's body. This is stir-fried yam and peas, which nourishes the stomach and strengthens the spleen. Yam and peas contain vitamins A and B1, which also have the effect of strengthening the spleen. This is steamed pumpkin, which helps the baby's bone and visual nerve development, because pumpkin contains carotenoids. This is cabbage stewed with tofu, which is refreshing and sweet. Tofu is rich in high protein and calcium, and cabbage is rich in vitamins and dietary fiber. It tastes refreshing, sweet, and nutritious. Moreover, these dishes are all spiritual vegetables, which are 1,000 times better than ordinary vegetables in terms of taste, nutrition and spiritual power supplementation. After starting to eat, Sulongyu found that whether it was the sour shredded potatoes, the steamed pumpkin, or the cabbage stewed with tofu, they were all very much to her taste. Moreover, after eating it, there was no nausea or vomiting. Before she knew it, she had eaten 2 bowls of rice. I ate until my stomach was full. Chapter 46 King Yuan Cheng Sheng Shen Gong. After dinner, Yifan took Sulongyu out for a walk. Under the moonlight, fat rabbits could be seen nesting in the grass from time to time. Yifan told Sulongyu about what happened in King Shufang. This includes the fact that because of the development of the powerful cave nearby, more and more independent cultivators and sect cultivators have rushed over, as well as the affairs of Lingbao Pavilion, the Green Ferry, Wenxi, and Hie. King Shufang will be very chaotic recently. I plan not to go out for half a month. The vegetables I bought will be enough for us to last for half a month, Yifan said. A living creatures you buy, such as spiritual chickens, spiritual sheep, and spiritual fish, can be raised around your home. Because of the formation, they can't escape. He also mastered the method of controlling them. So it was very convenient to kill them, and he could also eat the freshly killed spirit flesh at any time. Yeah, Sulong Yu nodded. While taking a walk, Sulong Yu no longer had morning sickness, so Yifan felt relieved. After the walk, Yifan returned to his room. Prepare to review the killing of Wen Shi and Hie. It is detected that the host has successfully appeased the bound object, and the bound object has developed intimacy with the host. The host is specially rewarded with a set of wood-based skills, Qingyuan Cheng Sheng Shen Shen Gong, and 1 enlightenment. Qingyuan Cheng Shen Shen Gong. Soon, the system sent the skills into Yifan's mind. Looking at this technique, Yifan smiled. It's actually a technique to increase lifespan. Moreover, at a certain level, it can even bring back the dead. It's truly a technique produced by the system. It's really awesome. Besides, this is a wood-based technique, which is very suitable for me. Although it is not as powerful as the Great Evolution Sword technique and the training speed is also slower. But the 2 skill points of increasing lifespan and divine medicine are not available in every martial art. You must know that the ultimate goal of cultivating immortals is to pursue longevity. Countless cultivators have died of old age before they could even build a foundation due to their mediocre aptitude or lack of resources for cultivation, leaving them with lifelong regrets. And with this set of skills, I can increase my lifespan. Although I am only a cultivator with for spiritual roots and my lifespan is only about 200 years before I reach the foundation building stage, the using human as a tool body refining can increase my lifespan, and the Qingyuan longevity technique can also increase my lifespan. I don't believe that with so much lifespan increase and the help of dual cultivation to increase spiritual root qualification points, I can reach the golden core stage. When I reach the Jindan stage, the difference in lifespan between me and Sulong Yu will be greatly reduced. Immediately, Yifan asked the system to use enlightenment and began to comprehend the Qingyuan Cheng Sheng Gong. Half an hour later, the effect of enlightenment disappeared and Yifan opened his eyes. This epiphany consumed 5 mid-grade spirit stones, but the effect was remarkable. He comprehended the first level of Qingyuan Cheng Sheng Shen Gong. There is a lingering breath in the body. Even his perception of the wood-attributed spiritual energy around him was enhanced, and he gained a natural understanding of the interdependent nature of plants and trees. This technique is really good. Even if I don't use spiritual fluid or spiritual stones to meditate and practice, my body can automatically recover spiritual power. Although the speed of recovering spiritual power is quite slow now, but being able to automatically replenish spiritual power can give me another way to save my life during the battle. For example, when he killed Hie before, he consumed a huge amount of spiritual power to use the talisman after killing Hie. If someone attacked him secretly and quickly, and he had not yet replenished enough spiritual power to drive the Zuantian shield, he would most likely die on the spot. Moreover, the first level of this technique already has a healing effect, but it's not to the point of bringing the dead back to life. However, it can heal some common skin injuries without any problem. Even at the cost of lifespan, it can cure more serious diseases. A true miracle doctor's skill. In addition, this technique can also conceal one's aura. Originally, wood-based techniques were derived from wood and could allow cultivators to have a certain degree of resonance with plants and trees, thus achieving the effect of concealing their aura. However, general wood-based techniques were not very effective in concealing aura. However, this set of Qingyuan Chan Shan Shan Gong is very effective in concealing aura. You can conceal your breath and make yourself lifeless like a dead branch. Even if he had only cultivated to the first level, with his current strength of the 6th level of key training, no one except a foundation building master would be able to detect that he was hiding his aura. This function is perfect for him, who wants to practice in a low-key manner. As long as you keep practicing this set of skills, you can increase your lifespan in each realm. The increased lifespan is half of the maximum lifespan of the cultivators in the current realm. For example, the maximum lifespan of an ordinary mortal can reach 110 years. The lifespan of a cultivator in the key training stage is much longer than that of an ordinary person, and can reach up to 200 years. Yifan, who has practiced the Qingyuan Cheng Sheng Shen Gong, can increase his lifespan by another 100 years during the key training period, not counting the lifespan increased by body training. That is to say, now, as long as he reaches the late stage of key training, his lifespan can be as high as 200 years plus 100 years plus the 20 years of lifespan added by the first level of artificial body training, a total of 320 years. The longest lifespan of a cultivator in the foundation establishment stage is only 400 years. After Yifan calculated this, his lifespan was almost approaching that of a foundation establishment stage master. So cool. See what good stuff is in that evil Qian Kun bag. As he spoke, Yifan took out Hie and Wenxi's Qian Kun bags. After killing Hie, he took away Hie and Wenxi's Qian Kun bags as well as the magic weapons that fell to the ground. When he left, the Green Fairy did not mention the matter of Hie and Wenxi's Qian Kun bag. After all, he was the one who killed these two people in the end. According to the rules of the immortal world, whoever kills the person will own the Qian Kun bag and other things. Yifan spent some time erasing the magic imprints on Hie and Wenxi's Qian Kun bags. Then opened the evil Qian Kun bag. The supplies inside were much more than what Dashan and Fairy Kaidai had given them before. There were not only 300 low-grade spirit stones, but also a bunch of monster materials and refining materials, some herbs that were hundreds of years old. A first-level longevity pill that was extremely precious in the world of cultivating immortals, and even a second-level low-grade monster inner pill. Many of them are materials for refining foundation-building pills. It looks like Hie is planning to find someone to make a foundation-building pill in order to break through to his foundation. This time the harvest is very good. After taking these things out of the Qian Kun bag, Yifan discovered that there was a black animal skin roll lying in the corner of the bag. Take out the animal skin roll. There were four big characters written on the animal skin scroll. But he didn't recognize these four words. It is not the common language in the current world of immortal cultivation. Go check on Su Longyu tomorrow. This animal skin scroll looks ordinary, but when you hold it in your hand, you can feel the ancient atmosphere and traces of time emanating from it. Wenxi's Qian Kun bag was very clean. With only a few scattered spirit crystals, not even a low-grade spirit stone. This poor bastard. I guess he couldn't get any benefits from the Green Fairy. So he turned against her. Chapter 47, Mutated Spiritual Pet. Yifan took out 3 magical weapons used in the battle against evil. After looking at a first-grade medium-quality shield, Yifan threw it into the refining materials, preparing to dismantle it and refine it for sale. This way, he could sell the stolen goods without any pressure. This is the advantage of being a weapon refiner. Yifan's gaze fell on the enlarged black ink ruler in front of him, which was twice as big as Dashan's black ink ruler. Looking closely, I discovered that the inscriptions on this ink ruler are even more complex and detailed than those on Dashan's. Is this an upgraded version of the ink ruler inscription? Although this ink ruler is also a first-class high-quality magic weapon, it is of high-quality, better than Dashan's, and the inscription on it shows that it is more powerful than Dashan's. Good. He planned to thoroughly understand the upgraded version of the ink ruler inscription when he had time, and then upgrade the inscription on the Byaqiao needle. During this actual combat, he discovered that the 8 needle as a hidden weapon, combined with the psychedelic talisman, was really a good and unexpected trump card. Then Yifan's gaze fell on the palm-sized black net next to the ink ruler. After taking the black net in his hand and playing with it for a while, he was slightly amazed. This is actually an upgradable high-grade magic weapon. Generally, magical instruments are of the same grade when they are refined. However, there are also powerful weapon refiners who, when they perform exceptionally well, will refine upgradable magical weapons. In other words, this black net is now only a first-grade top-grade magical weapon, but if it is tempered with the correct method and materials, it can be upgraded to a second-grade magical weapon in the future. Its value is incomparable. Robbing is so fun. Wenxi's magic weapon was a first-grade mid-level magic weapon, which was also thrown into Yifan's Qian Kun bag containing refining materials. After collecting the spoils, Yifan took out the egg he exchanged with the Green Fairy. Looking at the basketball-sized egg in front of him, he placed his hand on the eggshell, slowly inject magic power, and sensed the white jade centipede cub in the eggshell. Suddenly his brows frowned slightly. He cursed, "Fuck, Green Fairy, I'm going to fuck you. You fairy, doesn't your peach-sized conscience hurt? I was given a monster cub that was about to die." Sure enough. His mind is very scheming, even deeper than yours. When the Green Fairy gave him the egg, he used his magic power to sense it and confirmed that the white jade centipede cub inside was in a vigorous state. And only then did he agree to trade with her. I didn't expect this woman to cheat. I don't know what secret method she used to activate the vitality of the white jade centipede so that he didn't notice anything unusual. The transaction was completed. By now, the activated vitality had disappeared and the white jade centipede cub was in a dying state. Yifan. No wonder a second-level monster with strong vitality is given to me as soon as I ask it to be given to me. The feeling is, this is a cub that's dying. Green Fairy. We have a grudge against each other. The second-level monster corresponds to the foundation-building cultivator, but because of the special physique of the monster, even if they are of the same level, the second-level monster is stronger than the foundation-building cultivator. Yifan opened the eggshell and saw a cute centipede made entirely of white jade, similar to a silkworm, lying there dying in the center of the eggshell. After sensing that the eggshell was opened, it raised its eyes, glanced at Yifan, then lowered its head weakly. weak, pitiful, and helpless. Originally, centipodes should be very ugly, but this white jade centipede is an outlier. It is particularly cute and has a kind of adorable feeling. It is a female white jade centipede. That's not right. Ethan discovered two tentacles on the head of this white jade centipede cub. They were not pure white jade color, but had a hint of gold. It looks high-end at first glance. If you don't look carefully, you can't see it. Is this not just a second-level white jade centipede cub, but a more powerful mutated white jade centipede cub? Thinking of this, Ethan's eyes darkened. A white jade centipede has strong combat power, and is extremely powerful even among monsters of the same level. Because it can not only burrow into the ground and attack enemies, but also release venom to poison enemies. Even for the beastmasters in the beast-taming valley, it is very difficult to tame an adult white jade centipede for combat, and it costs a lot of money. And now, he had an opportunity to breed mutant white jade centipede cubs. King Yuan Cheng Shengong has therapeutic effects. However, in the case of this cub, using only basic healing functions is completely useless. If you want to use it, you have to use a treatment that costs your lifespan. A little guy made a sound so weak that it was almost inaudible, and then turned over with great effort, with his forelegs facing the sky, looking at Ethan with his big round eyes. Very cute, very weak. It is easy to arouse people's desire to protect. There happens to be a longevity pill here. Let's try it. Ethan first checked the longevity pill and made sure it was a genuine pill without any poison. Then he took the pill. The taste is really bitter. He immediately practiced the King Yuan Cheng Shengong to refine the pill. Under the operation of King Yuan Cheng Shengong, he felt that he had turned into a grass, from taking root to sprouting, to growing leaves, to thriving, and then to withering. The next spring, when the spring breeze blows, the grass will continue to take root, sprout, grow leaves, and thrive. Every reincarnation makes its blades sharper. Endless life. 10 years have passed. Opening his eyes, Ethan was overjoyed. A life-extending pill actually increased his lifespan by 10 years. Good. An ordinary cultivator can only extend his life by 5 years if he eats a first-level life-extending pill. I never thought that after I refined it with the longevity skill, I could extend it by 10 years. It's a pity that this level of longevity pill is only effective if you take the first one. Taking more than that will not help. Suddenly, Ethan thought of the difference of his longevity skill. Perhaps, next time he could try taking another first-level longevity pill to see if it could increase his lifespan. After increasing his lifespan, Ethan practiced the longevity technique and input the magic power generated by the longevity technique into the white jade centipede cub. After the white jade centipede cub received the magic power, its small body shook slightly, and its big eyes, which had been closed just now, opened again with curiosity. Inputting the skills lasted for the duration of an incense stick. After spending 5 years of its life, the vitality of the white jade centipede cub finally recovered to its vigorous state. Hey, the little guy who came back to life was very excited before. He could only turn over at most now. He had already climbed to Ethan's ear, rubbing his little head against Ethan's face affectionately, making a cute and excited sound. Ethan smiled and patted its little head, saying, "How about I call you Xiaobi from now on? Hey, in the next few days." The news that the green fairy killed the black evil, one of the 3 evils, outside King Shufang spread in King Shufang. Within 2 days, the green fairy successfully established her foundation. Chapter 48 Wife. Let's discuss a new way of dual cultivation. In the secret room of the 3-story Wanqi Pavilion in King Shufang, An Jianshang, the elder of Wanqi Pavilion, frowned at the young man standing in front of him and said dissatisfiedly, "Why did you join forces with the evil to attack Sang Xianyu?" Sang Xianyu is the real name of the green fairy. Wanqi Pavilion and Lingbao Pavilion are both in the business of magical instruments and have been competitors for many years. Not only did they compete in business, but they also had many frictions and wars over resources such as minerals. The 2 companies had become mortal enemies. The Han family wants to destroy the Sang family. Over the years, wherever the Sang family's Lingbao Pavilion opened, the Han family's Wanqi Pavilion would definitely open there. Especially as the lifespan of the fake Dan Zhen Ren of the Sang family has been approaching its limit in recent years, the Han family has become more and more rampant, not only suppressing the Lingbao Pavilion in the market town, but also suppressing the Sang family in terms of spiritual veins, spiritual mines, and spiritual products. Seeing that Sang Jianyu of the Sang family was about to establish her foundation and had extraordinary talent, some people in the Han family could not help but want to kill this girl. Otherwise, this girl will make fake elixir in the future and take over from the Sang family's fake elixir ancestor. The young man in front of Han Jianshang was the one who couldn't contain himself. His name was Han Jingqi. And he was the leader of the new generation of the Han family. He has a top-grade spiritual root and joined the sect at the age of 19. He has also reached the late stage of key training and has achieved great perfection. Han Jingqi touched his nose and said, I didn't expect Sang Jianyu to be so difficult to kill. Uncle, don't worry, no one knows about the deal between me and He. An Ji and Shang said. Now it's good this time Sang Jianyu not only survived, but was also stimulated to successfully build his foundation. Their Sang family has one more foundation building cultivator. Suddenly Han Ji and Shang thought of something, waved his hand again, and said, forget about this matter, don't be so impulsive next time, otherwise if the people of the Sang family find out, you will be hunted down by their ancestors. Do you think you can escape the pursuit of a fake Dan Zhen Ren? An Jinqi touched his nose, lowered his head and stopped talking. After taking a sip of tea, An Ji and Shang asked, I asked you to investigate the Yu Yangzhuan incident, how is it going? An Jinqi immediately looked up and reported to Han Ji and Shang. We haven't found out the specific details of Yi Fan. He seems to be a casual cultivator, but he can get the protection of a late key training manager in Shuimen Street. There must be someone behind him. An Ji and Shang frowned and said, speed up, the outer disciples of Luo Yun sect will arrive at King Shufang soon. We have to capture Yu Yangzhuan and Yi Fan before they arrive. An Jinqi, I will, uncle. Our Han family has great fortune this time. We have boarded the Luo Yun sect's big ship in the future. We will definitely be able to rank among the 7 great immortal cultivation families in the southern region. An Ji and Shang smiled when he heard this, and then said seriously, don't be complacent yet. If you do this well, our Han family will surely prosper in the future. This is really something I didn't expect. The 3 upper sects that usually don't even look at us, this time, actually let us get in touch with the Luo Yun sect because of the strange magic tools refined by Yi Fan. This opportunity only comes once in a million years, we must seize it. This is a godsend opportunity for our Han family to cross the class and advance as a family. An Jinqi's eyes were filled with ambition and ambition. Manager Fan followed a maid into the backyard of Lingbao Pavilion. In the study room in the backyard, I saw the green fairy sitting in the first seat. As soon as he entered the study, a powerful pressure from the foundation establishment stage came towards Manager Fan. Manager Fan immediately lowered his head, his legs trembling slightly, and he bowed with both hands and shouted in a trembling voice, Senior Sang. In the world of immortal cultivation, there is an unwritten rule. That is, age is not the only thing that determines one's seniority, but one's cultivation. Although the green fairy Sang Jianyu is much younger than Manager Fan, Sang Jianyu has now successfully established her foundation. Even though she has only entered the initial stage of foundation building, Manager Fan, who is in the late stage of key training, has to respectfully call her senior. Sit down. Sang Jianyu restrained his pressure. Manager Fan sat on the chair, wondering in his heart that he had nothing to do with Lingbao Pavilion or the Sang family. Why did Sang Jianyu suddenly summon me to see her? After taking a sip of the spiritual tea, Sang Jianyu said, Manager Fan, I heard that you are familiar with Yi Fan from Yu Yangzhuan. Could you tell me about Yi Fan's situation? I'm very interested in him. Firstly, Yi Fan was only in the middle stage of key training, and he killed Wen Shi with a single sword strike without relying on any special magic weapon. This already surprised her. If she had not been surprised at the time, Aurora would not have been revealed and discovered by Yi Fan. Secondly, Yi Fan actually had a second-level defensive magic weapon in his hand, as well as tailmusnums that could only be nurtured by a Jin Dan Zhen Ren. After hearing this, Manager Fan knew why Sang Jianyu was looking for him. When Yi Fan was mentioned, the humble look on his face suddenly disappeared. He held his head high and said in an either humble nor arrogant manner, Senior Sang, Yi Fan is not someone you can ask around. I advise you that even if you have a fake Dan Zhen Ren in charge of your Lingbao Pavilion, Yi Fan is not someone you can mess with. That's all I have to say. After saying this, Manager Fan turned around and left. After walking some distance from Lingbao Pavilion, Manager Fan's legs felt weak and he collapsed to the ground. San King bless me, I didn't say anything. The master behind Yi Fan shouldn't kill me, right? The days passed quickly, and 10 days had passed. During these 10 days, Yi Fan spent more time accompanying Su Lonyu and less time refining magic tools and meditating. His relationship with Su Lonyu also gradually warmed up. Even if the two of them just went to the spiritual field to perform a spell to gather spirits and turn them into rain to eliminate insects and irrigate the spiritual field, it was very affectionate. At night, Yi Fan felt that the time was ripe. After tossing and turning in bed several times, and getting up to study the Dragon and the Pearl many times, he pushed open the door of Su Lonyu's boudoir. It's me, Yi Fan said softly. Su Lonyu, who was lying on the bed and couldn't fall asleep, clutched the quilt tightly with her tender white hands, looking at Yi Fan who walked in from outside the tent. Her beautiful eyes sparkled. Why are you here? Is there something wrong? She asked. Yi Fan walked outside the gauze tent and said, I just read a book. There are a lot of contents in it. I don't understand it very well. I want to discuss it with you. Oh, Su Lonyu held her waist, stood up, and walked out of the mosquito net. And he saw that Yi Fan was really holding a book with no words on the cover. Inexplicably, she was reminded of the ancestral secret book that Yi Fan had given her before. Her hands, placed on the bedside, gripped the sheets slightly. I have an inexplicable expectation in my heart, but I can't express it out loud. Let me see, she said. A sound is gentle, adding a touch of warmth to the autumn breeze. Yi Fan came and sat down next to Su Longyu, then put the book in her hand, leaned over, and said with a smile, "Let's read it together." Feeling Yi Fan's slightly hot breath and the unique aura on him, Su Longyu wanted to move to the side. His body seemed to be fixed by magic and could not move. She opened the nameless book, and the next second, her face turned red. Yi Fan hugged Su Longyu and said with a low smile, "Wife, let's discuss a new way of dual cultivation." Half a month passed quickly, and after Yi Fan's hard work, his wood's spiritual root at review points increased to 30 points. There are only 70 points left to reach the 100 points required to advance to the next level. Work harder and strive to upgrade your wood's spiritual roots as soon as possible. Come to King Shu Fang. Son Qiaozh, I told him that the magic tools in the store were not selling recently because they were priced too high. Boss, ever since the Green Fairy successfully built her foundation, Lingbao Pavilion and Wanqi Pavilion have started a price where the price of magic tools has been falling all the way and is about to fall below the cost price the monks are celebrating, and they all go there to buy magic tools. I didn't dare to lower the price privately, so I only sold one magic weapon in the past half month. But daily necessities like dishes have always been selling very well and are almost out of stock. Fortunately, you are back, boss. Yi Fan nodded. It seems that the Green Fairy was attacked and killed outside the King Shu Fang before, and the Wanqi Pavilion might be involved. He asked Song Qiaozh about the feud between Lingbao Pavilion and Wanqi Pavilion. Song Qiaozh told everything she knew in great detail. Because the store's magic weapon business has been greatly affected recently, she went out of her way to inquire about the grievances between Lingbao Pavilion and Wanqi Pavilion, so that she could report to Yi Fan after he returned. Chapter 49. The Green Fairy's Proposal. After listening to the feud between Lingbao Pavilion and Wanqi Pavilion, Yi Fan took a sip of tea. No wonder he had noticed that Lingbao Pavilion's business was not very good before. It turned out that it was because the ancestor of Lingbao Pavilion, Master Jia Dan, was about to reach the limit of his lifespan. Fortunately, I was cautious enough before and did not easily board the Lingbao Pavilion. Song Qiaozh continued. The price war between Lingbao Pavilion and Wanqi Pavilion has forced many shops that sell magic tools to close down, and vendors selling magic tools on the street have also been forced to close their stalls one by one. When Yi Fan heard this, he thought of the price war between Wang Liuji and Jia Duobao, and finally they were gone. Fortunately, his Yu Yangshuan has its own characteristics. As long as no one unravels the core technology of the dishes, toilets, bathtubs, etc. he makes, Yu Yangshuan can continue to operate. However, things like bowls and plates are cheap, and if you only sell them instead of selling ritual instruments, you will end up spending more than you earn. After all, you can make big money by selling magical tools. Moreover, to increase the refining value, you have to buy refining materials, which costs money. He asked Song Qiaozh to reset the price of the magic weapon, lowering it appropriately, and the profit would still be huge. Moreover, the magic weapons he sold were engraved with first-grade mid-level attack inscriptions, which was his unique selling point. As long as he lowered the price appropriately, there would still be some wealthy monks who would buy them. After Song Qiaozh went out, Yi Fan counted the spirit stones in his hand. 210 medium-grade spirit stones and 1257 low-grade spirit stones. I'm still very rich. Even if Lingbao Pavilion and Wanqi Pavilion engage in a price war, I won't panic. I haven't been to the market for half a month, but I didn't expect that the Green Fairy has established her foundation. Yi Fan took out the black animal skin scroll he got from Hie from his storage bag. We had consulted Su Longyu about the 4 words written on it, and they were exactly the 4 big words Black Winged Canyon that Fang Hua had mentioned to him before. On the animal skin scroll was a map with the location of the Black Wind Canyon marked with a small red flag. This location is some distance away from Qi Yushan's cave residence, but not very far. However, without the map, it would be impossible to find this place based on Fang Hua's words. Because Qi Yushan is located in the hilly mountain range, and the hilly mountain range spans the southern region and central China, it is a very vast area. I don't know if the Black Winged Canyon on this map is real. Most of the maps available in the world of immortal cultivation are fake, because the real maps are either in the hands of a sect or a family of immortal cultivation, and it is impossible for them to be leaked to the outside world. There is a small part of the map that is real, but it is not the real treasure trove. It is most likely a trap set by the robbers. It is similar to the high salary used to lure people to northern Myanmar. There is only a 1 in 10 million chance that a treasure similar to the one found in Qi Yushan's cave can be found. However, a treasure like the Qi Yushan Great Cave is not something that can be conquered by a casual cultivator. nor is it something that a small sect can enjoy alone. Otherwise, after Ying Zong discovered this cave, he would not have spread the news and attracted all the major sects to come. Kan Yingzong was quite smart. He knew that he had no ability to keep this huge treasure, so he decided to divide it among everyone according to their abilities. Not only can they work together to attack the cave, but they can also gain favors and goodwill from other sects. Yifan put away the map, drank a cup of spiritual tea, changed his appearance, and left Yuliang Pavilion. Walking on Shuimen Street, you can occasionally see groups of 3 or 2 monks wearing their sex robes on the main road. Those monks walking on the road naturally have a sense of superiority. Many independent cultivators and ordinary people, when looking at them, could not help but express envy. There is indeed a difference between sect cultivators and independent cultivators. The cultivators of a sect rely on the sect and have spiritual veins to assist them in their cultivation, while the independent cultivators have to fight with all kinds of intrigues for cultivation resources. Because once a cultivator has no spiritual stones to assist in his cultivation will degenerate, and he may even regress to the innate realm. Although King Shufang has a 2nd-level spiritual vein, it is all used to protect the 2nd-level formation, and the cave. The spiritual power in the house is extremely thin, and is not even enough to supply the spiritual power needed by the cultivators at the 1st level of key training. Yifan came to the restaurant, which was a place where good and bad people mixed together, and it was easy to get all kinds of information. He hadn't been out for half a month, and this time he went out, he had to get to know the latest situation. As soon as he walked in, he bumped into Fang Hua, who had just come out after having a good meal and a drink. Fang Hua now had a radiant look on his face, his steps were not swollen at all, and he walked with a breeze. 3 bulging storage bags were hung in a conspicuous position on his waist, and next to him was a female cultivator in the early stage of key training. It seems that he has been living a comfortable life recently. Fang Hua didn't recognize Yifan and walked past him with a smile. He could also be heard saying to the female cultivator with a smile, "Let's go to my house next Don T go back tonight." Yifan came to the 2nd floor of the restaurant, found a table and sat down. Just as he was about to order, a pretty girl walked up to him and said softly and gently, "Dao Yu, I'm from Lingbao Pavilion. My young master would like to invite you for a drink. Could you please move to the private room?" Yifan looked at the girl. "I didn't expect that I would run into the green fairy while coming here to drink. Let's go." Yifan stood up. Fighting is prohibited in King Shufang, especially now that there are more monks from the sect coming. The security in King Shufang is better. Even though the green fairy has successfully established her foundation, she dare not act trashily in the green bamboo square. When they arrived at the private room, the girl went out, and there was only him and the green fairy sitting by the window drinking in the private room. Fairy Jade Green saw Yifan coming in and smiled at him. "Fellow Taoist Yi, we are destined to meet. Please take a seat." Yifan pulled out a chair opposite her and sat down. Fairy Jade Green took out a Qian Kung bag, placed it in front of Yifan, and said with a smile, "Fellow Taoist Yi, the 2nd-level white jade centipede monster cub I gave you last time, after I came back, I was told by the family elders that the cub had problems and would not survive for 5 days. This is the exchange item for you. Please see if you are satisfied with it." Yifan took the Qian Kung bag. There was no mark of magic power on the bag. He probed it with his spiritual sense and found 5,000 low-grade spirit stones inside. Just barely enough. As for the reason given by the green fairy, he didn't believe it. The fact that she could replenish the items for exchange must be the result of her weighing the pros and cons. Seeing that Yifan was not angry, the green fairy smiled and said, "Friendy, there is an auction at King Shufang tonight. This is King Shufang's annual auction event this time. It is held by the outer sect of Yingzong. Many monks from other sects have come to King Shufang this year. There will be many good things at the auction. I have 2 invitations to the auction here. I'll give you one. This invitation is now only issued to major sects and immortal cultivation families." Yifan did not accept the invitation and said, "Just say it if you have something to say." Fairy Jade covered her mouth and smiled, her beautiful eyes sparkling, and her red lips parted slightly. "Fellow Taoist Yi is really straightforward, so I won't be polite with you." Chapter 50. Lan Yu sect arrives. The green fairy shared her idea with Yifan. A general idea is that she asked Yifan if he wanted to sell the ink ruler of Hee. If he did, she could help him take it to the auction. When the time comes, after deducting the auction house's handling fee, she will not take a penny from the spirit stones raised from the auction, and will give all to Yifan. "Fellow Taoist Yi, how is it?" Yifan laughed. "No big deal." Fairy Jade Green, "Fellow Taoist Yi, the black iron ink ruler of Hee is useless to you. You might as well auction it off and exchange it for spirit stones. It's also more cost-effective to melt the ink ruler and refine a new magical tool than to sell it directly." Yifan stood up and said, "Congratulations to Fairy Green for successfully building her foundation. I have something else to do, so I'll leave first." Fellow Taoist Yi, don't be in a hurry to lease it down and let's talk slowly, the green fairy said with a smile. Then she waved her hand, and a lot of ingredients appeared on the table instantly. There are 100-year-old fantasy heart grass, moon sunflower branches, March tears, second-level spirit wood and so on. Ethan narrowed his eyes. This was the material for refining the Foundation Establishment pill. Some of the materials were not the same as the materials for the Foundation Establishment pill he got from the Black Evil Universe bag. Fairy Jade Green smiled and said, "Yes, this is 1/3 of the material needed to refine the Foundation Establishment pill." As she spoke, Fairy Jade took out another second-grade lower-grade magic weapon and said, "This fine second-grade lower-grade magic weapon is much more valuable than the Black Iron Ink Ruler. I can mortgage this magic weapon to you first when the Black Iron Ink Ruler is auctioned tonight. I will give you the spiritual stones I got from the auction. You can give me this second-grade lower-grade magic weapon, and the materials for the Foundation building pills in front of you as your reward. How about that?" Ifan took out the Black and Evil Ink Ruler, collected the second-level low-grade magic weapon, a bunch of materials for refining Foundation building pills, and the invitation letter for the auction, and said, "This is still a bit of sincerity." He had thoroughly studied the upgraded version of the inscription on the Black Iron Ruler in the past half-month, and had engraved it on a set of 8 needles that he had recreated. Although this Black Iron Ruler is a top-grade, first-class magic weapon, he cannot use it. This is the famous magic weapon of Hiei. Once it is taken out, people will guess that it is related to killing Hiei. Secondly, Hiei is one of the 3 evils, and there are 2 more who are still at large. I heard that those 2 are Foundation building cultivators. Now that Hiei is dead, the other 2 will definitely avenge him. He now just wants to live a low-key life and doesn't want to provoke those vicious and evil people. Thirdly, his current attacking technique is mainly the Dayan sword technique. He is a sword cultivator and his main weapon is the Dayan Wuji sword. The Mo ruler is not suitable for him. In addition, just as the Green Fairy said, auctioning this magic weapon would naturally earn more spirit stones than melting it down and refining a new one to sell. As for the Green Fairy wanting to sell the Black Iron Ink Ruler at the auction, she must have her own ideas. He didn't think she would be a good person, so he directly rejected her, for your own good freeloading behavior. After the deal was settled, the Green Fairy was in a good mood and told Yifan about the recent situation in King Shufang. For example, the inner and outer disciples of the lower 7 sects in the southern region have all arrived here. The outer disciples of the Woyun sect of the upper 3 sects will arrive in 3 days. The outer disciples of the Lan Yu sect will arrive tonight. And the outer disciples of the Qionji sect will arrive in 10 days. Hearing about the Lan Yu sect, Yifan took a sip of the spiritual wine. Walking out of the restaurant, Yifan was in a good mood. He has now reached the 6th level of key training and can start planning the Foundation building pill. But the Foundation building materials from and the Foundation building materials given by the Green Fairy this time, 80 of the basic materials for the Foundation building pill have been made up. There are more than 6,200 low-grade spirit stones, plus 210 mid-grade spirit stones, plus 210 mid-grade spirit stones. Even the disciples of large sects, who are in the Foundation building stage, may not be able to come up with so many spirit stones. You can go and have a look at the auction tonight. He checked to see if there were any medicinal herbs for the 2nd level of body refining. The medicinal herbs for the 1st level were directly sent to him by the system, but he needed to prepare the herbs for the 2nd level himself. He sent a message to Su Longyu, telling her that he would be back late tonight. Afterwards, he received a message from Fatty Wang, informing him that he had returned to King Shufang and was waiting for him in the private room of J. Yufeng Tea House. The 2 had agreed to meet today. Yifan found a place, changed back to his original appearance, and went to J. Yufeng Tea House. In the box, as soon as Fatty Wang saw Yifan, he took out the 15 medium-grade spirit stones that he had finally collected and asked Yifan to customize a magic weapon. Yifan smiled and took only 2 medium-grade spirit stones, then said, "Just engrave the inscription on your sword, so you don't have to use a new magic weapon." Fatty Wang was stunned for a moment and said, "Is this okay?" He thought, "What if the engraving fails? Doesn't that mean I have to buy a new one?" Yifan asked Fatty Wang to take out the magic weapon. Fatty Wang's magic weapon is a red knife called the Poji knife. Yifan took the knife and asked him to come to Yuliangshuan at 3 p.m. today to get the knife. Fatty Wang believed in Yifan. After talking about the magic tools, he took out 2 invitations and handed one to Yifan. He smiled and said, "Yifan, King Shufang will hold an auction tonight. There will be a lot of good things. You are the boss of Yuliangshuan now, and you have a lot of spiritual stones. You can go to the auction and bid for anything you like. Only monks from sects and immortal cultivation families are invited to auctions of this level. Not only are the things good, but they are also expensive. So there is a threshold. Individual cultivators cannot come in without an invitation letter." There was actually a still warm invitation in Yifan's Qian Kun bag, but it was a gift from Fatty Wang. So he accepted it and said with a smile, "Okay, I haven't been to an auction yet, so this is a good opportunity to go and see it." At 3 p.m. in the afternoon, Fatty Wang went to Yuliangchuan and got his Poji knife. He was stunned when he saw the whirlwind inscription, ice-breaking inscription and flame inscription engraved on the Poji sword. "Oh my god, Yifan. Your attainments in inscriptions are too amazing. You have engraved 3 attack inscriptions on my magic weapon without fail. 2 middle-grade spirit stones are not enough." Having said that, Fatty Wang insisted on giving Yifan 5 more medium-grade spirit stones. If Yifan refused to accept it, he would get angry, so in the end Yifan had to accept it. The auction of King Shufang was held in the moon tower of the King Shufang City Lord's mansion in the evening. The annual auction is held here this year, because of the appearance of a powerful cave in the surrounding area. Monks from the sect came here. The Moonding Tower was decorated extremely luxuriously, and it exuded luxury everywhere. Even the female cultivators standing at the door to welcome guests all had great figures and outstanding temperaments. Fatty Wang showed 2 invitation letters and took Yifan into the 7-story moon tower. Inside the building, the scenery of small bridges and flowing water is extremely elegant. There is a huge circular stage in the center of the lobby on the 1st floor. From the 2nd floor to the 7th floor, there are several private rooms on each floor. From the windows of the private rooms, you can clearly see the situation on the circular stage on the 1st floor. Chapter 51 Shock. Yuliangchuan is opened by Yu, Yifan. The venue is extremely spacious and grand. Carved railings and jade bricks. The scene was grand. Because the official auction time had not yet arrived, in the center of the circular stage, a veiled woman was playing the piano. A melodious sound of the piano cleansing the soul. The sound of the piano was even more pleasant than the last time he heard the fairy playing the piano in the Honey Fruit Fairy Tower. The temperament of the woman playing the piano is even more outstanding. She is a female cultivator in the middle stage of key training. In the field, from time to time, graceful girls carrying exquisite trays would walk among the crowd. There are spirits and exquisite snacks on the tray. Everyone entering the venue was wearing either the sex robes or the uniform robes of a family of immortal cultivators. Occasionally, there were a few wearing robes that looked very expensive in material, similar to a celebrity gathering in modern times. Naturally, such gatherings are not complete without graceful female monks wearing figure-revealing robes. This is a scene that cannot be seen in restaurants, tea houses or streets of King Shufang. The scene is indeed pleasing to the eyes. Yifan was very polite and got it for free. "Not bad, let's go. Our box is on the 3rd floor." Fatty Wang patted Yifan's shoulder and said with a smile. The 2 came to the 3rd floor, which was the private room of Qiuyue Valley, the sect where Fatty Wang belonged. Fatty Wang brought Yifan and there were already 5 cultivators in the private room, 3 males and 2 females. The male cultivators are all at the 8th level of key training. There are 2 female cultivators. One of them is in a scarlet dress and is at the 7th level of key training, while the other one is in a black robe and is at the 9th level of key training. Yifan's current cultivation level was not enough to tell their cultivation strength. Fatty Wang told him about this before they entered the room. 5 monks were now sitting at the dining table by the window, on which were placed King Shufang's specialties: spicy spiritual fish, stir-fried winter bamboo shoots, stir-fried seasonal vegetables, bamboo to rice, and a large plate of roasted spiritual duck with wisps of fairy mist rising from it. The bowls and plates used to hold these dishes were actually products of Yifan's Yuliangchuan. Seeing this, Yifan smiled inwardly. Emperor Yingzong was very good at the tourism business. At this moment, the 5 people have not started eating yet and are chatting about something. The woman in the scarlet dress has a smile on her face. Seeing the door open, the 5 people looked over. Fatty Wang brought Yifan forward and introduced him with a smile. "Senior brother. Senior sister. This is my childhood friend, Yifan, whom I told you about. Yifan, this is my senior brother Ji Bing. This is my 2nd senior sister Qiyu, 3rd senior brother Yu Keng, 4th senior brother Lu Baohe, and 5th senior sister Mumu." Yifan greeted them and sat down. Because Fatty Wang had told him in advance that Yifan would come with him, 7 servings of bamboo to rice were prepared on the table. Ji Bing and the others did not dislike Yifan just because he was a casual cultivator, but they were not overly enthusiastic either. After all, they had just met. The woman in the scarlet dress was Fatty Wang's 5th senior sister, Mumu. Picked up a shell-shaped pink flower-shaped baking tin that contained a bowl of dessert. She looked at the tin and said, "This bowl is very special. Both the texture and the color are very high-end. I have never seen dishes like this before." Yuzhan King also picked up the royal blue bone spur mug with beautiful hand-painted patterns and said, "Indeed." He also likes the cup in his hand. Lu Baohe looked at Yifan and said, "Fellow Taoist Yi, I heard from 6th junior brother that you had been in King Shufang for a while. Do you know where to buy these bowls, plates and cups in King Shufang?" He liked the bone china teapot on the table. He had never taken King Shufang seriously before. After coming here, he did not go shopping but just stopped here to rest. The rest of the time he went to Qiyu Shandianeng's cave to hunt for treasures. Yifan picked up the bowl and plate in front of him, turned it over, and saw 3 capital letters YLX engraved on the back. These were the first letters of the 3 words Yuliangzhuan. He said, "To be honest, these bowls, plates and cups are from my Yuliangzhuan." Mumu looked at Yifan in surprise. "Friend Yi, are these things made in your shop?" "Yeah," Yifan nodded. Qiyu, a woman in a black robe, also looked at Yifan. Yifan smiled and took out 6 cards, handing them to everyone. "This is my Yuliangzhuan VIP card. When you use this card to make purchases, you can get a 20 discount on everything except magic weapons." Mumu picked up the VIP card. There was a crown on it, which was very unique. She smiled and said, "Fellow Taoist Yi, thank you. I will go to your moon pavilion tomorrow to take a good look." Others also took the card. Seeing that his childhood friend's business had surpassed that of his senior brothers and sisters, Fatty Wang smiled until his eyes narrowed into a line. He then took out his still-warm Poji knife to promote Yifan and said, "Big brother, look at my knife. Is it different from before?" "There are 3 inscriptions engraved on it," said Ji Zibing. "Yes. This was carved for me by Yifan in this way. I can use this magic weapon until the 8th level of key training without having to change it," Fatty Wang said happily. Ji Zibing and others looked at Yifan again. "Fellow Taoist Yi, can you also carve inscriptions?" Yifan smiled and said, "Yeah, a little bit. What a pity that it is a first-grade low-grade inscription on a first-grade low-grade magic weapon," Yuzon King said. He is now at the 8th level of key training and is using a mid-grade magic weapon. The inscription engraved on a mid-grade magic weapon must be a first-level mid-grade inscription. Fatty Wang said quickly, "Third senior brother. Yifan is now a first-level mid-grade weapon refiner. He can engrave first-level mid-grade inscriptions. It's just that because my magic weapon is a first-level low-grade, the inscription engraved is a first-level low-grade inscription." "What?" This time, even Ji Zibing's gaze towards Yifan became a little warmer. Although Qiyu Valley also has its own equipment refiners and inscription masters, not only do they require high contribution points to redeem them, but they also require queuing. After all, there are so many disciples in the sect, and they are only outer disciples. It is unknown how many years they will have to wait before accumulating enough points or waiting in line. Yifan smiled and said, "I am indeed a first-level mid-grade weapon refiner. And I can also carve first-level mid-grade inscriptions. However, there is a failure rate when carving inscriptions, and I cannot guarantee that I can carve an inscription on your magic weapon successfully in one go." Ji Zibing and others became interested in Yifan, and said they would go to Yifan's shop together tomorrow to take a look. Just at this moment, the sound of a gong was heard downstairs, which indicated the start of the auction. Everyone's attention was focused outside the window. At this moment, an old man with a white beard was standing on the circular stage on the first floor. He first said some polite words with a smile, and then said with a smile, "Now, the auction officially begins. Let's take a look at the first item. This lot is quite special. It was sent by the young master of the Sang family of Lingbao Pavilion, Fairy Bilyu." As they spoke, 2 big men came onto the stage carrying an object covered with red silk. The host lifted the red silk, and suddenly, a large ink ruler emitting a faint black light appeared in front of everyone. "This is the magic weapon of Black Evil, one of the 3 evils, the Black Iron Ink Ruler," said someone in the box. The host smiled and said, "What this fellow Taoist said is correct. This is the magic weapon of Black Evil, one of the 3 evils. This villain was killed by the Green Fairy. Now the Green Fairy has put his magic weapon up for auction. The starting price is 1500 low-grade spirit stones." The Green Fairy opened the wooden window and was about to look outside, but unexpectedly, she saw Yifan's figure in the Autumn Leaf Valley box on the 3rd floor opposite. She was slightly stunned. Yifan knows someone from Qiyu Valley? The relationship seems to be pretty good. Manager Fan's words. Chapter 50 to Yifan. "You are so rich." In Yifan's private room, Lu Baoche said, "This Green Fairy is really capable. She has the strength of half a step to build a foundation, and killed the Black Evil. We in the Qiyu Valley Law Enforcement Hall have been chasing the Black Evil for several years, but we have never succeeded," Yuzon King said. "Indeed, it is a good thing that one of the 3 evils died. Before, I thought that with the Green Fairy's strength, it should be impossible to kill Black Evil unexpectedly. She actually took out Black Evil's Black Iron Ink Ruler for auction. It seems that she was indeed the one who killed Black Evil. This woman is very secretive. Now the foundation has been successfully established," Ji Zibing said. "She is the only hope for the Sang family now. The pressure is high and the explosive power is stronger. Wanqi Pavilion has been suppressing Lingbao Pavilion in recent years." Yifan listened to their conversation without saying anything. Because He had killed many monks from sects and disciples from immortal families, many people wanted to take a picture of He's Black Iron Ruler and put it back in the morning hall for everyone to step on. At this moment, the price of the black iron ink ruler is not only the price of the magic weapon itself, but also the added value. The bidding price kept rising. I bought 4,200 low-grade spirit stones. It's almost as expensive as a genuine foundation building pill. As the owner of this ink ruler, Ifan was in a very good mood. After the auction of the black iron ruler, the atmosphere in the auction hall became lively. The start of this auction was very good. Elder Chen, who was in charge of this auction from Yingzong, smiled with satisfaction and stroked his beard. Next, the items for auction were not as good as the black iron ink ruler, but they were also rarely available in the market. For example, fine tailmasons, fine first-grade magical instruments, top-grade magical instruments, top-grade magical instruments, elixirs, etc. Among them, there was a longevity elixir. And all those who participated in the auction were old guys who had established their foundation. As soon as the longevity pills came out, these old guys directly released the foundation building pressure, shocking the whole audience and letting everyone know that this was a foundation building game. And the key cultivating guys should not get involved. Even for that longevity pill, the scene once fell into a state of bidding and then cursing at each other in the end. The longevity pill was won by an outer sect foundation building elder of the Wuji sect. Next, there is a set of medicinal materials for physical cultivation, including the inner elixir of a first-grade superior monster, 80-year-old broken dragon root, 100-year-old heather grass, and heavenly fairy seed. The starting price is 800 low-grade spirit stones. Among these medicinal herbs, 20 of them are among the 81 medicinal herbs that Yifan needs to refine his body. The price is not expensive either. Immediately, Yifan participated in the auction, 1,000 low-grade spirit stones. When Fatty Wang heard this, he looked at Yifan. I was very surprised in my heart. Could Yifan be a physical cultivator? Everyone present was practicing magic. And there were very few people practicing body training. There were only 2 people competing with Yifan when the price reached 1,300 spirit stones. The 2 people simply gave up. The last set of body refining herbs was won by Yifan. Ji Zibing and the others were not surprised at Yifan's body training after all. They had used their spiritual eyes to see that Yifan's spiritual roots were only of low grade. It is very difficult to improve one's cultivation level with such spiritual roots. If one wants to improve one's combat power, adding body training is a good method. The next item to be auctioned is a fine foundation building pill. As he spoke, the host lifted up the tray containing the pill, allowing everyone to see the Dao pattern formed on the gray pill. One Dao pattern is a first-grade, low-grade foundation building pill, and correspondingly, for Dao patterns are a second-grade, low-grade foundation building pill. The ones with 4 Dao patterns are genuine foundation building pills, while those with less than 4 Dao patterns are inferior. Now, the foundation building pill in the host's hand has 4.5 Dao patterns on it, indicating that this is a top-quality foundation building pill. Authentic foundation building pills can increase the chances of successful foundation building by 20. The top-quality foundation building pill can increase your chances by 25. As soon as this foundation building pill came out, the whole audience was excited. Kiyu stood up and stood by the window. Mumu said, "Second senior sister, I didn't expect that there would be a fine foundation building pill at this auction. It just so happens that you have reached the 9th level of weapon refining. If you have the help of this pill, you will definitely be able to successfully build your foundation." Kiyu didn't say anything. He pursed his lips slightly, which were a bit cold and sexy. His eyes fell on the exquisite foundation building pill in the host's hand in the center of the stage with a determined look. The host did not rush to announce the auction, but instead explained in detail which alchemy master had made the foundation establishment pill, as well as the medicinal materials used to make the pill, etc. Finally, he showed everyone the certificate stamped with the red seal of the Alchemy Alliance. After all, it is an oral pill, and a foundation building pill at that, so safety must be ensured first. The starting price is 2.0 low-grade spirit stones, the host said, struck the gong, and the auction began. Kiyu did not participate in the auction immediately. By the time the bidding price rose to 2,900 low-grade spirit stones, a large number of competitors had been eliminated. Kiyu made a move, 3,000 low-grade spirit stones. Directly raised it by 100 low-grade spirit stones. 4,000 low-grade spirit stones, a female cultivator from the Fengjian sect spoke. Du. 4,500. Female cultivator from the Wind Sword sect, 5,500. In the end, there were only 2 women left bidding. The price reached 7,000, and the atmosphere became heated. Iyu's expression was very unpleasant, while the female cultivator from the Fengjian sect opposite him had a smug smile on her face. "Kiyu, are you worthy enough to compete with me?" Mumu gnashed his teeth in anger. "Damn it, second senior sister, that witch is deliberately going against you. She just had someone refine a furnace of foundation building pills last time. She doesn't need any more foundation building pills at all." Yu turned around and looked at Ji Zibing and others, asking to borrow spirit stones. Because Ji Zibing and others had bid for items in the previous auction, in the end, after raising enough spirit stones, Yu directly called out a price of 9,000, which was her final price. Female cultivator from the Wind Sword sect, 10,000. Yu's beautiful face was pale. She bit her lower lip tightly, and punched the window's sill with her fist. Powerless. 9,000 was the most spirit stones she could muster at this moment. Mumu's cute big eyes were filled with tears of anger, and Ji Zibing, Yuzong King, Lu Baoche and Fatty Wang all looked unhappy. Yifan said, "Do you need to borrow spirit stones?" Yu looked at Yifan suddenly, and Mumu also wiped her tears and looked at Yifan. Ji Zibing said, "Fellow Taoist Yi, how many spirit stones can you lend me?" "Don't worry, we will definitely return the spirit stones to you." Yu said, "I can swear on my heart of Taoism." Yifan said, "There are 30 medium-grade spirit stones." In fact, he had 210 mid-grade spirit stones in his hand. Not to mention more than 6,000 low-grade spirit stones, and 4,200 spirit stones from the sale of the black iron ink ruler. But he did not show off his wealth. Mumu immediately shouted loudly outside, 12,000. The host laughed, so hard that he couldn't stop. 12,000, is there a higher price? In fact, 10,000 low-grade spirit stones was already the highest price for this fine foundation building pill the female cultivator from the Fengji sect wanted to bid, but before she could even utter a word, she was silenced by magic from the person behind her. In the end, this fine foundation building pill was won by Yu. Yu thanked Yifan for lending her the 20 medium-grade spirit stones, and Ji Zibing and others also looked at Yifan with more friendliness. Suddenly, there was a commotion below. The people from Lan Yu sect have arrived. They are all so beautiful. All the people here are female foundation building cultivators. Patty Wang and others looked down immediately. Yifan also looked over. I saw a group of women wearing flowing white fairy robes, with graceful figures and outstanding temperament, and wearing veils, walked in. Each fairy is surrounded by a fairy aura, making it difficult to see their true faces, but this adds a sense of mystery to their beauty. Everyone held their breath. Chapter 53 Carrying the Empress Home. Fatty Wang's eyes widened. It is said that there is a beauty in the Lan Yu sect after seeing her today. It is true. This is just an outer disciple of Lan Yu sect. I wonder how beautiful the saint daughter of Lan Yu sect is. I don't have any big wishes in this life, I just want to carry a saint home to be my wife. When Yifan heard this, his face looked a little strange. He seems to have achieved it. Yifan, what's wrong with you? I see you're not excited at all. Fatty Wang turned his head and looked at Yifan, quite surprised. Ji Zibing said to Fatty Wang sternly for the first time, "Sixth junior brother, be careful with your words. Don't say such words that will bring disaster. A saint. No matter which sect she comes from, is that something they can even dream of?" Fatty Wang rubbed the back of his head innocently and said with a smile, "Got it? Big brother." Below, Elder Chen, who was in charge of the auction from Yingzong, immediately came out with a smile and took the beauty from Lan Yu sect away. No one had time to take a few glances at her. However, there was constant discussion in the various private rooms at this moment. A Lan Yu sect is indeed a sect with many beauties. Even the outer sect female disciples are not only foundation building cultivators, but also have extraordinary temperaments, not like human beings. If I could find an outer disciple of the Lan Yu sect as my Taoist partner in this life, I would wake up laughing in my dreams. Or get it, the female cultivators of the Lan Yu sect are all devoted to Taoism and don't form Taoist couples. Even their saint daughter doesn't have to form a Taoist couple with the saint son like other sects do. Speaking of the holy maiden of Lan Yu sect, not only the male practitioners but even the female practitioners had an expression of admiration on their faces. The saintess of the Lan Yu sect is the most beautiful woman in the entire Xingqian continent. It's just that not many people have seen her true beauty. It is said that the saintess of the Lan Yu sect was born with auspicious signs from heaven, with 2 mutant spiritual roots and an innate spiritual body. Now she is only 19 years old, but she has already reached the middle stage of the golden core. This talent for cultivation is truly beyond the reach of others. The holy son of Lan Yu sect has not been chosen yet. I wonder which Taoist friend will be so lucky in the future to become the holy son of Lan Yu sect and meet the holy lady of Lan Yu sect, Su Longyu, every day. Only the top-level geniuses who can reach the heavens and earth can be qualified to be the holy son of the Lan Yu sect. After the auction ended, Yifan dealt with the affairs of King Shufang and returned home. I didn't see Su Longyu at home, but I saw a letter left on the table. When I took it out and read it, I saw a short line of words written on the letter, which meant that Su Longyu had gone out and would be back in 10 days. But it be because the people from the Lan Yu sect have arrived and she has something to report? Maybe. But 10 days is a bit long. He was a little worried about Su Longyu, who was now 5 months pregnant. He sent a message to Su Longyu, rest early and don't get too tired. Su Longyu. Okay. Yifan, today I met people from the Lan Yu sect at the auction in King Shufang. Sulong Yu, yeah. Yifan, if you have morning sickness, remember to eat the snacks I made for you. Also, you need to eat small and frequent meals. Get enough sleep and don't overwork yourself. Drink more water. Sulong Yu, anything else? Yifan, remember to think of me. Sulong Yu on the flying boat looked at the message and her cheeks blushed slightly. She put down the communication jade talisman, and what came to her mind were the tricks she and Yifan had played at home a few days ago. The more she thought about it, the hotter her face became. She quickly patted her beautiful face gently. I won't miss him. 5 days later, Sulong Yu regretted that she had decided to meet Chen Zhuaner in the distant east of Kunzu Mountains. It takes 5 days to get there by flying boat, and 10 days for the round trip. It had only been 5 days since she last saw Yifan, and she really began to miss him. Yu, Chen Zhuaner, who arrived at Kunzu Mountains a day earlier, saw from a flying boat rushing towards her. When the two met, Chen Zhuaner jumped onto Sulong Yu's flying boat. When she saw Sulong Yu, she opened her mouth in surprise. Yu, is this what a pregnant woman looks like? I see other pregnant women are very fat. Yu, your fat is all on your belly, there is no fat anywhere else. Your beauty is so enviable even if you are pregnant. You are still the most beautiful among pregnant women. By the way, I really didn't expect the belly of quintuplets to be so big on T-stand anymore. I'll help you sit down. Chen Zhuaner is a chatterbox in front of her own people. After sitting down and chatting for a while, Chen Zhuaner suddenly found something wrong. Hey, Yu, why is your cultivation level only at the first level of key training? Did you hide your cultivation level? Yeah, Sulong Yu didn't want to tell Chen Zhuaner the truth, otherwise, Chen Zhuaner would definitely not be at ease with her and Yifan being together. Chen Zhuaner was not a meticulous person when she heard Sulong Yu nod. She would never have thought that a female cultivator in the middle stage of the Golden Core would be pregnant with quintuplets and would have to suppress her cultivation to the key training level in order to keep the babies. Because in the world of immortal cultivation in the Star Continent, there has never been a female cultivator who was pregnant with quintuplets, let alone a female cultivator in the Golden Core realm. Sulong Yu is unique. Chen Zhuaner excitedly took out the Qian Kun bag and took out the small clothes, socks, shoes, toys, etc. that she bought for the babies. Seeing these little things, Sulong Yu's eyes softened. Really cute. Aren't they cute? I also think they are very cute after seeing them. I am now looking forward to the birth of these 5 little ones. I have bought clothes for both boy and girl babies. Chen Zhuaner said with a giggle. After the two chatted about the baby, Chen Zhuaner said to Sulong Yu seriously, Yu, let me take care of you. Yifan is taking care of you alone. I am worried. Sulong Yu shook her head and refused. Yifan takes good care of me. If you come here, your parents, or my parents, will find out. Chen Zhuaner bared her teeth. Even when she is grinning, she is still very cute. Finally, she waved her little pink fists in the air, then looked around Sulong Yu carefully from 360 degrees after confirming that Sulong Yu's face was rounder than before and her complexion was very good. And she did not look like she was being PUAD by a man. She compromised and stuck out her tongue cutely. Alright. But you have to keep in touch with me. I want to make sure you're safe. Sulong Yu agreed, then changed the subject and asked Chen Zhuaner to take out the rare inscriptions, refining notes and other items that she had purchased at the auction. Under Chen Zhuaner's persistence, Sulong Yu stayed in Kunzu Mountains for a day, and the next day, she rode the flying boat back home. Chen Zhuaner secretly drove after him, wanting to secretly ensure Sulong Yu's safety. And go see the legendary Yifan. Chapter 54. The Empress who says nothing but is right. On Yifan's side, within 5 days, Yifan completed the transaction with Ji Zibing and others. Among their 5 magic weapons, he only engraved first-level mid-grade inscriptions on 3 of them. As for the other 2, he did not engrave any inscriptions on the grounds that his skills were still too shallow and he did not dare to take the risk of engraving them. Although he could actually engrave inscriptions on all of them, it would be better to be low-key and not too high-profile. Ji Zibing and the other 4 were not unhappy at all, instead they were very excited. After all, in order to engrave an inscription on their old magic weapon, it must be engraved successfully in one go, otherwise the magic weapon would be destroyed, so they gave the magic weapon to Yifan to engrave the inscription. It was also because he had witnessed Yifan's attainments and inscriptions at Yuliangzhuan. And Yifan had lent 20 medium-grade spirit stones to Qiyu, as well as Fatty Wang's guarantee. Now, seeing that the 3 magic weapons were successfully engraved with inscriptions, they recognized Yifan's attainments and inscriptions even more. The magic weapons of Lu Bao Ha and Yuzon King did not have any inscriptions engraved on them, so they directly bought a first-grade mid-level magic weapon with a first-grade mid-level inscription from Yifan. Yu returned 10 medium-grade spirit stones to Yifan. and said that he would pay off the other 10 within 3 years. Yifan said yes. Because at this time Qiyu had already successfully established his foundation. For him, building a good relationship with a sex foundation building master would bring more benefits than disadvantages. Seeing Yifan being so magnanimous, Ji Zibing and others had a better impression of him. They wanted to establish a good relationship with Yifan, and told Yifan that they would bring their relatives and friends to Yifan to refine weapons or engrave inscriptions in the future. This can be considered as establishing a connection with the monks in the sect. Later, he will gradually strengthen this line, which is still very vague for the time being. Fatty Wang felt something and told Yifan privately that he would recommend Yifan in his small circle and try to get more orders for Yifan. Yifan smiled and patted Fatty Wang on the shoulder, saying yes, and that he would give Fatty Wang a magic weapon with a 10 commission. Fatty Wang quickly shook his head and waved his hands to indicate no. Yifan said, "Brothers? Let's settle accounts clearly." "Well, brother, I am really envious of you now." He is now envious of Yifan's wealth. Before, he thought he was much wealthier than the casual cultivators, but now compared with Yifan. It's true that comparing yourself with others will make you angry. Yifan smiled and said nothing. He thought of Su Longyu who had been gone for 7 days, and wondered how she was doing now. After seeing off Ji Zibing and the others, 2 days passed in a flash during this period. It was November. Winter was approaching, and the weather began to get colder, so he renovated Su Longyu's house. Underfloor heating was installed. In the world of immortal cultivation, there is an electric gathering formation. He made an electrical appliance similar to a modern boiler, which can generate electricity to heat the water in the boiler to a set temperature. The water then flows into the floor heating, thereby raising the temperature in the room and making Su Longyu not afraid of the cold in winter. After doing all this, 2 days later, Yifan received a carrier pigeon message from Ji Zibing. Ji Zibing, fellow Taoist Yi, I will customize to first-class medium-grade magic tools. Engrave 3 inscriptions, and pick them up in a month. Below the text is a picture showing the approximate shapes of 2 magical weapons. Yifan replied and said yes. The sect accepts orders, start. Another day passed, and Yifan received an urgent letter from Song Qiaozhi. After arriving at Yuliangshuan, Song Qiaozhi told him that Wan Qi Pavilion wanted to buy Yuliangshuan, including buying out the secret production method of all Yuliangshuan's products. The price offered was a skyge price of 200 medium-grade spirit stones. Although 1 medium-grade spirit stone can be exchanged for 100 low-grade spirit stones, the price of 200 medium-grade spirit stones is still higher than 20,000 low-grade spirit stones. Because mid-grade spirit stones contain more spiritual power and are more suitable for use by jinn and cultivators. Generally, what you see in the market are low-grade spirit stones, and medium-grade spirit stones are rarely seen. For ordinary people in the key training realm, the price of 200 medium-grade spirit stones offered by Wan Qi Pavilion to buy out the secret method of making bowls, dishes, toilets, etc. is absolutely a skyge price. After all, sometimes if you have the skills to make money but don't have the cultivation to match them, and you still want to continue making money, you can't escape the fate of relying on big forces and being acquired. The Han family of Wan Qi Pavilion has a bigger business than the Sang family of Lingbao Pavilion, with 3 fake elixirs in one family. Although they are not yet one of the 7 great immortal cultivation families in the southern region, they are close. As long as they annex the Sang family, they can become one of the 7 great immortal cultivation families in the southern region. However, Yifan asked Song Qiaozhi to refuse. Considering that Su Longyu is already 5 months pregnant, and that multiple babies are likely to be born prematurely and will not wait until 10 months, that means that Su Longyu is only more than 4 months away from giving birth. Or even less than 4 months. Now the Wan Qi Pavilion and the Lingbao Pavilion are still fighting, and the Wan Qi Pavilion suddenly offered such a high price to acquire his Yuliangshuan. There may be something fishy going on, and he doesn't want to cause trouble. He simply closed the shop and focused on taking care of Su Longyu at home until she was ready to give birth. In addition, he now has no worries about spirit stones, and he has a small cooperation with Qiyu Valley, as well as a dealer channel line through Fatty Wang. Therefore, he won't have to worry about the lack of spirit stones for purchasing refining materials for at least the next 6 months. Understand this. He called Song Qiaozhi and Yunyun, told them that the store was going to close, and then gave the 2 women a considerable severance pay. Yifan packed up the things in Yuliangshuan, told manager Fan about the termination of the lease, and went home to farm. Bing! It is detected that the bound object has feelings for the host, so the host is rewarded with a first-grade inferior puppetry skill. 5 minutes later, Yifan had fully understood the method of making a first-grade low-grade puppet. He opened his eyes and smiled. This little girl said this morning that she didn't miss me, but she said one thing and did another. She missed me so much that the system detected it. My damn charm that has nowhere to go is so fascinating that even the empress is intoxicated by me. After showing off a little, He sent a message to Su Longyu. Fan. Wife, you have been gone for 8 days, when will you come back? Su Longyu, soon. Fan, wife. Do you miss me? Su Longyu. Seeing the blank message sent by Su Longyu, Fan smiled proudly again. Fan, it seems that you miss me so much that you can't express it in words. Su Longyu did not reply to the message. Fan was in a good mood. He put away the communication jade talisman and looked at the lush emerald rice growing not far away. It's time to make some puppets to take care of these chores. Also, with puppets, we can expand the scale of spiritual beast breeding. It would be best to raise a few more dairy cows to avoid not having enough milk for the 5 little ones after Su Longyu gives birth. I have raised spiritual beasts and planted spiritual vegetables. Now the spiritual rice is almost harvested, so I don't have to worry about food. Chapter 55, A short separation makes you happy. This time I will buy some spiritual vegetable seeds. Spiritual rice seeds, spiritual beasts, a large batch of refining materials and a few sets of puppet materials, and then I can retreat for at least half a year. Fan did what he said and changed his appearance and went to King Shufang. After Fan purchased the seeds and spirit beasts, he went to Qianji Pavilion and bought a set of formation plates specifically for raising spirit beasts. This set of array plates is not expensive, has a small range, and has simple functions. You can set it up by following the operating instructions even if you don't understand the array. But this set of array plates for captive spirit beasts. The spirit beasts can be kept within a range and prevented from running around the area, can also be regulated to avoid the occurrence of bad odors when the spirit beasts excrete grains and cereals, thus keeping the air fresh. After buying the things, Fan returned home and began to set up the formation according to the instructions. Fortunately, this formation was relatively simple. After setting it up twice, it was finally successfully activated. He drove the purchased spiritual beasts, as well as the spiritual rabbits, spiritual chickens, spiritual cows, etc. that he had previously raised at home into this formation. The location chosen for the formation had a small fish pond that had been renovated by Su Longyu, and the spirit fish that had been bought before were raised in this pond. He also threw in the spirit fish he bought today. Afterwards, he cut down a number of trees nearby and built a simple wooden house to provide a place for the spirit beasts who wanted to shelter from the rain and keep warm on rainy days or in the winter. A special feeding area was also set up. After doing this, he started making puppets. 2 days later, Fan smiled with satisfaction as he looked at the 2 first-grade low-grade puppets, one pink and one blue, which were similar to modern robots. The height of the 2 puppets is set at 1.5 meters in appearance. One adopts the Ultraman appearance that modern boys like, and the other adopts the kawaii appearance of the little magic fairy that girls like. The combat power of these 2 puppets is equivalent to that of the early stage of key training, and they can cast some small spells used by spiritual farmers. In the future, I can not only cast small spells such as the spring breeze and rain on the spiritual fields and spiritual vegetables, but also feed the spiritual beasts and cast the cleansing spell on them, which will completely free my hands. After the babies are born, I will have to refine a few more puppets. That way, I won't have to worry about the babies chewing their toes or eating their boogers when I don't pay attention to them. Fan named the 2 puppets. The pink one was called Xiaofan and the blue one was called Shaikalan. Afterwards, he took Xiaofan to the spiritual field area, asked her to take care of the spiritual soil, where spiritual fields in the spiritual soil, where spirituals were planted. He then took Shaikalan to the spiritual beast area, and asked her to be responsible for taking care of the spiritual beasts. After doing all this, Fan looked up at the azure sky that looked like a clean silk thread. Today is the 10th day since Su Longyu left. I wonder when she will come back today. He sent a message to Su Longyu, asking if she would come back for dinner. It was evening now. Su Longyu, eat? Fan, okay. Immediately, Fan rolled up his sleeves, went into the kitchen, and prepared to work hard to make a delicious meal to welcome Su Longyu. After not seeing her for 10 days, he missed this little girl a lot. A pink and white flying boat suddenly stopped in the sky about a kilometer above King Shufang. A pretty figure flashed from the cabin to the bow. Hey, where's the flying boat? Where are the people? Suddenly she thought of something, and the pretty girl screamed and stamped her feet. You are so bad, you actually disappeared. This person was none other than Shen Zhuaner, who had been secretly following Su Longyu's arc. Shen Zhuaner was a little unwilling to give up. She flew the flying boat to several places and released her spiritual sense, but she couldn't sense Su Longyu at all. Is Fan more fragrant than me? After cursing for a while, Chen Zhuaner looked at the unfamiliar surroundings, feeling a little confused. Lost. She was a person with poor sense of direction, so she had to take out the map and found out that the nearest place to here was the cave of a powerful being thousands of kilometers away. Hey, isn't this the powerful cave residence of the Yuan Ying old monster that has been hotly discussed recently? I just happened to be here. Let's go see if there's anything fun. On Su Longyu's side. As the flying boat approached King Shu Fang, she opened her beautiful eyes while sitting cross-legged in meditation. The toxin of the ice and fire two-headed python has finally been completely eradicated. This time, Kinchwaner brought the detoxification pills made by Sidu Danzun. After refining the detoxification pills, she carefully checked her body and found that the toxins had been completely eradicated. She should have been happy. But she felt a little unhappy. Now that the poison has been removed, does that mean we have no excuse to ask Yifan to be our detoxification tool? Thinking of Yifan, she felt hungry. During these 9 days, she only ate fasting pills and the snacks that Yifan made for her. She could still bear it at first. But after a long time, even snacks could not satisfy her appetite. I miss Yifan's delicious meals more and more. Thinking about Yifan asking her if she wanted to go home for dinner, she became eager to go home. Seeing the hilltop where she had built her cave, Su Longyu supported her waist, stood up, and walked to the bow of the flying boat. After Yifan finished cooking the meal, he heard some noise outside. He quickly washed his hands, wiped them on his apron, and walked quickly out of the kitchen and out into the yard. Suddenly, I saw a gorgeous flying boat coming from the moonlit sky and anchored in the sky outside the house. A late autumn wind blew gently, and he could clearly see Su Longyu standing on the railing of the flying boat. The breeze blew through her hair, and her beautiful face, under the moonlight, was like a bright white moon, a blazing blue lotus, so beautiful that it could overwhelm a country and was beyond description. The silver moonlight cast a layer of silver glow all over her body. She didn't look like a mortal woman, but more like a fairy from Guanhan Palace descending to earth. Su Longyu got off the flying boat, put it away, and looked at Yifan, who walked out of the yard from 10 meters away. The two people's eyes collided fiercely in the air. Create sparks. Hot miss. A communication was completed in an instant. Life. Yifan called Su Longyu first. Su Longyu didn't move. Yifan has been with Su Longyu for more than 5 months and has a good understanding of her temperament. He knows that she is a reserved person. It doesn't matter if the empress is reserved and reserved, he takes the initiative. With a few big steps, he shortened the 10-meter distance between them to 0. He hugged Su Longyu. Holding her soft body, Yifan felt a sense of satisfaction. At first Su Longyu was still very stiff and didn't know where to put her hands. After Yifan forcefully put her hands around his waist, she gradually relaxed. The two hugged each other. It's true that a short absence makes the heart grow fonder. Yifan had never had this kind of experience before. When he saw Su Longyu again after not seeing her for 10 days, he finally understood the meaning of the phrase "a short separation is better than a new marriage." He bent down and picked up Su Longyu horizontally. "You put me down." Su Longyu reflexively wrapped her green hands around Yifan's neck, biting her red lips lightly, and spoke softly. Under the moonlight, the half of his face that was in the dark had turned red. Chapter 56. A baby's collective fetal movements. You've been out for so long, your waist must be sore. I'll carry you back to the house, Yifan said with a smile. It is indeed not suitable for Su Longyu to stand or sit for a long time now. She has been on the flying boat for 5 days, since she returned. If it were in the past, she would not feel anything even if she practiced on the flying boat for several years. However, now that she is more than 5 months pregnant, she feels back pain from time to time. She didn't even tell Yifan. But she didn't expect that Yifan actually knew about it. She unconsciously turned her head to look at Yifan. Under the moonlight, his profile was extremely handsome. He is truly the most handsome man of all time. Coming to the main room, Yifan gently put Su Longyu on the chair, then asked with a smile, "Do you want to take a bath first and then eat, or eat first and then take a bath? I've already filled the bathtub with water for you." Listening to Yifan's words and looking at the apron he was wearing, she felt warm in her heart. Is this what home among mortals feels like? After going out for a while, when I come back, someone at home has already prepared the bath water and the meal. That's really good. Let's eat first, Su Longyu said. She was already craving for the food Yifan cooked. The meal Yifan cooked tonight was very sumptuous. There are 10 dishes, 7 of which are Su Longyu's favorite dishes, and the other 3 are prepared by Yifan based on Su Longyu's current pregnancy stage. They are steamed dumplings, steamed pumpkin, steamed fish, seafood fried rice, assorted broccoli, duck blood vermicelli soup, beef offal, stewed old hen, fried blood duck with peppers, stir-fried spinach. In addition to the meals, there is also a fruit platter. Each portion is small, so you won't feel too full and you can still enjoy a few bites of each dish. Su Longyu looked at the table full of sumptuous and beautiful dinner and felt particularly hungry. Let's eat, Yifan said with a smile. While eating, Yifan would put some food into Su Longyu's bowl from time to time. At this moment, Su Longyu only wanted to eat meat, chicken, duck, and fish, and didn't pick up any vegetables, so Yifan helped her pick them up. Wife. Eat some broccoli and spinach. Pregnant women in their 5th month of pregnancy are prone to anemia. These 2 dishes can supplement the iron, VC and VD needed by the pregnant women's bodies and avoid anemia. She ate everything Ethan picked for her. Seeing that she was eating well, Ethan smiled dotingly. After eating, Sulong touched her stomach comfortably. She moaned softly. "What's wrong?" Ethan immediately asked with concern. Sulong looked down at her bulging belly and said, "The baby is fighting inside." After saying this, she frowned slightly because of the pain. Sulong was wearing a light white robe that could automatically adapt to the wearer's body shape, making the wearer comfortable. Ethan looked at Sulong's abdomen and saw a small bulge suddenly appearing on her abdomen. And then another small bulge appeared in another place. These are the little ones moving around in the womb, punching and kicking. The pregnant mother is suffering happily at this moment. Because they can feel the fetal movement, they will have a mysterious feeling of connection with the baby, and through fetal movement they can also confirm that the baby is energetic and healthy. Some pregnant women in the late stages of pregnancy, if they don't feel fetal movement for a day, will be afraid to go to the hospital for a checkup to see if the baby is healthy. He stood up, lifted Sulong's right arm above her head, and said, "Wife, take a deep breath. And exhale slowly." These days, Yifan has taken good care of Sulong, including taking care of her morning sickness. She rarely vomits now. Therefore, Sulong has great confidence in Yifan's ability to take care of pregnant mothers. Follow Yifan's instructions and take a deep breath. As she exhaled slowly, Yifan slowly lowered her raised arm. After Yifan and Sulong performed this set of movements 5 times, Sulong felt that the fetal movement had weakened. The little guys began to calm down gradually. It made her feel a lot more comfortable. "Much better," Sulong said. "That's good. Next time they make you uncomfortable like this, you can do what we did just now," Yifan said softly. Sulong nodded. Yifan sat down again, put his hand on Sulong's bulging belly, and said with a smile, "Babies, don't make a fuss. Your mother has worked very hard to carry you. You must understand your mother." As he spoke, he gently massaged Sulong's abdomen. The little ones who were a little noisy just now gradually calmed down and stopped moving. Seeing this, Sulong looked at Yifan in surprise. "Yifan, you know how to take care of pregnant women." Suddenly, an idea came into her mind. Has Yifan ever taken care of a pregnant woman before? Did he have a wife and children before? She seemed to have never asked Yifan whether he was married and had children. Thinking of this, she looked at Yifan. She didn't even know that when she looked at Yifan, there was a hint of snack taste in her eyes. Yifan was stunned by her look. And he thought of the jealous empress, and he rubbed the back of his head innocently and said, "You are pregnant. I can't help you get pregnant. And I can't experience the pain of your pregnancy and childbirth, but I can still help you study more about pregnancy and read more books on pregnancy." A jealous feeling in Sulong's heart was instantly soothed. Yifan took the opportunity to kiss her on the cheek. Sulong looked up at Yifan, her eyes as clear as water, filled with an indescribable emotion. Seeing this, Yifan's eyes darkened. He held her little face in his hands and lowered his head to kiss her lips. Seeing her close her eyes and her eyebrows gradually becoming charming, Yifan said in a hoarse voice, "Wife, I saw an endless green grassland, and I want to rein in my horse happily." After hearing this, Sulong's body trembled slightly. During this period of time, Yifan would say some sweet words and code words from time to time. "And then?" she asked softly. "I really like Yifan sticking so close to me." Yifan exerted force with his arms and lifted Sulong onto his legs, letting her sit on him. He was a head taller than her, and when she sat on his lap, they were at eye level. Staring at Sulong's misty eyes, Yifan continued in a hoarse voice, waving the whip, feeling the warmth of the wind, the moisture of the water, and the sweetness of the tea, breathing heat. The fragrance is refreshing. The delicate body is leaning against me softly. "Then what?" Sulong continued to ask in a soft voice. She felt like she was poisoned, although the poison from the ice and fire two-headed python in her body had been completely eradicated. At this moment, she was still looking forward to something. She wanted Yifan to continue to be her antidote. Yifan raised his hand and stroked Sulong's beautiful little face, which was as beautiful as a blooming flower. He lifted a strand of black hair that had fallen from her temples, gently tucked it behind her crystal clear ears, and whispered, "Wife, you are so beautiful these 10 days, I miss you more every day. 10 days without seeing you feels like 3 years. The book says that if you eat too much during pregnancy, you should do more digestion exercises, which is beneficial to the healthy development of the fetus." Chapter 57 Shock, Delivering Quintuplets? 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. With Yifan's hard work, the attribute of his with spiritual root finally reached 100 points and was promoted to a medium-grade spiritual root. In addition, Yifan's attainments in refining equipment and inscriptions have both broken through to the first-class upper level. In addition, The cooperation with Qiuyue Valley deepened, and the number of orders for refining equipment increased. The 3 rare inscriptions that Su Longyou found for Yifan were all third-grade top-quality inscriptions. Fortunately, Yifan had previously used enlightenment on the inscription technique, which made him talented in inscriptions. Although he is not able to use these 3 inscriptions now, he has successfully simplified one of the broken blade inscriptions. The function of the broken blade inscription is extremely rare. It can directly ignore defense. If this inscription is engraved on a magic weapon, the weapon can ignore the defense of the enemy or monster and cause direct damage to the opponent. Now Yifan can only carve a first-grade superior quality broken blade inscription. This will allow a first-grade, top-grade magic weapon engraved with this inscription to ignore the defense of the late foundation building stage and cause direct damage to the opponent. In other words, as long as the opponent is using the second sister's top-grade defensive talisman or below, this magic weapon can directly break the opponent's defensive talisman and attack the opponent to cause damage. It's really a rare inscription. Awesome. According to the records on this broken blade inscription, if we can engrave a second-level lower-grade broken blade inscription on a second-level lower-grade magic weapon, we can ignore the defense of the middle stage of the golden core. Because this inscription was very good, Yifan did not engrave it on the magic weapon for sale, but only engraved this broken blade inscription on his own magic weapon. After carving the inscription, Yifan consumed a lot of his magic power. He crushed the spirit stone in his hand and meditated to restore his magic power. 3 hours later, Yifan opened his eyes, with a look of satisfaction in his dark eyes. Yes, after my wood spiritual root was upgraded to the middle grade, my speed of absorbing spiritual energy has increased significantly. In the past, it would take at least 2 days to recover after consuming so much mana, but now it can be recovered in 3 hours. What a huge upgrade! Next, we need to work hard and strive to upgrade our middle grade spiritual roots to upper grade spiritual roots as soon as possible. Thinking of this, Yifan was full of expectations for the future. Just at this moment, the communication talisman vibrated and Yifan picked up the communication talisman. It was a message from Manager Fan. The matter I inquired about from Manager Fan has been resolved. Yifan stood up, reported to Su Longyou that he had to go out for something, and quickly arrived at the home of Manager Fan of King Shufang. Manager Fan saw Yifan coming and said, "That person is very hard to find. Many people asked for her. Fortunately, I found her. She just came back from a family of immortal cultivators. I'll take you there." Yifan nodded. The two walked across the streets and came to the gate of a dilapidated courtyard. Manager Fan walked up and knocked on the door. After a while, the door opened and a beautiful middle-aged woman with a round face opened the door. "Fellow Taoist Song, this is the fellow Taoist Yi was talking about." Manager Fan turned to look at Yifan and introduced, "Fellow Taoist Yi, this is Song Wanzhen, fellow Taoist Song." The beautiful middle-aged woman Song Wanzhen looked at Yifan and nodded. Manager Fan let Yifan in while he stood guard outside. Yifan walked into the yard. The middle-aged beautiful woman took Yifan to the living room. After sitting down, Song Wanzhen asked, "What is the realm of that female cultivator?" Yifan opened the soundproof cover and said, "Middle stage of Jindan." Song Wanzhen paused as she was about to drink tea, and looked at Yifan in surprise. Then her expression changed several times. And finally she put down the teacup and said to Yifan seriously, "Fellow Taoist Yi, I'm telling you the truth. Although people outside say that I'm a midwife, I've only delivered babies for female cultivators at the Great Perfection of Foundation Establishment. I don't have any experience at the Golden Core realm. If the fetus is small, there is no need to use the golden scissors to cut open the mother's exit, and it is generally not dangerous. However, if the fetus is large and the golden scissors need to be used, the mother's cultivation must be taken into consideration. A female cultivator in the middle stage of the Golden Core needs at least a third-order medium-quality golden scissors to cut open the mother's exit. A cultivator is full of treasures. A cultivator in the middle stage of the Golden Core cannot be broken by ordinary swords and guns." Yifan frowned. Because Su Longyou is now 7 months pregnant and her due date is not far away, he has to find a midwife in advance to avoid an emergency birth without a midwife to deliver the baby. So a month ago, he asked Manager Fan to help him quietly find the best midwife in the area. The Song Wanzhen in front of us is a well-known midwife in the area around King Shufang. She was either on the way to deliver a baby or at the home of the monk who was delivering the baby. It was rare to see her. During these 2 months, he also studied the delivery methods. In this world there were no modern caesarean sections, only natural births. Song Wanzhen said that the fetus was large and needed to be cut with the golden scissors. And he also knew which part to cut. Now, Song Wanzhen had no experience in delivering a mid-stage Jindan cultivator, and Su Longyou was pregnant with quintuplets. Her belly was very big, and the fetuses were all healthy. If it was a natural birth, the golden scissors would definitely be used. A pair of third-grade mid-quality golden scissors. He thought of the broken blade inscription as long as the second grade low-grade broken blade inscription was engraved low-grade broken blade inscription was engraved low-grade golden scissors. He could ignore the physical defense of a mid-stage Jindan cultivator and cut open that place. Inscription attainment, first class superior inscription master 816,100,000. But the experience gained from refining a first grade upper quality magic weapon. If one wants to be promoted to a second grade lower quality inscription master, it only takes 2 months of continuous day and night refining magic weapons and engraving inscriptions. Moreover, by that time, his weapon refining attainments would also be upgraded to the lower second level. If you grit your teeth, you can still get this pair of golden scissors. I'll find a way to get the golden scissors, Yifan said. Sun Wanzhen nodded. And then asked, is it a single baby? Yifan held out 5 fingers. Song Wanzhen was stunned at first, then stood up in shock and asked in a low voice, quintuplets? Yifan nodded. Song Wanzhen immediately waved his hand and said, fellow Taoist Yi, I can't handle this matter. You should ask someone else for help. Besides, I can't handle this matter within 1,000 miles, and other midwives can't handle it either. I suggest that you go to a large sect and find a midwife who specializes in delivering babies for Jindan realm monks. I, Song Wanzhen, have lived in the world of immortal cultivation for more than 80 years, and I have never heard of a female cultivator who could be pregnant with quintuplets, and she is a cultivator at the golden core stage. Today is really the first time I have heard of it. It is detected that the host is looking for a midwife for the bound object, and the host is rewarded with midwifery skills. Immediately afterwards, a large amount of professional and authoritative knowledge about delivery operations, including natural births and caesarean sections, as well as specific details of the medical equipment and tools used in the delivery process, etc. were all input into Yifan's mind. Chapter 58, The Inner Demon's Oath. After successfully mastering the delivery skills, Yifan breathed a sigh of relief. The system is awesome. It has all the skills needed to connect to the original creature, and he gave very detailed information at this moment. He was in no way inferior to the expert doctors who had more than 30 years of clinical obstetrics experience in a modern tertiary provincial women and children's hospital. In Su Longyu's situation, caesarean section is the safest choice. He now has mastered the skills in this area and can refine the instruments needed for caesarean section operations, which is safer than the specialized midwives in large sects. After all, his wife is his own, and he would be more careful and cautious when delivering the baby himself. Although the risk factor for mothers is relatively low when modern delivery techniques are used, there is still a possibility of life-threatening situations, especially for multiple births. During a caesarean section, heavy bleeding is likely to occur. So the fact that I have the skills to deliver babies can make him feel more at ease. He stood up and said to Song Wanzhen, okay. Then he took out a medium-grade spirit stone and handed it to Song Wanzhen, saying, please don't tell anyone about my visit today. Song Wanzhen was overjoyed. She had never expected that she hadn't done anything, but the male cultivator in front of her would be so generous. She smiled and said, of course, of course. As she said this, Song Wanzhen swore by her inner demon that she would never tell anyone about Yifan coming to see her today, or about what Yifan had told her, that the woman giving birth was in the middle stage of the golden core realm, and that she was pregnant with quintuplets. The oath of the inner demon is still particularly intimidating in this world of immortal cultivation. Because if the cultivator violates the oath sworn by the inner demon, he will be attacked by the inner demon and die when he advances. Therefore most cultivators will not easily make a vow to their inner demons. Once you make a promise, you will never break it. After leaving Song Wanzhen's courtyard, Yifan separated from Manager Fan and went to Qianji Pavilion to purchase materials for refining the instruments needed for caesarean section surgery. After buying it, I returned home. During dinner, he told Su Longyu that a midwife had already been found. Don't worry, my wife. The midwife I found is very experienced and can deliver cultivators in the middle stage of the golden core stage, as well as multiple babies. You found it in King Shufang? Su Longyu was surprised. She has been thinking about the midwife these days. I was just about to ask Qin Xuaner to go find it. Unexpectedly, Yifan found it. Yeah. Next, Yifan told Su Longyu about the new delivery method of caesarean section, and why Su Longyu wanted to use this delivery method. Finally, he held Su Longyu's white wrist, looked into her eyes seriously and said, wife, don't worry. I will definitely not let you be in danger during childbirth. Although caesarean section is a new way of delivering babies, it is very suitable for you who are pregnant with quintuplets. Besides, the other party has used this surgery to deliver many babies. Caesarean section surgery has become very mature in modern times. He has mastered the skills of delivering babies and is an experienced obstetrician and gynecologist with decades of rich experience in delivering babies. Su Longyu thought about it seriously and finally said, okay. Although she didn't know how to deliver a baby, After Yifan's patient explanation, she realized that if she used the traditional method, she and the babies would likely be in danger. If we use the caesarean section delivery method that Yifan mentioned, we can indeed ensure that the babies are taken out safely. As for her, as long as her heart is not injured, all other injuries can be repaired. Moreover, a caesarean section only involves cutting open her belly, taking the baby out, and then sewing it up again. Thinking of this, she asked Yifan, "Does the midwife have a magical weapon of the 3rd level or above? If not, then use her sword." "Yes," Yifan said. He will try his best to refine the golden scissors that can ignore the defense of the middle stage of the golden core and the sewing needle and thread before Sulongyu gives birth. This is the advantage of being a weapon refiner. If you want something, you can make it yourself. After dinner and clearing away the dishes, Yifan went to the weapon refining room and started refining weapons. His daily work was to cook and refine weapons. He did not even sleep if he felt hungry in the middle of the night. He would take a fasting pill. When Sulongyu was almost 8 months pregnant, Chenchuaner called Sulongyu to send a message. "You, have you found a midwife, today?" When she was having dinner at King Shufang, she heard a Taoist couple at the next table talking about finding a midwife for childbirth. She listened and after finishing her meal, she immediately found a place and called Sulongyu. Sulongyu touched her big belly and said, "Well, I found it." "Have you found it? Have you found it?" Chenchuaner asked. "Yifan found it." "What? Yifan, how can a cultivator in the keat raining stage like him find a good midwife?" "I'll help you find one. You are pregnant with quintuplets now, so you must have a good midwife to keep you safe," Chenchuaner said. "Really, there's no need. The midwife Yifan found is very good." As she spoke, Sulongyu explained the caesarean section delivery method in detail to Chenchuaner. In fact, she also had a backup plan in mind. If something goes wrong with the midwife, she can cut open the belly herself and take the baby out. Although Chenchuaner didn't know much about midwifery, what Sulongyu said seemed to sound reliable. Moreover, she knew that Sulongyu would not put her life in danger. Her impression of Yifan improved a little bit. He even knew to find a midwife for his best friend, which means he still has a little conscience. But she kind of regretted that she didn't practice well on weekdays and didn't follow Sulongyu last time, otherwise she could be with Sulongyu now. And the two chatted for a while before Chenchuaner hung up the phone. After leaving King Shufang, we headed to Dunning Cave to see how the progress was going there. Just as she came out of King Shufang and was walking on the pipe, a male cultivator with sunken eyes and a particularly wretched appearance came up to her and looked at her with a pair of eyes that were particularly disrespectful and presumptuous. Because Chenchuaner stayed in King Shufang, she was waiting for news from the Great Powers Cave Mansion because she had been to the Great Powers Cave Mansion last time. She learned from there that there might be a secret technique that Sulongyu asked her to inquire about before. Secondly, she wanted to keep a low profile, although she didn't know where Sulongyu lived exactly. She knew it should be nearby, and she didn't want to cause trouble for Sulongyu. Therefore, in the eyes of outsiders, she is now just an ordinary female cultivator at the 1st level of key training. She also put on makeup, but she has loved beauty since she was a child, so even with makeup, her appearance is still 70 of her original beauty. "My little beauty, are you going out alone? Do you want a little brother to accompany you? I am a great cultivator at the 5th level of key training," the wretched male cultivator said teasingly. Chapter 59. The amniotic fluid broke. The babies are all moving together. It's time to give birth. Chenchuaner looked at the wretched male cultivator. "You dare to look at me, I'll grant you death." "What a joke I heard. Beauty, your small body is suitable for lying in bed, not for..." The wretched male cultivator just said this and suddenly, his face froze. A head glowed with golden light. It was the time when the monks were returning to King Shufang, and there were quite a few monks on the official road. Seeing this scene, everyone looked over. Then everyone saw the male cultivator with golden light coming out of his head explode instantly. He was blown into a bloody mess. The monks around were so frightened that their faces changed instantly. He looked at Chenchuaner with fear, who was only at the 1st level of key training but was able to kill the 5th level male key training cultivator with just a glance. None of the monks dared to speak. Then the monks who were looking at Chenchuaner suddenly remembered what Chenchuaner had just said, and immediately retracted their eyes in fear. "I didn't dare to look at Chenchuaner again." After what happened today, Chenchuaner instantly became famous in King Shufang. Although some cultivators saw that it was the wretched male cultivator who teased Chenchuaner first. However, in places where there are many people, rumors will become more and more outrageous. A month later, the rumor had spread throughout King Shufang. "Have you heard? A queen of hell came to our King Shufang. She kills someone immediately just because he looked at her. How terrifying. I heard that the female cultivator is only at the key training level, but she is so terrifying. He is definitely not at the 1st level of key training. He should be a powerful being who has hidden his cultivation level." At least he is a foundation building powerful being, otherwise, how could he kill a cultivator at the 5th level of key training in an instant with just a glance? Oh my god. This is so scary. From now on, I will never dare to look down on strangers who are lower than me on the street. Who knows? They might be powerful and pretend to be a pig to eat the tiger. Yifan came to King Shufang today to buy a maternity bag while walking on the street. He heard many cultivators discussing this matter. Queen Yama? Just one level of key training? This reminded her of her own wife, who was only at the key training level now, but her real cultivation label was actually the terrifying Golden Core realm. Thinking of this, he became more cautious. When walking on the street, I don't look sideways or glance at people casually. In a blink of an eye, a month passed. On this day, in a dense forest 1,000 meters away from King Shufang, suddenly 2 waves of magical power flowed. Yifan opened his eyes with great satisfaction. 7th level of key training. I've made a breakthrough. Now I'm also a cultivator in the late stage of key training. He looked down at the white jade centipede rolling on the ground at this time. A faint halo was emanating from the white jade centipede. The little guy has also broken through and is now a first-class intermediate grade monster. When the white jade centipede saw Yifan looking at it, it lay on the ground with its 4 legs facing up. Yifan gently rubbed its belly with his fingers, and it immediately made a pleasant, babyish sound. Xiaobiye, can you release the poison now? Yifan asked with a smile. The little guy climbed up immediately, and then his tail twitched. Yifan took out a small jade box and placed it behind its tail. The little guy took a deep breath, as if he was pooping, and gradually began to squeeze out the dark green liquid like toothpaste, which flowed into the small jade box. Seeing this, Yifan smiled. He didn't expect that the white jade centipede, which had broken through to the 1st level intermediate level, could really start to produce venom. After the little guy squeezed out a ball of liquid the size of a soybean, he tucked in his little tail, turned around, looked at Yifan, blinked his big round eyes, and made a yeah sound to seek praise. Yifan smiled and took out a spirit crystal and handed it to it. It took one bite and swallowed it. Xiaobiye is really amazing. Be good. Go play. After being praised and rewarded, Xiaobiye turned around in a circle in front of Yifan, then excitedly went into the ground to play. Yifan took the small jade box and looked at the venom of the white jade centipede inside. A venom of the 1st grade, medium quality white jade centipede is quite good. It can poison cultivators in the late stage of key training. A poisoned person will not only have their movement speed reduced and lose mana per second, but will also have a chance of becoming dizzy. Great, apply it to the Byaqiao needles. As he spoke, Yifan looked at his refining value and inscription value. I found that I was just a little bit away from breaking through to the lower level of the 2nd stage. Immediately, he began to refine the 1st grade top grade 8-point needle. Now he has broken through to the late stage of key training, and has also practiced the body training technique and the day and sword technique to the 2nd level. His spiritual awareness is much stronger than that of an ordinary cultivator in the late stage of key training. There will be no pressure in controlling a 1st grade, top quality magical weapon. Otherwise, cultivators who have just entered the late stage of key training can only use 1st order mid-grade magic tools at most. Only when they reach the great perfection of the late stage of key training will they choose to use 1st order high-grade magic tools. 2 hours later, a set of 8 needles engraved with the inscriptions of blade breaking, dust proofing and cleansing have been refined. Yifan opened his system panel. Weapon refining achievement, 2nd level lower grade weapon refiner 1,300,000. Inscription attainment, 2nd level lower grade inscription master 1,300,000. Seeing these 2 lines of words, Yifan finally breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, I have broken through to the lower level of the 2nd stage. In the past 2 months, apart from cooking and eating, and going to King Shufang once on the way, accompanying Su Lonyu for a walk after dinner, and cultivating his spiritual roots for 2 hours 5 times a week, he spent the rest of his time in the refining room. Fortunately, he used to be a otaku, so facing such a repetitive life, he did not feel bored. Instead, every day was full of enthusiasm and expectations. During this period, he refined 3 female puppets, which were assigned to do simple housework, such as tidying up the room, boiling water, washing clothes, etc. Because they are 1st grade low quality puppets, they can use spells to do these daily chores and are very efficient. This was what Yifan prepared for Su Lonyu's upcoming delivery. Because by then, he would definitely not be able to deliver Su Lonyu's baby by himself, and he would need someone to help. These puppets fit the bill. After his repeated debugging, the 3 female puppets are now doing very well. Yifan gave the 3 puppets names according to the 24 solar terms: beginning of spring, rainwater, and awakening of insects. Lichun, clean up the weapon refiner. Lichun immediately came over to clean the refining room and put the materials that Yifan had placed in a mess back to their original places according to their names. Yifan was very satisfied, and immediately took out the golden scissors, vascular clamps, curved vascular clamps, mosquito forceps, needle holders and other materials for making caesarean section surgery. Start refining. Day and night passed, and 2 days later, Yifan had refined a complete set of caesarean section delivery tools. Just as he was about to stretch, he heard a voice calling him from Su Longyu's boudoir. He immediately stood up and went over. "Wife, what's wrong?" Su Longyu frowned slightly, leaning on the chaise longue that Yifan had made for her, with her hands on her bulging belly, and said with difficulty, "Yifan, you can go find a midwife. I feel like I'm about to give birth. My water broke." Chapter 60, Born, 5 babies in 1. Yifan held Su Longyu's crystal clear wrist tightly, looked at Su Longyu with gentle and firm eyes, and said, "Wife, there is something I have never told you. The midwife I told you about before is actually me." "Su Longyu?" Yifan said. "Wife, don't be anxious, just listen to me first, take a deep breath. It can reduce your current pain." Immediately, Yifan taught Su Longyu the childbirth breathing method which can reduce pain during childbirth. "Wife, do you believe me?" Su Longyu breathed according to the method Yifan said, and found that her body was gradually relaxing, and the pain of her amniotic fluid breaking was also relieved. In addition to Yifan's care for her these days, and the fact that Yifan had been busy in the refining room making some strange objects in the past 2 months. After she asked, Yifan told her that it was something needed for a caesarean section. Su Longyu suppressed the pain and said, "Let's try it. The baby is about to be born. If, by any chance, Yifan is unable to deliver the baby, she can do it herself." Yifan's eyes turned red, and he tightened his grip on Su Longyu's hand, saying in a hoarse voice, "Wife, don't worry. I will never put you and the babies in danger. Do you believe me?" Immediately, Yifan carefully picked up Su Longyu by the waist and took her to the special delivery bedroom for caesarean section that he had prepared in advance. Then he called for the beginning of spring, rain water, and waking of insects. He also summoned Xiaofan and Shai Colin to wait outside the door in case of emergency. The delivery room began to get busy. When Su Longyu saw a series of unfamiliar instruments placed on the cart next to her, and the 3 puppets newly refined by Yifan doing things in an orderly manner, her worries were slightly reduced. I thought that Yifan was well prepared. However, since it was her first time giving birth, she was not primarily worried about herself, but whether the babies could come out safely. This made her more nervous than going to a secret place full of dangers. Yifan. "Wife, I'm here, don't worry, just breathe according to the breathing method I just told you. I'll prepare the anesthetic for you." "Anesthetic? Well, it will partially numb the area below your waist, so that you won't feel pain during the caesarean section later. This anesthetic is not the chemically synthesized anesthetic used in modern times." Instead, Yifan went to King Shufang to find a pharmacist and concocted it using monster blood and herbs. It is an anesthetic that can completely replace modern anesthetics such as propofol. Yifan found the position of Su Longyu's spine, pushed the needle, and injected anesthetic. There are no syringes in the world of immortals, but Yifan made a batch of them himself. After the anesthetic was injected, Yifan pinched Su Longyu's leg and asked, "Wife, does it hurt?" He had to make sure the anesthetic took effect before starting the caesarean section, otherwise, Su Longyu might faint from the pain. "It hurts a little." "Okay, wait a moment then." After a while, Yifan tested Su Longyu's abdomen and legs again. This time Su Longyu shook her head. "It doesn't hurt, but I can feel you pinching me." "Okay, the anesthetic has taken effect, and we can start the operation. Don't worry. Wife, my skills are absolutely excellent. I'm not bragging. Even the most famous midwife in King Shufang, fellow Taoist Song Wanzhen, is no match for me." In order to liven up the atmosphere and reduce Su Longyu's excessive attention to the operation, Yifan started talking. "Wife, guess, among our 5 babies, how many are girls and how many are boys?" Su Longyu felt the skin on her abdomen being cut open layer by layer, but she did not feel any pain. She said, "I don't know." Yifan smiled and asked again, "Do you like girls or boys?" Su Longyu didn't reply. Boys and girls are the same to her. Yifan picked another light-hearted topic and began to tell Su Longyu some interesting things in modern times. While speaking, Yifan did not relax at all and performed the operation seriously. "Wife, I saw the baby. Adao, it's out, a boy. Erbio, a girl. Sambo, boy. Sibao, girl. U Bao, girl." The 5 little ones were born by caesarean section and hadn't started crying yet. After he carried the little ones out, he put them in the cart that had been prepared nearby. He was really grateful that the system rewarded him with a midwifery skill. Otherwise he wouldn't even dare to hold such a tiny little creature. Especially Wu Bao, which was only as big as his palm. After taking the 5 little ones out, he ignored them and first sutured the caesarean section wound of the sleepy Su Longyu. "Wife, you should rest first. You will feel much better after you wake up." After sewing up the wound, Yifan activated the longevity technique in his hand, inputting a steady stream of green Qinghuiyan longevity magic power into Su Longyu's abdomen. Accelerate the repair of abdominal wounds. 10 minutes later, a loud cry of "Wah" was heard in the delivery room. It was Dabao who was crying. Su Longyu opened her tired eyes with great effort and said to Yifan, "Yifan, don't worry about me, go see the children." The effect of the anesthetic had not yet worn off, and she lost blood during delivery, so her head was dizzy and she almost fell asleep when she heard the babies crying. She immediately forced herself to wake up. When she woke up, she saw Yifan was still busy with her and didn't care about the babies. She quickly reminded him, "Let them cry for a while. They will be fine in a few minutes," Yifan said. He knew that crying was good for newborn babies, and they were not hungry at the moment. "Let's repair Su Longyu's wound first." 5 minutes later, Yifan put away the power of the longevity technique and looked at Su Longyu's abdomen, which had a bright red star left by a large cut he made and then sutured. Now, her skin was as white as jade and there was no visible scar. He finally breathed a sigh of relief. "Wife, I'm going to see the children." "Okay." After saying this word, Su Longyu fell into a deep sleep. Yifan came to the 5 carts and began to place the little ones one by one on the table that had been prepared long ago. On the countertop, he installed a faucet and a sink, similar to a modern washbasin. However, the sink here is more than twice as large as a modern washbasin. It is very convenient for Yifan to bathe the little ones one by one. The water used is lukewarm water suitable for babies. Dabao's crying gradually stopped in Yifan's arms after Yifan cleaned off the dirt on his body. He slowly opened his eyes. A pair of big, black and bright eyes with double eyelids looked at Yifan blankly. This glance made Yifan, a 1.83-meter tall man, feel his heart's often instantly. "Call me daddy." As if possessed by some strange force, Yifan said this with a loving face. Chapter 61, Naming the 5 Babies. The little guy's big eyes were startled at first, and then he cried loudly with a "wah." Yifan was afraid that the little guy's crying would wake up Su Longyu, so he quickly coaxed her. "Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry." It was detected that the host and the bound object successfully gave birth to quintuplets, and the host was rewarded with a gift package. Newborn care knowledge. 1 experience point for breaking through to the 9th level of key training. Spiritual roots can be allocated 100 points. 500 medium quality spirit stones. This gift pack is really good. Yifan broke through from the 7th level of key training to the 9th level on the spot. With spirit root properties. With spiritual root. Medium grade 158 500. It's another big step towards the advancement of with spiritual roots. In order to prevent Dabao's crying from disturbing Su Longyu, Yifan activated his magic power and created a soundproof barrier. Then, I began to understand the knowledge of newborn care. Fortunately, there is a system, otherwise, as a new father, he really doesn't know where to start when faced with babies who keep crying. 2 minutes later, Yifan opened his eyes and looked at the baby in his arms who had been crying for a while and then looked at him for a while. After seeing him open his eyes, Dabao suddenly stopped crying again. Less than 2 seconds later, Dabao started crying loudly again. The 2 little legs and 2 little hands that had not yet shed their skin were dancing in the air. Yifan used the newborn care knowledge he had just learned. He held the little guy's head with one hand and turned him over with the other hand to smooth his back. After all this operation, Dabao finally stopped crying. He even blinked a little comfortably, then closed his eyes and fell asleep. Newborns mainly sleep. Seeing Dabao calm down, Yifan finally breathed a sigh of relief. She wrapped him in the small clothes that Su Longyu had prepared for the babies in advance after drying his body. She held him and went to the side to weigh him and measure his height. About 3 kilograms, 52 cm. Yifan wrote down this string of numbers, then wrapped the baby in a swaddle and put him in the stroller. And I looked at the other 4 little ones. None of them had opened their eyes yet. They were rubbing their eyes with their little hands and moving a little, but they didn't cry. Yifan did not waste any more time and now activated his professional knowledge of neonatal care. He could operate 4 babies on an assembly line at a time. Because the 4 little ones hadn't started crying yet, Yifan did a bath. He picked up the second baby one by one and patted his palms and soles of his feet. After all the pats, the loud cry of a baby rang out in the room. "Very good," Erbiel was crying. "Continue." He beat Bao, Sibao and Wu Bao one by one, and made them cry. Listening to their cries one after another, Yifan, the old father, finally felt relieved. "Very good, all very healthy." His eyes fell on Wubawabo. As cry was quieter than that of her brothers and sisters. She was the lightest among the 5 little ones, weighing only 1 kg and 38 cm tall. Special pocket. Now he is crying like a kitten. Fortunately, he had just carefully scanned their bodies with his spiritual consciousness, and the organs of the 5 little guys were all developed normally, with no problems. Although Su Longyu gave birth prematurely, according to modern gestational age calculations, she was exactly full term. In other words, all 5 little ones were born after 37 weeks of gestation. So they are full-term babies, not premature babies. In fact, many multiple births are born prematurely. Not to mention that Su Longyu's pregnancy with quintuplets was able to survive until full term, which was closely related to Yifan's daily care for their diet and daily life. After recording the height and weight of the 5 little ones and assigning them numbers one by one, Yifan began to bathe the second, third, fourth and fifth babies. Half an hour later, the 4 little ones were cleaned, wrapped in warm swaddling clothes, and put into the stroller. Only then did Yifan sit down. At this moment, Li Chun and the other 2 had already tidied up and cleaned the delivery room. The 5 little ones fell asleep and stopped crying. Yifan removed the soundproof barrier and pushed 5 carts to Su Longyu's side. Started to clean and treat Su Longyu. He was very gentle during the process, afraid of waking Su Longyu. After cleaning Su Longyu and changing her clothes, he carried her back to the next room. There is heating in the room although it is March, the beginning of spring and the weather is starting to warm up. He is still worried that Su Longyu, who has just given birth, will catch a cold, so he keeps the heating on and the room is as warm as a flower. Looking at Su Longyu lying on the bed, and then at the 5 little ones sleeping beside her, Yifan felt a sense of satisfaction he had never felt before. It's really nice to have a wife and children and a warm bed. An hour later, Su Longyu woke up. Yifan immediately brought her the millet porridge that he had prepared long ago. In modern times a woman needs 6 hours to eat after a caesarean section. But it is different for Su Longyu after the operation. Yifan used his immortality magic to repair Su Longyu's body. You can eat liquid food now. Su Longyu was indeed hungry after drinking a bowl of porridge. She looked at the 5 carts lined up side by side. Show me them. Okay. Yifan put down his bowl, picked up the bao, and handed him to Su Longyu's arms. When the little guy came into Su Longyu's arms, he seemed to know that this was his mother. He arched his little body towards Su Longyu's arms, and then the corners of his mouth slightly raised, as if he was having a good dream. However, Su Longyu frowned slightly. So ugly. She felt that with her and Yifan's looks, the baby they gave birth to would not be particularly outstanding in appearance, but at least would not be ugly, right? But the little guy in my arms has forehead wrinkles, a wrinkled face, and dark skin. He is really ugly. Are you sure this is your own child? Biological? Yifan was stunned for a moment, then explained with a smile. Newborns are indeed a little ugly now, because they haven't grown up yet, and haven't shed their skin yet. From today on, they will change every day in a month. They will be white, plump and cute babies. Really? Su Longyu had never seen a newborn baby and didn't know much about this, but now, especially since Yifan had successfully delivered her baby and she hadn't suffered any pain, she would unconsciously develop a sense of trust in Yifan's words. After looking at the 5 babies one by one, Su Longyu asked in confusion, "Don't they say that twins look exactly the same? Why do I see that none of the 5 of them look alike?" Here, Yifan gave Su Longyu a brief introduction to the differences between identical twins and fraternal twins. The 5 little guys in their family are all fraternal eggs. After listening, Su Longyu nodded. When she sensed the baby, she did find fertilized eggs. "Wife, these 5 haven't been named yet. You can give them a name and I'll write it down." Yifan took a scroll and said with great interest. Chapter 60 to Finally Got Milk. Su Longyu looked at Yifan. Name it? She really hadn't thought about this before. Well, the 5 little ones are born, and we can prepare to give them names, Yifan said with a smile. Su Longyu thought for a while and said, "A name is very important and can't be chosen casually. Let me think about it." As she prepared to get up, she discovered that the cut on her abdomen had healed, allowing her to sit up without any pressure. "Yifan, you cured me? When will Yifan be able to treat people again?" "Well, I used to would spell. How do you feel now? Is your abdomen still hurting?" Yifan asked with concern. Su Longyu shook her head. "It's good that it doesn't hurt, but don't make any big movements now," Yifan said. Su Longyu nodded, then crossed her legs and prepared to resume her cultivation. "When the time comes, I will go back to Lan Yu sect and go to the library to select some books on Taoism, and choose 5 nice sounding and meaningful names for the 5 little ones. In their world of cultivating immortals, a person's name is very important. If your fate is weak, you should choose an ordinary name, otherwise the name will not be able to match your appearance and it will be bad for your health. If you have a strong destiny, you can choose a domineering name, which will complement each other and help you soar to the sky." Just as she was regulating her breathing, she discovered that there was still a lot of dirt in her uterus, and the spiritual energy she had inhaled could not circulate smoothly throughout the body. She frowned and opened her eyes. Yifan took the opportunity to say, "Wife, don't rush to practice. Your body has not fully recovered yet. It would be more appropriate to practice after 3 days. Yeah." Su Longyu put down her legs. Yifan said, "Wife, let me press your stomach." "Pressure on the belly. Well, squeeze out the lock IA in your stomach. This will be good for your body's recovery." Although he could use the Cheng Sheng Gong to repair Su Longyu's surgical incision, He was unable to expel the lock-IA in her uterus, so he had to use the modern method, pressing the abdomen, to help Su Longyu expel the lock-IA. Su Longyu nodded. Okay. Following Yifan's instructions, Su Longyu lay on the bed. Then Yifan took out a pillow similar to a sandbag, placed it on Su Longyu's stomach, and then he pressed his whole body down. Pain instantly swept through Su Longyu's body. She frowned in pain. Yifan pressed her belly and soothed her softly. Wife, bear with it, it will be fine soon. The pressure on my stomach is indeed more painful than during a natural birth. Especially for many pregnant women who have undergone caesarean section. The anesthesia effect wears off right after the operation, and their stomachs are pressed, which is really painful. After pressing the stomach, something even more painful is the start of breastfeeding. Wife, if it hurts, just scream. Yifan looked at the red and swollen area bitten by Erbio, and said to Su Longyu with great heartache. Su Longyu frowned, her pale lips trembling slightly. It's okay. A little guy cried in Su Longyu's arms because he didn't get any milk. It made the two new parents very anxious. Yifan said, how about I make some milk for them to drink? You don't have to feed them anymore. He had previously raised dairy cows in the spiritual beast area, and they were already able to produce milk. Xiaolan would go to milk them for fresh milk every day. Since he and Su Longyu couldn't finish the milk, he turned it into milk powder. The process of turning fresh milk into milk powder requires a series of large machines in modern times. But here it is relatively simple. It can be achieved with just a few spells. A method is used to filter out a large amount of water in the fresh milk, and then an evaporation method is used to evaporate most of the remaining water in the milk. Finally, a spray drying method is used to turn the milk into milk powder with a water content of only 3, which is suitable for long-term storage. Su Longyu frowned and said, no, the realm of those cows is too low, and the nutritional value of the milk they produce is not high. It is not as nutritious as my breast milk. I'll feed it myself. After she recovered her cultivation, she planned to kill a 3rd-level demon beast king and give its blood to the babies to drink, so as to lay a good foundation for their body tempering from an early age. Seeing that Su Longyu insisted, Yifan didn't say anything more. He could only use the skills of a lactation consultant to help Su Longyu produce milk. Half an hour later, the second baby, who had been crying so hard that his throat was about to be torn, finally stopped crying. He drank the milk in big gulps, and clung to Su Longyu's arms like a little gassed egg, drinking milk quietly and hard. In order to have this mouthful of milk, Su Longyu's face turned pale in pain, and the little guy's forehead was covered with sweat. Yifan quickly wiped the mother and daughter with a warm soft towel. Finally I get to eat, Yifan said. Su Longyu's mouth corners slightly raised, and she was also very happy. Looking at the baby in her arms who was drinking milk with big gulps, she seemed to have amnesia. She had forgotten the severe pain from having her stomach pressed, and the milk being produced. All that was left was sweetness and happiness in her heart. The auras of maternal love is just different. As a result, the more she looked at the wrinkled, little girl who had not yet grown up in her arms, the more she liked her and thought she was very beautiful. But the filter of maternal love. Yifan's eyes fell on the little guy's food and said, wife, is it enough for 5 babies? Should be enough. Right? Su Longyu was also a little unsure, and then said, the babies are so young. I don't want them to eat milk powder. Yifan said, okay, then I will make more soup to increase the amount of milk. It was fine when I was feeding the second, first and third babies, but when I was feeding the 4th baby, the 5th baby woke up and started crying like a kitten. I had to bring both babies over to feed them together. Fortunately, Yifan had prepared in advance and made a modern pillow specifically for new parents of twins to breastfeed. The 2 little ones were lying on the pillows, one on the left and one on the right, feeding, and Su Longyu had her hands free. Yifan, your pillow is well made. She found that Yifan was always able to make something new and something she had never seen before. After saying that, Su Longyu looked up at Yifan. She wanted to see whether Yifan had hurt her fundamentally by performing surgery and treating her abdominal injuries. But he didn't expect that. According to his spiritual eyes, Yifan was actually already a cultivator at the 9th level of key training. Moreover, his spiritual root was no longer of the lower grade, but a middle grade spiritual root. How is this possible? She clearly remembered that 2 or 3 months ago, she had seen Yifan with her spiritual eyes. At that time, he only had low-grade spiritual roots and was at the 7th level of key training. Only 2 or 3 months had passed, and he had already broken through to the 9th level of key training. His spiritual roots had also been upgraded to the middle level. This is really unbelievable. It seems that Yifan encountered an opportunity during these days. His spiritual roots have been upgraded to the middle grade, and he has a chance of forming a pill, which is good. However, if Yifan's behavior were known to other people in King Shufang, it would not be a good thing for Yifan. Thinking of something, she said to Yifan. Yifan, you have taken care of me for so long, go and have a rest, I will take care of the babies. Yifan was indeed a little tired. He had not slept for a minute in the past 2 months. Now Su Longyu has given birth to the babies safely. The babies are all healthy and are now drinking milk. And the matter has come to an end. Okay, I'm going to take a nap. Call me if you need anything, Yifan said. Chapter 63, Teach the Empress to Change the Baby's Diaper. Back in the room, Yifan's nerves were tense because he had been performing surgery on Su Longyu and taking care of the newborn baby. He also hadn't slept for 2 months, so as soon as he lay down on the bed, he fell into a deep sleep. He set an alarm for himself. So after sleeping for 4 hours, he woke up. After waking up, he went to Su Longyu's place and found that the 6 of them, mother and her 2 children, were sleeping. He closed the door gently and tiptoed out. Returning to his room, he opened his system interface. Host Yifan. Realm, Key Training Level 9. Spiritual Roots. For Spiritual Roots. What Spirit Root, Medium Grade 158 500. Water Spiritual Root, Low Grade 10 100. Fire Spiritual Root, Low Grade 6 100. Earth Spirit Root. Low Grade for 100. Allocable Spiritual Root Points, 0. Offspring 5. Offspring Spiritual Roots, to be tested. Weapon Refining Achievement. Second level lower grade weapon refiner 987 3,100,000. Inscription attainment, second level lower grade inscription master 323 3,100,000. In this world of immortal cultivation, spiritual roots can only be tested when a child is 5 years old. However, Yifan's eyes fell on the 3 words pending detection. On the system panel, he asked the system, "System, can you detect my children's spiritual roots now?" "Okay. Does the host need testing?" "Yeah," Yifan said excitedly and expectantly, feeling like opening a blind box. "It was just like when I delivered Su Longyu and took out each baby. I felt the joy of opening a blind box. 3 daughters and 2 sons. This ratio is very good, with both sons and daughters. Now it's time to open the spiritual root blind box. I don't know what the spiritual roots of the child I and Su Longyu will have. Host, please give names to your children. Can I use a nickname first?" He gave the task of naming to Su Longyu, who said she would think about it first. "Can. Okay, let's follow the order in which I named the babies before. Dabao, Erbio, Sanbao, Sibao, Wubao." "Okay, host, testing. Testing completed." As the system's voice fell, an update appeared on the translucent panel in front of Yifan that was emitting a light blue light and could only be seen by him. After update. Offspring, 5. Rate Treasure Spiritual Root, Earth Spiritual Root. Second Treasure Spiritual Root, Top Grade Spiritual Root. 3 Spiritual Roots. No Spiritual Roots. For Treasure Spiritual Roots, Middle Grade Spiritual Roots. 5 Treasures Spiritual Roots, Low Grade Spiritual Roots. Yifan's eyes lit up. Not bad. Earth Spiritual Roots are also extremely rare in the southern region. Su Longyu has heavily spiritual roots. However, when I made Su Longyu pregnant, she only had low grade spiritual roots. Being able to give birth to a child with Earth spiritual roots is simply a big win, because many cultivators' children may not have spiritual roots. Therefore, if there are cultivators who have no hope of achieving the golden core or nascent soul stage, they will marry, take concubines, and have many children before achieving the golden core stage. Among 100 children, there must be one with spiritual roots, right? And among the first babies he and Su Longyu had, 4 had spiritual roots. And the most powerful one was the Earth spiritual root. She is truly worthy of being the Empress. I didn't expect that Wu Bao, who is so weak, actually has low-grade spiritual roots. On the contrary, Sanbao's son actually has no spiritual roots. He suddenly thought that his own spiritual roots could be improved, and wondered if the children's spiritual roots could be improved as well. When I thought of it, I asked, "System, can my children's spiritual roots be improved?" "There will be opportunities in the future, but it depends on their own luck." Yifan was overjoyed when he heard this. Although it depends on the luck of the babies, this is at least an opportunity to improve their spiritual roots, which will put them far ahead of other cultivators. Whether or not one has spiritual roots is determined by heaven. The quality of spiritual roots is also determined by heaven. Yifan couldn't help but think, last time he only had low-grade spiritual roots, but the 5 babies born to Su Longyu had Earth spiritual roots. Now he has middle-grade spiritual roots, so can the baby that Su Longyu is pregnant with have the legendary heavenly spiritual roots? Just thinking about it, I can't help but look forward to it. After testing the children's spiritual roots, Yifan crushed a piece of spiritual stone and began to absorb spiritual energy. He discovered that after his cultivation level broke through to the 9th level, his body absorbed spiritual energy even faster. So cool. Yifan put away his skills, opened his storage bag, and saw that there were 500 more mid-grade spirit stones in the storage bag, which had been empty for a long time. In the past 2 months, He had been refining magic weapons continuously, and he had refined a large number of magic weapons, which consumed a lot of refining materials. In addition, Fadi Wang in Qiuyue Valley did not receive many orders, and they were unable to digest the magic weapons he had refined, resulting in the depletion of his previous stock of spirit stones. Fortunately, I gave birth to a baby this time, and the system rewarded me with 500 medium-grade spirit stones. I was immediately revived to full health and became a small rich man again. There is no need to panic for the time being as long as you have the spiritual stones. Yi Fan began to practice the Qinghui and Chengsheng Shengong. In the past 2 months, I have been busy refining equipment and engraving inscriptions, and have not practiced at all. In addition, his realm has been raised to the 9th level of key training, and he can continue to practice the Qinghui and Chengsheng Shengong. The sun and the moon rotated, and 2 hours later, the moon rose above the willows, and Yi Fan opened his eyes. His eyes lit up with joy. This time, I practiced the Qingyuan Chengsheng Shengong and actually unlocked a new skill. You can conceal your own cultivation by holding your breath. Moreover, with my current progress in cultivation, anyone who is not a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building will not be able to discover that I have hidden my cultivation. For example, he is now at the 9th level of key training, and he can use the secret technique of concealing his breath to hide his cultivation level at a level lower than the 9th level, such as the 7th level. This new skill is great. I have suddenly broken through to the 9th level of key training. When I go out and see acquaintances, they will inevitably be suspicious and think that I have a treasure on me, and then they will want to kill me to take it. Now that he has a wife and children, he doesn't want to take risks anymore. He just wants to raise his children in a low-key manner. This skill is perfect for him. Wow, a cry was heard. Yi Fan immediately stood up and ran to the room where Su Longyu was. Wow. After one of them started crying, the other started crying too. Da Bao, Erbio and Sanbao were crying with their eyes open, while Sibao and Wu Bao were crying with their eyes closed. Babies, Daddy is here, don't cry. Yeah, that's good. The second and third babies have opened their eyes. Before, only the eldest child had opened his eyes, but now the second and third children have also opened their eyes. Sibao and Wu Bao haven't opened their eyes yet. Su Longyu also woke up. A new couple began to feed and comfort the babies. It took a full hour to feed and drink the 5 babies and get them to fall asleep. At this moment, the baby really does nothing but eat and sleep. It stinks, can you smell it? Su Longyu asked. Yi Fan was stunned for a moment, then said, it should be the poop. Let me see which little naughty one has pooped. As he spoke, Yi Fan picked up the little ones one by one, put his face close to their little butts and smelled them. Sanbao pulled it. I'll change Sanbao's diaper. Su Longyu, I want to learn too. Yi Fan, okay, I'll teach you, you watch from the bed. Su Longyu watched Yi Fan pick up Sanbao skillfully and take him to the operating table next to him. He first cleaned Sanbao's dirty diaper and then washed Sanbao's butt with warm water. After washing the baby's butt, I applied moisturizing cream on it and then changed its diaper. After the little guy changed into a new diaper, his frowning brows finally relaxed and he grinned with his eyes closed. Chapter 64 Sufficient Milk and Food. After watching Yi Fan's operation, Su Longyu felt that she had learned it. When the second baby had poop, she didn't let Yi Fan change his diaper but got out of bed to change it herself. She had just changed her second baby's dirty diaper, and when she wanted to wash his butt, she didn't know where to start. Before, when she was holding the baby in bed to feed, she didn't feel it was difficult to hold the baby. However, now that she had to change the little one's diaper and lift him up, she was afraid that she would accidentally break the little one's arms or legs. Erbio, whose butt was cold, cried loudly. Seeing that Su Longyu was somewhat at a loss, Yi Fan took the baby and said softly, "Wife, don't be afraid. The little one looks very fragile, but it's actually very easy to hold. Look at me, I lift her legs." As he spoke, Yi Fan patiently taught Su Longyu. After changing the new diaper for the second baby, the little guy felt trapped in warmth, stopped crying, and continued to sleep comfortably. When it was time to change the diapers for the 3 babies, Su Longyu waved her hand this time. "Yi Fan, you should do it. I will change their diapers when the babies are older." She was still afraid that she might not be careful enough and hurt the soft little creatures that seemed to have no bones. Seeing this, Yi Fan laughed inwardly. I didn't expect that there were things the empress dared not do. I guess no one can imagine that the empress was quite cute in her youth. After changing the diapers of the little ones, Su Longyu took out a scroll and handed it to Yi Fan. When Yi Fan opened the scroll, he saw a secret method of concealing his breath written on it. Su Longyu said, "This secret method can hide your realm and the quality of your spiritual roots. As long as it is not a cultivator in the Golden Core realm, it will not be able to discover it." Yi Fan put away the scroll and looked at Su Longyu with a smile. "Thank you for your concern, my wife, you are so kind to me." Su Longyu turned away her eyes, not quite used to such a scene, and quickly found a topic to talk about, saying, "I'm a little hungry. Okay, I'll go cook now." Yifan was full of energy. He immediately went to the kitchen and prepared a delicious meal that would increase Su Longyu's milk supply. Although Su Longyu can still provide food for the 5 little ones, it is because they were just born and don't eat much. As they grow older, the amount of milk will increase accordingly. Su Longyu looked at Yifan's busy back as he left, with the corners of her mouth slightly raised. 3 days later, the Lakie in Su Longyu's body was completely discharged, and her cultivation level returned to the middle stage of the golden core. Her body was fully recovered and she no longer needed to rest during the confinement period. Under Yifan's medicinal diet, she had more than enough milk every day. She didn't want to waste the milk, so Yifan specially made a small refrigerator to store Su Longyu's extra milk every day. In half a month, Su Longyu witnessed with her own eyes the 5 little guys who were wrinkled and ugly before, changing every day, and now they have started to shed their skin. The skin of a newborn baby after molting is so delicate and tender that it is more fragile than tofu. A hand feel is particularly good. She was particularly looking forward to seeing how cute the 5 little ones would look after they completed their molting. At this point the baby will be awake for 3 or 4 hours a day, and will be sleeping most of the time. Either he is sleeping or he is feeding. She has also learned how to change diapers for the babies now. Although she was still a little clumsy, she could complete it on her own, which made her feel accomplished and happier than if she had learned some top-level secret technique. On this day, Yifan received a communication token from Fatty Wang. Fatty Wang mentioned in the letter that the matter of Qiu Shan's cave was almost over, and they were going back to the sect. So they made an appointment to meet Yifan. It just so happened that the diapers prepared for the babies were no longer enough, so Yifan said something to Su Longyu, disguised his cultivation level to the 7th level of Qi training, with his spiritual roots still of low quality, and went to King Shufang. On the official road leading to King Shufang, Yifan could often see monks riding on spirit horses, or riding on iron leaf boats, riding on gourd flying instruments, or flying to King Shufang in yellow, green and red colorful lights. Very lively. It seems that the treasure hunt in the Great Power Cave is coming to an end. Suddenly a female voice was heard. Yifan. It was still his name that was called. But he had never heard this voice before, and it didn't come from any other female cultivator he was on good terms with except Su Longyu. He thought she was calling someone else, so he didn't stop or even turn his head. Suddenly, he felt a powerful fluctuation of magical power. And then the monks walking in front of him turned around, one after another, and what he saw next was their terrified expressions. Oh my god, Queen Yama! It's Queen Yama! Queen Yama has killed someone again. Queen of Hell? Isn't this the female cultivator at the 1st level of Qi training who was killed by a male cultivator after he looked at her once? Has he heard about this the last time he came to King Shufang? He did not turn back to watch the excitement. Instead, he quickly slapped a top-grade acceleration talisman on himself, and even used the breath-concealing technique from the Chang Sheng Gong to reduce his presence as much as possible, and quickly rushed towards King Shufang, so as to avoid being accidentally affected by the wrath of Queen Yama. He now has a wife and children. Especially cherish life. When he arrived at King Shufang, the time he had agreed with Fatty Wang had not yet arrived, so he first went to the tailor shop to buy a batch of diapers, and then went to Shuimen Street to purchase fresh ingredients. Have you heard? The rice seller Fang Hua is dead. How did he die? I don't know. I heard that when someone saw him, his body had been chopped into pieces. The scene was extremely bloody and cruel, but it was not done by a monster or beast, but by humans. Oh my god, aren't robbers only interested in killing people and stealing treasures? How come there's someone so perverted who likes to dismember people? I guess it's not just a robbery, it's probably a revenge killing. Didn't Fang Hua live a very comfortable life some time ago? He brought women home every day and often went out of King Shufang. He even stopped doing much in the Lingmi business. He said that he had a stable way to make a lot of money. I guess he was attacked back. Well, things have been really unsettled lately. Have you heard? Just now on the official road outside King Shufang, Queen Yama killed someone again. Why this time? The monks who were buying things around all looked over. Yifan didn't look over, but listened with his ear tilted. I heard that because that male cultivator named Yifan at the 5th level of Qi training hugged to beauties on both sides, he was killed on the spot by her. Fuck, Queen Yama still cares about how many women someone has. Then I won't take concubines recently. This woman is so fierce. When will this Queen of Hell leave? This is so unconventional. Just a few days ago, because someone stepped into the secret realm with his left leg first, she killed him. Hearing the words, Yifan, a male practitioner at the 5th level of Qi training, Yifan suddenly felt a chill on his neck. Chapter 65, Meeting the Empress's Mother? At Jie Yufeng Tea House, Yifan met with Fatty Wang, Ji Bing, Qiyu, Yuzhan King, Lu Bao Che, and Mu Mu. Qiyu owed Yifan 10 medium-grade spirits tones before this time. She gained a lot in the secret realm of the cave, and asked Yifan if she could use materials to pay for the spirit stones. Then, she took out the second-level spiritual wood, the first-level top-grade demon beast sinner elixir, various first-level demon beast materials, and even the second-level low-grade demon beast materials as well as earth spirit fruit, snake core grass, and so on. These materials are worth more than 10 mid-grade spirit stones on the market if sold to shops like Kionji Pavilion. They are worth at least 15 mid-grade spirit stones. Friend Ki, this is too much, Fan said with a smile. Kiyu, who was wearing a black robe and had a kind of cold and sexy beauty, said, not much. Fellow Taoist, you lent me spirit stones at the auction house at that time, so that I could buy a fine foundation building pill. Only then could I succeed in building my foundation early, and I gained a lot in this trip to the cave. Fatty Wang patted Yifan's shoulder and said with a smile, Yifan, my second sister said it's not much, so you accept it. We have gained a lot this time, and we are very fat. Yifan no longer refused and accepted the materials. Among the materials given by Kiyu, the 3 materials including the earth spirit fruit are exactly what is needed to refine the foundation establishment pill. He now has most of the materials for the foundation establishment pill in his hands. Now that he has reached the 9th level of key training, he can start preparing the foundation establishment pill. Thinking of this, he went to buy materials with Bing and others. After Bing and his men came back, apart from handing over 60 to the sect, they still had the remaining 40 in their hands and had not sold them yet. Now that Fan said he wanted to buy it, they were very happy. He took out the materials he was going to sell one by one and let Fan choose. There is strength in numbers. Fan selected 22 kinds of foundation building materials from these materials. In this way, the only ingredient left for the foundation building pill was the main ingredient, a fairy fruit. Bing and his team sold the materials to Fan at 80 off the market price. After talking about the materials, Bing and the others began to talk about the cave of the great mansion in Qiuyushan. Fan remembered that he had heard that this secret cave would take at least several decades to develop. He did not expect that it would be completed in just 8 months. Kiyu explained, when the major sects fought to the 8th floor, they discovered that this nascent soul master had actually cultivated the acquired wood spirit Tao body. All the major sects could not sit still and notified the seniors in the sect one after another, speculating that there must be a secret method for cultivating the acquired wood spirit Tao body in the cave. The Jindan monks from all the major sects have rushed over. However, a Yuanying ancestor from Lanyu sect came directly and quickly promoted the development of the cave. He fought to the deepest part of the cave, where the Yuanying great man sat in meditation and found a secret method for cultivating the acquired wood spirit body there. Fan was shocked. The Yuanying ancestors of Lanyu sect are here. But he be Su Longyu's relative? If the other party found out that Su Longyu lived nearby and gave birth to 5 babies for him, his death would be very strange, right? Has that nascent soul ancestor left? Fan asked. Kiyu shook his head. I don't know. The whereabouts of the ancestors are not something we can spy on. However, the people from the Lanyu sect had already left on the sect's flying boat 2 days ago. There is nothing worthy of a Yuanying ancestor staying near Qiuyushan, so she should have left a long time ago. Fan did not relax his vigilance because of Kiyu's words. He planned to stay in seclusion for a month after returning today before going out again. After drinking tea, Bing and the others left, but Fatty Wang did not leave. He went to the restaurant with Fan and found a private room to eat. After eating and drinking, Fatty Wang handed Fan a Keon Kun bag, then burped and said with a smile, take a look. Fan opened the Keon Kun bag and found a lot of body refining materials inside. A small part of it is exactly the materials he needs for the 2nd level of body refining. Although it is only a small part, if the total amount is large. There are more than 60 species. Together with the more than 20 kinds of materials he bought last time, all the 81 materials needed for the 2nd level of body refining are now complete. Fatty Wang smiled and said, I saw you bidding for body refining materials at the auction house last time. These are what I collected recently. Fan took out the spirit stone and was about to give it to Fatty Wang. Fatty Wang immediately held Fan's hand and looked at him seriously. Do you treat me as a brother? Certainly. As brothers, don't give me money. That won't do, brother. Let's settle the accounts clearly. After the final round of rejection, Fan bought the body refining materials from Fatty Wang at 50 off the market price. Afterwards, Fatty Wang told Fan that he had made friends with many cultivators from other sects during these days after the end of this secret cave realm. Most of the cultivators' magic weapons were seriously damaged. In addition, some of them broke through and advanced to the late stage of key training in this secret realm, so they needed to replace their magic weapons. This time, Fatty Wang also broke through to the 7th level of key training, which is the late stage of key training. I just happened to make friends with a group of monks who had just broken through to the late stage of key training, needed to replace their magic tools, and had bulging wallets. This time when going to the secret cave of the powerful, most people got the opportunity. It was just a matter of the size of the opportunity. This is the time when consumption power is the strongest. In just 2 hours, Fatty Wang sold 31st grade intermediate magic weapons in the box next to Yifan, allowing Yifan to earn more than 60,000 spirit stones. Fatty Wang got a 10 dividend and more than 6,000 spirit stones. Yifan also gave him a first-grade intermediate magic weapon suitable for him, with the 3 inscriptions engraved on it being the same as before. After separating from Fatty Wang, it was already evening. Yifan thought that the babies had not been named yet, so he went to Qianji Pavilion and prepared to buy some books to bring back for Su Longyu as a reference for naming. Fellow Taoist Yi, what do you wanna buy today? Zhu Yi walked over with a smile. Yifan is now her big customer, although he doesn't come very often. He buys a lot of refining materials every time. Because he has a lot of inventory now, Yifan does not plan to refine equipment this month. He plans to practice well and take care of his wife and children. So, he said, recommend me some books on naming newborn babies. The smile on Zhu Yi's face rose slightly, and there was a flash of disappointment in her beautiful eyes. Then she smiled again and said, congratulations to fellow Taoist Yi on the birth of your baby. We just happen to have a batch of Xuan Men books here. Many fellow Taoistess will buy these books to name their newborns. Yifan is now a big spender on spirit stones. She bought all the books he thought were good, a total of 20 books, spending 200 spirit stones. After buying the books, Yifan left Qianji Pavilion. Unfortunately, as soon as he walked out of Qianji Pavilion, he bumped into a stunningly beautiful woman who was walking towards him. Fortunately, both of them were monks, so they didn't actually collide with each other. The stunningly beautiful woman's gaze fell on Yifan's. He was not planning to take a closer look, but suddenly, her eyes were attracted by the dark purple sachet tied around Yifan's waist. The shape of this sachet is a relatively rare spirit fish. Isn't this my daughter's sachet? Chapter 66, Stunning Beauty. My fellow Taoist. The stunningly beautiful woman spoke. The voice is clear, holy, ethereal and elegant, refreshing, like the sound of nature, and very beautiful. Yifan heard the voice and looked over to see the beautiful woman in front of him. She was an extremely beautiful woman, and her looks were comparable to Su Longyu. Like a solitary orchid in a valley, she is very otherworldly. The years have given her a tranquil beauty that is out of tune with the bustling city around her, as if she were a fairy on earth. She has an absolutely beautiful face without a single flaw. She is stunningly beautiful. And her temperament is otherworldly, as if she is not of this world. Everything else has become her background. A woman looked to be around 30 years old, with long black hair and dark eyes that seemed to be covered with a layer of mist, making it difficult to see clearly. Her skin is as white as ice and as white as snow. Her figure is exquisitely proportioned and spotless. This made Yifan, whose aesthetic taste had long been improved by Su Longyu, stunned. However, he quickly calmed down, and without looking at the beautiful woman in front of him, he bowed with both hands and politely called out, "What's the matter, fellow Taoist? The sachet on your waist looks very unique," said the stunningly beautiful woman. Yifan's eyes fell on the sachet on his waist, and there was a hint of tenderness in his eyes. He said, "This is what my wife gave me." The stunningly beautiful woman noticed the tenderness in Yifan's eyes when he looked at the sachet. She nodded, then walked past Yifan and entered the Qianji Pavilion. Yifan didn't stay any longer and quickly walked out of Qianji Pavilion. In a luxurious private room on the top floor of Qianji Pavilion, a stunningly beautiful woman was sitting in the main seat, drinking tea sip by sip. In front of her stood a man in brocade clothes. This person is Zhang Bie Oren, the manager of Qianji Pavilion in King Shufang. Ancestor, Zhang Bie Oren called respectfully. "Well, who was the male cultivator I met when I entered the door just now?" asked the stunningly beautiful woman. 9th level of key training, medium quality spiritual roots. The sachet was given to him by the other party's wife. She must have been mistaken. Perhaps the sachet was just similar to the one her own daughter had. Zhang Bie Oren replied respectfully. "He is a client of our Qianji Pavilion, named Yifan." The stunningly beautiful woman took another sip of tea and said 2 words, "Yi Fan. What did he buy in the store just now?" Zhang Bie Oren, "He bought 20 books on Taoism, saying that they were for naming his newborn baby." He wondered in his heart, why would the ancestors suddenly care about a mere key-cultivating cultivator? Is it because of the other person's appearance? Yifan was indeed the most handsome of all the cultivators he had ever seen. Thinking of this, his heart skipped a beat and he felt like he had come into contact with a huge secret. He immediately lowered his head even lower, and even wanted to leave quickly so as not to be exposed to this secret. "I'm afraid I won't even know how I'll die in the future. Oh my god, the sect leader is the most jealous person known to all the cultivators in the southern region." The stunningly beautiful woman's eyes narrowed. "Newborn? Yifan's wife just gave birth to a baby?" She shook her head. It seemed that she had indeed made a mistake. "I don't even have a Taoist partner yet, and I have been devoted to Taoism since I was young. I have no interest in love matters, so I certainly won't have children at this time. Yu has been out for training for 9 months. I wonder where she is training now. As for Chen Zhuaner, she accidentally entered a maze and walked back and forth for 2 hours but couldn't get out. She was furious. I hate formations and the like. How could such a powerful maze exist in the small King Shufang Foundation building market? It is impossible to break out by force. As for the knowledge of formations, she knew nothing at all. In the end, he had no choice but to send a message to Su Longyu, asking for help. But Su Longyu didn't answer her message. Afterwards, she felt a fluctuation of magical power and saw Su Longyu appear in the maze at some point. She was immediately overjoyed. You. We are really in tune with each other. Look, I didn't even tell you where I was trapped. And you came to save me. You are really my soulmate. Let's go. Su Longyu held down Chen Zhuaner, who rushed over to hug her and stopped her. Chen Zhuaner and Su Longyu walked out of the maze. Suddenly, she felt something was wrong. She looked at Su Longyu fiercely, staring at her belly, and asked, You, where is your big belly? How come the big belly is gone? How come it's the same as before I got pregnant? It's born, Su Longyu said. Chen Zhuaner. What? She gave birth. When did it happen? Half a month ago. Why didn't you tell me? How do you feel now? Very good. Come on, I'll take you to see the babies. Okay. Chen Zhuaner was still a little confused. Both of them were at the Jindan level of cultivation, and soon they arrived at Su Longyu's room. When Chen Zhuaner saw the 5 little babies lying on the bed, she was stunned. It's really born. So small. 5. My best friend really gave birth to 5 babies in one go. That is, why do these 5 little ones not look like my best friends at all? Is it like Yifan? That's not right, it doesn't look like Yifan. Thinking of Yifan, she looked at Su Longyu beside her with a guilty conscience. Because of her, Yifan was killed today. But when he thought about the fact that his best friend had just given birth to 5 babies for Yifan, and Yifan was hugging women left and right outside, he deserved to be killed by her. Moreover, she had seen Yifan rob and kill a female cultivator in the grove before, and his character was not good. If she hadn't happened to hear someone shouting, Yifan today, she wouldn't have known that the male cultivator who robbed and killed the female cultivator was Yifan. The 5th level of Keat Raining, low-grade spiritual roots. And his name is Yifan. All of these match the information about Yifan that Su Longyu gave her. She was immediately angered. At that time she was thinking that Yifan could kill people and take away treasures from other female cultivators. Then when her best friend was giving birth and was in a weak stage, would she also be killed and taken away by Yifan, a man with a beastly heart? She might as well kill Yifan first. Fortunately, I took action first. Otherwise, looking at her best friend's attitude, she probably doesn't know about the dirty things Yifan did outside. I am so smart, I helped my best friend solve this big problem. Thinking of this, she was in a good mood and looked at the 5 little ones on the bed with a smile. Can I hug them? You better say goodbye, Su Longyu said. Chen Zhuaner puffed out her chest, her peach trembling. You look down on me, don't you? Children are very soft. I'll try. Su Longyu picked up Dabao, who had just woken up, and prepared to give it to Chen Zhuaner. Chen Zhuaner also reached out to hug her with a competitive spirit. As soon as she hugged her, before Su Longyu's hand was withdrawn, she immediately exclaimed, Why is it so soft? I don't want to hug her anymore. I was so afraid that I would accidentally snap off the baby's arms, legs or neck. Where is Yifan? Chen Zhuaner asked in a pretentious manner. Out. Chen Zhuaner was secretly delighted. As expected, I didn't kill the wrong person. She didn't tell Su Longyu that Yifan would never come back this time. Chapter 67. Chen Zhuaner was shocked. You are Yifan? Not dead? As soon as Yifan came out of King Shufang, a fat old Taoist ran over and said with a smile, Is this Taoist going out? Then you must buy this portrait in my hand. If you buy it, I guarantee you a 99 chance of survival. If you don't buy it, you may die suddenly at any time. Yifan. Are fortune tellers also popular in the world of cultivating immortals? Godly and mysterious. A fat Taoist sent a message to Yifan. I never lie, this portrait is more useful than a 2nd level amulet. Yifan, whose portrait? The fat old man said, It is unspeakable. There will be great terror. The price is fair, a piece of low-grade spirit stone. The amulet is worth more than this price. Everyone who has bought it says it's good. If you buy a low-grade spirit stone, you will definitely not lose money even if you don't need it for the time being. You can still hang it at home to protect your house. Yifan still didn't want to buy it. The fat Taoist twinked and finally whispered to Yifan, This is the portrait of the one who will kill someone with just one look. She killed someone again today. Now her reasons for killing people are getting weirder and weirder. Fellow Taoist, do you really not want to keep a portrait of her on you to protect your life? Next time you see her, run as far away as possible. You will definitely be able to escape danger. Yifan was helpless. This old Taoist is quite good at doing business. He is actually selling the portrait of Queen Yama. He took out a low-grade spirit stone and gave it to the fat Taoist priest, who immediately gave Yifan a scroll with a smile on his face. And then ran away, as if he was afraid that he would be killed if he ran too slowly. Yifan placed the scroll on his forehead. There was no restriction, and he could directly see the contents of the scroll. It is indeed a portrait of a woman. She looks okay. Is this the Queen of Hell? Remember. After putting away the scroll, Yifan continued on his journey home. As soon as he entered the woods, he frowned slightly. Suddenly, a flash of light flew towards him rapidly, and a moment later, appeared in front of him. He is an old man with a thin figure. 9th level of key training. Fellow Taoist, how dare you buy the portrait that the thief-broad Taoist priest was selling privately? That is a great disrespect to my Queen Yama. You are courting death. As he spoke, the thin old man holding the golden snake knife instantly killed Yifan. Yifan's black eyes flashed, without dodging or evading. A second-level low-grade amulet was slapped on his body, and a defensive light shield with light golden ripples instantly appeared around him. The golden snake sword slashed on the light shield and was directly bounced away. The next moment, Yifan waved his right hand in front of the shot-told man's eyes, and the Dayan Wuji sword appeared in front of him. A magic power poured into the sword, and instantly the entire Dayan Wuji sword was split into 3 parts. Swish, 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 swish. The 3 Dayan Wuji swords emitted a faint blue light all over, and each sword made a roaring sound. Guided by magic power, 3 Wuji swords attacked the thin old man. The thin old man was so scared that he immediately tore up the amulet and cast a defensive shield. However, a Wuji sword engraved with the broken blade inscription was like a sword that could split the top of the